We're live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Plat Chat Valorant, episode 214. Joined by a motley crew of Achilles, Sliggy, and Shayo. We're going to be bringing you, a lot of the regions have started to wrap up and go into Stage 1 playoffs. We're going to be talking Pacific to start with. Then we're going to go into talking about China, who are already like the deepest through the playoffs. They've already qualified a couple of teams. Then we're going to go back to EMEA, who are living in the past. I don't know what the hell they're doing over in EMEA. They're not going to wrap up for weeks, like another month or something. And then we'll talk Americas. But for now, let's focus on Pacific. We've got to start, though, with our member question, as we always do here, folks. And the member question for this week was, I think probably based on Sentinels having Ben Affleck in the studio. Achilles, did you meet him when you were at...
I did. I actually had I had a decently long conversation with him outside. And we were chatting, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, really like your movies. You know, Gone Girl, awesome. You know, Jersey, all this stuff." And then he got called away by his son because his son just went, "Dad, it's the voice actress of Raze," and he was just like, "I gotta go." And I was like, "No, go do your thing, dude. I've taken up like 10 minutes of your time. Like, I go be a father. Like, that's cool."
Yeah, so let's have a look at this actual question. So the question was, what celebrity would you want to see have a... I don't really know why it's phrased as, would you want to see have a hidden Valorant obsession? Like, I wouldn't wish Valorant on my worst enemy.
Oh my goodness.
But Chunky Boy says, hearing Ben Affleck fanboy over tens was not on my 2025 Valorant bingo. Maybe people didn't realize that he turned up to Champs LA.
Yeah, he was a champs. It was him and Elon Musk, right? Because I remember they showed the cameras.
One was praised and the other was
everyone was like, "Damn, Ben Affleck, that's really cool." And then Elon Musk came on, and everyone's in the crowd's booing. I'm like, "Oh boy!" So just a stark difference there.
His meat shield child that he uses for all of his PR appearances.
Yeah, honestly incredible. I mean, that's the proudest I've ever been of the Valorant community. I'm not gonna lie.
It's pretty basic.
All right, then what celebrities do you think would have a hidden Valorant obsession? Who can you imagine grinding the game?
It's not who we think, it's who we want.
Well, yeah, but what does that even mean?
Yeah. I think Miles Teller would have like a hidden one, but like I want like, I don't know, Lana Del Rey to have like a Valorant obsession and talk to me about, you know, just her thoughts on comps and stuff in the meta. Just
Sabrina
for conversation
Carpenter
purposes.
being an e-data in Valorant would be very, very funny.
Yeah. Like it's a 50-50, you know? Like is it one or think? Which one is it?
Well,
it's one, I think, right?
It's one, but like tell me both. Tell me both. Well, who was even the first celebrity that you said, Shayo? I'm terrible.
Lana Del Rey, the singer for Summertime Sadness. She has like a really good like
I've heard of Lana Del Rey, man. I've heard of Lana Del Rey. The one before.
Miles Teller, the guy from Whiplash, the drummer, like who has like niche, like he's very passionate about like a lot of things. If you're in a movie of some sorts that you have a role to prep for, I also just he comes across as like a cipher main. I don't know, like just off the dome. Yeah.
Sliggy.
Don't ask me. I don't know celebrities. I don't know celebrities.
I'm gonna ask you to just name one celebrity. That's all you have to do in this segment.
Oh god, that's a hard one. Give me a time to think and come back to me. Ask Achilles. I'll be able to think of one in a bit.
Bro's gonna pull out like a politician from Iceland. That's gonna be his local MP.
You know what would be sick actually? Like the whole what's it called? You know the MCU, like Martin Scorsese like hates the MCU, but like Kevin Feige loves it. I'd love to see like their takes on like what they love about Valorant. Like Martin's just talking about the prime days of like, you know, way back. Yeah, yay, love that shit. Hate this Tejo stuff. Like, oh my goodness, what is this? And then Kevin Feige was like, we need more like util post plant, please.
No, Martin Scorsese would be sitting there and he'd be like, oh, I just can't watch a game unless it's, you know, 3.5 hours long. I need this to go to quadruple overtime, and I need this to be as long as humanly possible. No intermissions, no breaks, just all the way through. I can't think of what he sounds like, and that's definitely not it. But
wait, I've got the perfect answer. Sorry,
okay.
Quentin Tarantino's got to be a foot fan. Surely he's tuning into all of the EMEA games, rooting for the Turkish team.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and then you start debating him about like who's going to win champions, and he's just like, I reject your hypothesis. Robert Pattinson, just because he seems so cool, and I love him. He's a fantastic actor, and if he's into Valorant, then maybe I'd get to meet him.
gets a bad rap for being involved in Twilight, but he really is a great.
Dude,
Batman
his career
Batman straight
turnaround
up.
was amazing. He had right straight out of Twilight. Well, he did that Remember Me movie, which ended up at the very end being about 9/11, and no one knew going into it. But which is it was quite the shock. But then he was in a movie called The Cosmopolis with David Cronenberg, and it was sick. And then like obviously The Lighthouse, etc. Like that's a man that if he let me, I would kiss him.
Okay.
Jesus. Gonna real insight into your life. Dude, are we just naming Batmans? I know one more, Christian Bale. There we go. Is he a nice guy or is he an awful guy? Does anyone know that?
Oh,
Any bad news on this guy?
I think he's incredibly obsessed with his job, isn't he? I know
He's
all I
very
know
good
about
at
him
it.
is that he's got like insane body weight
really?
swings from prepping from role to role.
Well, then yeah, let's get him in.
Never look
him
at
Batmans.
celebrities as to whether or not they're good people. You'll always be disappointed.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
Gambino's a safe pick though, right? With Donald Glover, I feel like he'd be. There's no way that guy's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be sick. He's a very talented guy. All right, okay. I feel like this is just like pick your favorite celebrity and don't talk about Valorant, basically, isn't it? Like this segment. Let's talk about some. Yeah.
Dude, I could not do that.
You don't think you could name even 100 famous people?
Don't start going down this name 100x list.
I don't think I could do it.
Inside show. You don't
I mean,
have a great track
Sideshow
record.
failed at it yesterday. You tried to even name 3 anime and it wasn't possible.
Okay, but
you guys didn't know who Kim
difference is-
Kardashian was. Like, don't
I didn't know
roast
who Kim Kardashian
Sliggy about
was, no.
celebrities. We know who
I'm
Kim Kardashian
jealous.
is.
I would struggle.
But I think Sliggy's worse than me. I think the difference is that I'm willing to give it a shot.
Ah,
Yeah, that's
okay.
true. Yeah, I think I'd do. I reckon eventually I'd get there, but I reckon it would take me hours. If I couldn't name people that were Valorant or like CS players, I'm absolutely cooked. Like I'm really cooked, dude.
Sliggy, by the way, sorry. Just before we begin, did you watch all of the matches last night? Did you watch the Americas matches last night?
Yeah.
Right. So you went to bed. I mean, I don't know exactly what the Iceland time zone is, but I know that I went to bed at like 4 a.m. So you went to bed somewhere around there?
Yeah, it was around 4.
So then, did you watch the Pacific games this morning?
Yeah, I was
You
up.
need an intervention. We need to hold a goddamn intervention because those
Right.
Pacific games didn't even matter. They didn't do anything. They
They're
didn't
great
change
games.
a thing.
Great games though. How we meant
Great
to talk?
games.
Yeah,
Okay.
We gotta hold an intervention for
did
you,
it? It's
Sliggy.
fine. 3.5 hours. Wake up, and then before I had a nap from. God, I can't remember. It's like another 3 hours before that. Basically, they all add up to around 6 to 7 hours sleep, and I think that's okay.
Oh,
He's doing
man,
better
you
than
are
me,
good.
to be frank.
You guys know famous people. There must be famous people that have done this sleep pattern before.
Yeah, they're
It's
all
the
dead.
dudes,
Well, that's
They're all gone. They burned away like a candle in the wind.
I'm not feeling great about my odds, and I need to get that CPAP machine.
Yeah, I mean, Achilles, you've got a medical reason for not sleeping, though. Sliggy's medical reason for not sleeping is Valorant addiction. That's not.
Yeah, but
the same.
at least he gets an off season.
That's
My
true.
brain, my body doesn't give me an off season. It just says, nah, stop breathing while you're sleeping. Fuck you.
All right, let's talk Pacific then, shall we? So let's go into some of the matches that have happened. Let's talk PaperX, though, to begin, because this is a team that, I mean, everybody wants to talk about PaperX all season long. They have made it into playoffs. Somehow, some way, they've managed to make it through the group stage with a 2-3 record, despite making all sorts of changes, losing 3 matches in a row to begin, although close matches. But they've scraped it out here with a win over Global towards the end. A team that, Sliggy, you were talking big on Global at the beginning of the stage.
First week when I saw Global, I was like, oh my God, they've done it. Like, they've done it. They've got their players. They know what they're doing. They're focusing on micro. Everything's down. And then just ever since then, like every week after, I've been like, oh God, I think they're getting worse and worse the more that I watch them. They really did.
They could have got into playoffs if they've beaten PaperX, right? This was like a straight up game of like winning in for both teams.
Yeah, but dude, honestly, they're like really lacking a lot of stuff. This split was so. This split and like first of all, PaperX are playing like a normal comp on split, which is very rare. Like that's an awesome thing just on its own. But then I'm watching Global on attack of split. And dude, they just don't scale mid with utility. Like they make smokes look like the best thing ever, and they're just they'll just like throw a prowler without blocking mail over towards middle, and they're like, yep, we tricked them, we cleared mail, we might have crossed over towards middle, but they haven't blocked division with smokes, and and no one's like taking the space. So yeah, this team, I trust in the actual players at the moment. I think that the players, obviously they had Darian come in, and Patrick, who was maybe having like a bit of a confidence issue. I kind of think like all the players are like really skilled. I just think they need help with how to play the game macro wise. Like I think they don't really know what they're doing, and they're just kind of relying on Darian to get picks, and it worries me because it's not overall, it's not great fundamental Valorant. They don't really use their util well at all. And dude, I don't know who needs to hear this, because this applies for like 15 teams at the moment just in VCT, but it's okay to have set rounds with your ults. Like it's okay to have like, this is what we like to do with this ult, and it's relatively fast, and we're using util to make sure that we don't have to get into this area to like use it. Because, dude, so many of the ults this week are just so appalling.
Sorry, what do you mean? Can you dig into that a bit more? Are you talking attack side, defense side? What
like more attack side. It's like we have a fade ult, or we have a Euro ult, and we like to do this. Like we like to, like FNATIC. You look at them, they would have a Euro ult on split, and they're going to split over towards B. And they would sometimes have another ult that they would like to do, but majority of the time they're using that ult. But they always have set strats that they do with ults. If you look historically over time, they always have like 2 rounds that this ult means we're going to do this. Teams aren't doing that at the moment. And we're just holding our ults for like 4 rounds. And I'm just here thinking like this could have been such a different game if we actually had some kind of plan with our ults. And Global falls under that as well. But also so do like 15 other teams.
You think coaching issue?
Coaching issue, yeah.
Like you're looking to get picked up by Global Esports.
Yeah, there we go. It's been sussed out.
Something tells me he's not.
Let's focus on the paper egg side of things, though, for a moment. Seth, how are you feeling about this team?
Better. Like, do I believe in the track by track like train ride to Toronto? No, not really.
It's champs.
Champs is possible. Champs is possible.
No, but that's after they've won Toronto.
Yes, I see. Okay, yeah. I think that, yeah, I think in the kind of like broader scope, then the team is trending in the right direction. I think that this week showed me something that I really needed to see, which was Devi having a Devi series, because I felt like he was very lacking, and I thought that when Patman was coming in, I thought Devi was actually going to be the one that ended up getting replaced, rather than Mindfreak, just because Mindfreak is the one guy who's very much set in a role. And Devi was not having very strong performances at kickoff and then the beginning of the stage. But seeing him kind of ramp up again, that was like, okay, I'm having faith again. It's starting to come back to me. I'm feeling the power of WK game, and it's returning to my bloodstream. But I think that there's still a lot to tighten up. There's a good, concise win, and I feel like just given the state that Global's in, if this was anything else, then it would have been still catastrophic. Like if they played this and it was like a 13-10, 13-11 series on some of these maps, then I'd be still very worried for them. But the fact that they came out and they looked pretty clean about it was good.
I think you really touched on a good point though, because when I watch Paper X, I always think of like a team that's like individually great, and then they'll have a round that they dominantly should be winning, and then a couple of them will overpeak and it becomes close. But I swear, like Devi is always the guy that will make sure that they don't lose those rounds, and within the other like past weeks, ignoring this week, like he hasn't been that rock. And this was like the first time we saw him winning those clutches, being the rock and just making sure they don't lose these rounds that last week, like the week before, they kind of were losing. So I think just individual performance just from just him, yeah, they need him to be playing like this. So it's good that he looks back, and week by week he looks more comfortable on the Vice. So that's just a great sign as well. But I think it's a really good point just individually talking about him, because I mean, yeah, he was doing this a lot, 1v2s, 1v1s, just he is the rock of the team when I watch this team. So it's without him, I think a lot of rounds fall apart and then they get ecoed and then it really snowballs into a madness. So good to see him back.
How do you feel about the roles on this squad still? Because I'm looking at them playing a lot of double duelist stuff, right? They're playing double duelist on Lotus, Pearl, Split. And then when they go on to playing Ascent, Jin goes back onto Omen, which is otherwise a role that's mainly being covered by, well, I suppose Forsaken, but then on Pearl it's Device. So it's like, you know, there's still a lot of juggling going on here when it comes to their identity. Do you think that they're figuring that out?
I think they need to, and I'm not sure. I mean,
Great answer.
I'm a fantastic analyst. I think that they definitely need to, and I think that if they can just trend into locking somebody off, I know that's the most anti-PaperX thing in the world, is just locking somebody into a role. But if they just lean into doing that, I think that's the best thing that they could possibly do. Smokes in particular it's way better to just have somebody who is going to specialize in it and basically always play it. I think you could flip like duelist to initiator, etc., like a lot more easily and fluidly compared to controller to anything else. So, you know, if Forsaken has to be the one that kind of like bite the bullet and then IGL from the controller role and he plays controller on all of the maps, I think that would be a good thing. I don't know if they're just still just trying to find like overall comfort and this is just what's been good for them in scrims, but they're going to try to lean in towards something like that. I really don't know, but that would be my hope for this team to continue to improve and then get back to a level that we expect from them.
And we will be doing pick'ems later on. We're going to be doing like the predictions of the first round of playoffs, and then we're going to be doing pick'ems and stuff. PaperX, because they've qualified in the 4th position, are going to be right down in the lower bracket. They have to win everything. They don't have a second chance on any of these games. But the fact that they qualified by only beating Global and Detonation, they didn't beat anybody above them, right? But they've got quite a tough group, I would argue, because they got like, you know, Boom, DRX have both been... Well, I suppose DRX have had a hiccup later on in the season, but, you know, and then there's Gen.G, who are no slouches either in that group. Do you think is there some sick cope that maybe they would have done better if they were in the other group and, like, actually Group Alpha's just stacked and PaperX will be fine when they play against the Omega teams?
Even if you look at the other group and like their form, right? Like the way that RRQ kind of shaped up in the last few weeks and like how TALON looked against T1 just in general this week, I think the level of like cohesion between teams that aren't PaperX and PaperX themselves, they're just like 2 weeks ahead, if that makes sense. Like if PaperX had 2 more weeks to catch up, maybe they could solidify. If
they were playing
things.
in EMEA.
Literally, yeah, I guess if they had that gap. But that's the other thing too, right? I mean, no, it's not APAC. It's actually China. Never mind. That has like the big gap between now and I guess it's Toronto. I don't know what the mess is. It's like clouded in my mind where every single region has like a different start for like their playoffs as well. I think China has like literally 12 days now between now and their lower round 3 matches, which is like insane in terms of review. I'm not sure if every other region gets that gap as well, but they have some time still. No? Okay. Damn, that's crazy.
All of the playoff schedules all over the place.
Yeah,
but for every region,
so what is it for
it's all
APAC?
over
Like,
the
are
place.
they just going like next week? It's just start and go?
Yeah, pretty much. They play over the course of 2 weeks.
So
there is a bit of a gap. Yeah, it's from April 27th to May 3rd. So they're playing they play in 2 like week chunks, right? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
No, 3 weekend.
No,
chunks.
we do 2 days, 2 days, 3 days.
Right.
Okay. True. Well, they get to have like a little bit of a breather room to just figure maybe things out, like just that extra week of even prac. I feel like that's a big thing because the preposition you bring up of, you know, moving to Group Omega, I just don't think it's working now. Maybe in like week 2 before, I think, you know, RRQ specifically like super woke up, but yeah, that's my take.
Well, let's talk about some Omega teams then, because I think most people were expecting T1 to be able to fairly easily handle TALON. I mean, TALON are an unconventional team. They're up, they're down, they're tough to get a read on. But they did just come off the back of losing to ZETA Division, and then they beat T1. So that's like definition TALON up and down. That's the TALON roller coaster right there.
There's a little bit of a caveat to this because the series versus ZETA Division, that was Jitboy's IGLing. Obviously, Cruz had just lost his father. So he had gone back to Thailand and flew in the day of the match to play. And because he was
Right, I
gone,
see.
they had Jit Boys IGLing for that series. Cruz went back into this series versus T1. And I was supposed to meet up with them, and I'm doing it this week, but I was supposed to meet up with him and Frost. Just because somebody's been through a similar situation, and I just wanted to chat with Cruz, make sure all's well as it can be. And Frost said, Cruz says after T1 he's gone 0 dark 30, which just means after midnight as far as I'm concerned. But I think he just meant that he's locking the fuck in, like he's a militant specialist, and he's just tackling this match. In every way that he possibly can. And it showed, because Cruz called a fantastic series.
Yeah. No, I think you can see the work.
Sorry, you've thrown me off with the 0 dark 30 reference.
It threw me off too.
Well,
I looked at my phone, I just went, okay.
Frost is like, Cruz is going to go and assassinate Osama bin Laden. What the heck? What? Okay, all right. Sorry, Sliggy, go.
I was gonna say it did look like day and night though from the last week. You could tell they really did lock in for this week, where it was just full practice, and the practice was good. They had a lot of nice set rounds. I'm still super annoyed at T1's Icebox. At this point, they just got to ban it. They gotta start banning this map. I have no idea why they're not banning it. They tried a new comp, but they're still just, I don't know how they don't know how to play Viper on attack, but they don't know how to play Viper on attack. They're not throwing the wall over towards B. There's just no pressure on the map. Not throwing the wall over towards B. Every time they throw the smoke over towards A site, they're all 5 on the site as well. And it's just guys, you're not gonna get anywhere. Everyone knows that you're just pushing over towards the site. So I think the Icebox needs to become a permaban. And then maybe they'll actually do a lot better than what people think. Well, what they should be doing, I guess. Just because their other maps don't look too bad. And I think when you look at Haven, they got a little bit snowballed. So I don't think T1 are in the worst position once they get rid of the Icebox. I just think the Talon were really, really prepped this week. Really, really prepped. And the individuals looked really good, especially Fi. I felt like he was playing great. So yeah, it's just a complete day and night difference to the week before. So dude, they might be peaking at the right time. It might be perfect for them.
Yeah, I mean they're a team that could go on a run for sure. They've got some. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to the pickoffs, the pick'ems. Sorry, but they're starting up against Gen.G, so definitely some winnable games that they've got over there. They've got a bit more. I don't know. They've got a tournament feel as a team. Where if because when you play a tournament, you play matches in close succession a lot of the time, and if you get into a bit of a rhythm, I feel like you can. Some of these streaky teams can just go bonkers. Yeah,
no, for sure.
Pretty much any of them can, honestly.
No, Pacific's really hard to call at the moment. It really is. It's so hard to call. I feel especially with some of the results today also. But I want to also just shout out, because I've been a little bit critical of the coaching stuff of Talon, but I feel this one, especially when you look at Haven, they're very good game plans. This comp's a little bit weak over towards B, and on these big rounds they're going over towards B, and they can always get that spike down on Haven, just because the comp of the T1 played is you can't stop the plant, right? Normally you have a breach and you have to shock the plant over towards B. So the overall weakness of this comp is normally B, and they were pressuring B a lot, and they were on the most important rounds they were going over towards B a lot. So I mean, it's just a very good game plan from them as well. So they put in a lot of work.
Talon seemed to be T1 seemed to be kind of favoring very similar maps in their last few matches. They've been kind of happy to lean on their Lotus, even though they've changed their Lotus composition, and I think the comp itself doesn't look as good anymore, personally. They've been playing a ton of Icebox, which we've already discussed, and then also playing quite a lot of Haven, where they play the Yoru ISO comp, and like you're saying, teams are, I mean, at least Talon are starting to figure out some ways of getting around that composition and ways of cracking it. What are you feeling about T1 and their, I guess, the unique aspect of their strategy at Bangkok that delivered them so many results? Are people now going to be extremely prepped for that as it heads towards playoffs, Toronto, that kind of stuff?
I mean, a little bit more prepped, but I'm telling you, once they get rid of this icebox, they're just gonna have much like. Let's look at their last games. That they played it against Team Secret. They played it against RRQ. Like they keep playing it, and if they don't have this, they won't be giving a free map to teams. So it's going to be a lot better. I think teams are more used to how they play, and I agree with what you're saying. I think the Lotus comp doesn't look as good, maybe because of the double damage that you lose. Yeah, the ISO change.
Well, you lost the double damage. They've moved away from the Sova, so now you don't have the long range ult. You don't have the shocks. Like I think they've lost quite a bit of their synergy. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think map pool they're a little bit weaker, but I also just feel like with this team they're just going to lock in because does this not feel? The thing is we have to learn from what happened at Bangkok, and we were just like underrating them, and then they lock in and they look incredible. So I kind of think they're just going to do that again because look at the players, the beasts.
Yeah, it's been some off performances as of late. I'd say like especially in the last one, like Buzz wasn't at present. Meteor's had some roughness, even playing the ISO where normally he's like the most reliable. So Izu as well, just across the board, it felt like things have just kind of been a little bit off and shaky. I don't know if it's burnout, just being tired. You're getting to that kind of like midpoint in the season ahead of another Masters. You're already locked for playoffs. Maybe it's just like, okay, let's just kind of take it easy and see what happens. I don't really know. But it's I have faith that the players can lock in and show up for the playoffs, but is it a guarantee? I'm not sure. They look a little bit wobbly at the moment.
Yeah, they combined Sideshow said and Achilles at the same time. The answer to the first one, which was do these guys I just completely actually blanked on what Sideshow. What were you asking Sliggy specifically in terms of T1?
The unique style that T1 played feels like it's either getting figured out or like some of the elements of it are not as good right now compared to how they were previously.
So on that note, I think that like the things that Talon were doing, especially as well in terms of the new strats you have cooking up that aren't just like comfortability, relying on a certain player, having that double duelist in there as well. If you just have team cohesion on it and everyone's even performing subpar, I feel like it outpaces and outperforms T1 style of play, even if they're playing well, which I think happened a lot. If you look at a lot of the retakes on both Icebox and Haven as well, like there were really cool set plays from T1 where you have a guy jumping on screens. I think it was like Izu and Buzz was like right below him, up, down, doing a sick clear of maze. But all that doesn't matter when you have like, a crazy set of a post plant and everyone kind of swinging off each other more efficiently on the side of Talon. At the same time, for playoff T1, I think Achilles is also right. Even though this type of approach to the game, which is a bit more comfortable, a bit more Bangkok style-y, is teetering off now, these guys are going to be reset and ready to go when it comes to playoffs. And I feel like DRX as an opponent coming up comparatively to T1, a lot of the teams over in Group Alpha that they're going to be looking at, they're going to be a lot hungrier for those matches. They're going to be prepped up and ready. Maybe Icebox as a pick today as well, or this week, was a test to see what they actually could need to fix. Maybe make that map a lot better too, right? So like it's
Sliggy's going to mold again. They're going to keep leaving Icebox open and just improve it until they get to Toronto, and then it's actually a good map. But they tank their seeding or something as a result. And let's talk DRX though, because that's who T1 are going to be playing against in their opening game. And I mean that is a great match, but I don't know what to think about this DRX team. They got the win over Gen.G, but it's God, I loved watching this team on the run up to Bangkok, and I was gutted for them because I felt like they choked a little bit. I thought they had a great meta read and stuff as well. And then when they came back, they've been very experimental, and now they've lost flashback. And but they've got the win here towards the end. I didn't watch this game, so fill me in. Like, should I be believing again?
They're starting to figure out what they're capable of given the circumstances. Does the team look better than when Flashback was playing as a double duelist for them, or even like going into Bangkok and at Bangkok? No, but it's trending in that direction. Like the main thing was just sorting the roles, looking to figure out like what is the strongest comp that we can build with these players running a single duelist. They've kind of gotten to that. It's very similar to what we were seeing at Bangkok. It's just kind of Estrella instead of Flashback in that regard. But they're trending in that right direction. And this is the good thing about the coaching staff of DRX is that they can kind of take what they have and then very quickly get it up to speed and get it to a point where it's workable. And I think that they're proving that with a series here versus Gen.G. But there's still some stumbles. You know, it was still a difficult series for them to close out for the most part. You know, there was a lot of contentious moments throughout that where it looked like they were just going to fall apart and Gen.G was going to be able to run away with the series and whatnot. But it seems like they're trending back into that direction. I think that it's one of these week over week type things, but obviously as you go into the playoffs, it's like, okay, you've got one safety net if you lose a series. That's it. So it needs to come together a lot faster if you want to be going to Toronto.
I'm still impressed with what this team does in a short amount of time, though. I feel like I've spoken about this before. It feels like they have a time machine because every single time they're changing up a comp and they have like good stuff with it. Dude, apparently Strella's calling now. Do you know if that's true, Kalios?
I had not heard that.
So in the post-match interview, they said that Strela was calling, and I was like, did I hear that right? But I don't know if that's 100%, but I'm pretty sure that's what they said. So that's like something that's interesting. Obviously,
He has IGL before, hasn't he?
He's done it
He's had,
before
like,
in RIQ.
He was the IGL on RIQ.
Yeah, so that I don't know if there was like a comment more about like mid rounding and he's taking over some mid rounding, or if he's actually like proper IGLing. So maybe we can find that out in the future. But
chase that.
Yeah, I still think
we'll
again,
send our best journalists.
Yeah, send our best journalists on
into
it.
the field.
I mean, give me 2 seconds. I'm sending a message right now.
Yeah, give him a little ask. But overall, I'm impressed. I still think, dude, this split was a shit show though. Both of these teams look pretty rough on split. I think Gen.G probably would have won if they got a pistol here, but at the same time, it just felt like everyone was messing up. But dude, this Ascent defense side was like nice by both teams. They had like really good defense Ascent setups, and they're making the Cypher look like a must pick, to be honest here. Like every single time they're doing that that DFM cam over towards B that spots middle and close B, so you kind of got to default deep over towards middle or B, and then with that, if you don't break it, you can have 4 over towards A. Like they were both taking turns of doing that and had just like 4 on the side hits every single time. So I thought the defenses was really good. Maybe the teams didn't default over towards middle. And dude, I don't know, DRX are miracle workers. They really are. Like the coaching stuff they're so good. How many curveballs do they get? The curveballs that either are thrown at them or they're doing
they
their
throw
own
it themselves.
They throw
the boomerang and it comes back and hits them in the head.
comes back and they're like, whoa! It came back a lot faster than I thought. No, they just do they're changing up comps and they have good stuff. Like people over there, like, for sure, the coaching staff, they're working crazy hard. So as they get more time, they get scarier and scarier, and it feels a little bit like, I don't know. I always underestimate this team, and eventually I'll stop. But
I did have it confirmed. Apparently he has taken over the IGL. I didn't realize that Mako had said that in his post-match interview. Because that's usually when the post-match interview is happening, I'm taking the elevator back down to the 12th floor, so I don't get to hear it too much. But yeah, Junghyun or Jen confirmed it, and then I guess Chober was also in the chat. So
yeah, Chober was saying that was what they said in the interview. I was not on the show last week, and so I feel like I've missed something though as well. Is there anything public about why they've made the roster change in the first place? Like why Flashback is not playing?
The only thing that we know, to my knowledge, and maybe Chober can chime in here again, was that in the press conference, Termi had said that it was a last-second personal request from Flashback himself, and that Termi was absolutely livid about it. Like he did not look happy at all. So whatever the reasoning was, apparently it wasn't good enough. It was enough for them to be like, fine, maybe almost in like a, oh Jesus Christ, fuck it, yeah, sure, whatever, kind of way. It feels like it's something like that. So I have no idea.
Did he take time off last year as well?
The same repeat as last year.
But maybe
there was an issue last year that the whole thing happened and they ended up getting resolved. But I don't know if it's related. I don't know if it's a civil thing. I have no idea about this.
Right.
It could be. It could be a death in the family. It could be something very stupid and arbitrary. Like,
I mean, can you imagine if Termi was mad about a death in the family, though? That'd be fucking crazy.
Pretty rough. Pretty rough.
I mean, dude, you're about to go to the playoffs. Tell Grandma, last a couple more weeks, please. Come on, stick it out. The Pope made it through Easter. You can hang in there for a little bit longer.
Did the Pope actually make it through Easter, or were they just weekend at Bernie's in him? Were they just like holding him up for a while, and then they were like, he's got to last through the holiday?
Yeah, I think he made it through Easter, and he met the Vice President of the United States and went, "Oh, fuck this."
Yeah, that'll sap anybody's will to live, I think. All right, let's move on then.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah, of course. Let's move on then to the next game. So, Nongshim beat ZETA Division, and this game, weirdly enough, wouldn't have called this at the start of the season, was, I think, a win and in to get into playoffs, wasn't it, for both teams? Like, if ZETA had beaten Nongshim, I think they made playoffs in this.
Yeah, they did.
Which is
nuts.
Kind of wild, considering the start that ZETA Division had. I guess they beat Team Secret, and Secret are looking even worse, but it's... The fact that ZETA were able to also grab that win over TALON made a pretty big difference to the end of their stage in terms of like belief in them being able to do anything.
Yeah.
They
really good.
They got unlucky that Margaret decided to lock the fuck in. Margaret was crazy.
He was insane that whole way throughout.
Yeah, it really was the difference maker. Like, it really was. Like everyone on Zeta, they were doing some good stuff. I think sometimes their Teo drone usage can be like a lot better. Like sometimes they're not using it, sometimes using it, not scaling behind it. So I think that can be a lot better. But man, Margaret was unbelievable. Like every single duel. Yeah, it was just non-stop. So I don't know. I feel like Zeta, they improve each time, and I feel like 10-10 is good, and maybe got I still think he maybe got punished a little bit for some of his aggro stuff, but he also like won a good amount of runs. Like, I'll be like super angry about it, but dude, you can't win when someone's just like refusing to lose like this. It was an insane performance. It really was. There's so much big impact rounds.
I'm just going to ask the same question that I always ask about this team, which is, they're only playing Neon. Like, does it matter?
I mean, Dami looks really good on Neon. His Lotus was fantastic. Like, does it need to change in a meta like this? Question mark. I don't think so, based on the maps they're into. Like,
bit of a weird pick for Pearl.
Yeah.
I think
you struggle against Vice.
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously the Vice walls, and you can't easily bait out the shear walls or anything like that, because you just don't have like a clone that you just send at it. But I think that his skill on it is so good that it's probably better to just keep him on it, even if it is off meta. It really does feel like Jing previously, where it's just like, yeah, I get, okay, he's trying to play some other stuff, but honestly, like, his raise is just so good that you should just keep him on raise. It's kind of one of those situations. I think in the more long term, it will hurt them, especially if Neon undergoes even more nerfs. But I think for where she's at the moment, he's just so clean on it. That's fine.
Yeah, I think if the Euro is not good, then you kind of have to lean on this stuff. But I also think at the moment that if you don't play the Euro, you're not going to win anything, really. Like, you're just playing on hard mode. Like, I think you can get some wins, you can get some upsets, but consistency, especially like against like loads of people playing Vice at the moment, it is like the best thing to play against Vice. That wall is a nightmare to default against when you don't have a Euro. So yeah, I think it's playing on hard mode. I don't think you can go again. I don't think you can win without Euro. Like,
my concern is more for them at like an international level, if they were to get there. Like, if they can make Toronto, or if they're still running the same things when Champs was around, they're able to qualify for that. That's where I'm like, oh, like, I could see a lot of the top teams from the other regions being able to dismantle them. I think that for like this stage, this playoffs, keeping him on the Neon, probably overall fine, as long as the rest of the team is firing.
I noticed that whenever I take a look at this team, I'm expecting to see what I saw from them in Tier 2, where Persia was like farming. Dude, his stats were outrageously good in their run all the way up through Tier 2.
He's had some slower series lately.
Yeah, he's been just kind of like fine. But he has not been. I mean, I was expecting him to come into Tier 1 and kind of be like what DOS9 has been doing. Where it's like, God damn, he's making a difference. And like, we're talking about him with Mako and Karen and those kind of people. But he's just been like, fine. I'm waiting for him to turn up. When's he going to come online? Mr. Persia, please.
when
Bring
they
out
needed
the
him
Boston
most.
Uprising skills. We need to harness the spirit of Huck, the president of gaming. Get him back.
I kind of wish that Jerry was still there, even in spirit, even if it was just on the bench. Just the fact that Jerry was on this roster at a point was very funny to me.
Let's go into the next games though. So these next matches are the matches that happened today. I mean, I just want to start with this, Sliggy. Why did you watch them?
They're doing their bangers.
They don't matter for even
No,
seeding.
they do. No, they do. But
They don't.
They do matter, dude. Okay, dude. This is Boom's potential last year. They gotta get that champs points. If they don't make champs, they might be fucked. It's a big
for them,
game.
yeah. For them, they do actually need the champs points. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, then the next match, RRQ versus Team Secret. Why are you watching that one?
Dude, RRQ have done some good stuff, and you think I'm gonna miss an Envy game? I'm one of the biggest Envy fans. I'm not missing that.
It's top of the group versus bottom of the group.
Yeah,
for both of these,
and it turned out to be an absolute banger.
Oh,
It was an absolute banger. Dude, you missed out. You telling me you didn't watch this?
I did. No, of
Nah,
course
you
I
really
didn't
did.
watch this. With the 4 hours sleep or whatever, turning up and watching these games, man.
Absolute banger.
Okay, let's focus on the first one first. So the Boom win over DFN. So we've already talked about Boom last week, and we're going to talk about Boom later as well. But we're not going to talk about DFM for like a long time. When does stage 2 begin? Isn't it in like 2 months from now or something?
July.
I mean, bro,
It's a while away.
Yeah.
It's a
that's
while
3
away.
months away.
It's deep.
We're
July
not going to
too,
talk about
'cause-
DFM for 3 months, and they haven't got a win.
Yeah.
Should we play funeral music or what? Like, you wanna say a piece? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We'll remember you.
This was like bottled depression. Like it was just bottled and distributed as eye drops, and it just was going like this every fucking round. It hurt, man. It hurt to cast this. I want every team to be able to be competitive. I want, especially though, for Japan to fucking get back to a goddamn global stage, because their market is huge. The fans are awesome. The teams are great, and they have so much personality. But like every pistol was a tragedy.
Yeah, they're really bad.
Every metaphor that I'm thinking of is inappropriate for the show because it is far too dark. But it was so rough, and it was just Red Bull clutch, Red Bull clutch, Red Bull clutch from Boom every single time. Because it was just like, oh, DFM, like great start to the half, great start to the map. They're gonna be able to get the pistol. That's them getting their right foot forward. And then, nope, never mind. Okay. Oh, he jumped by accident, and then he died. Like, it's just shit like that. It was just, come on, please.
To put it in context, they had 3. So obviously it was a 2-0. They had 4 pistols that went against them, and they had 3 of those pistols. They was in 2v1s. They lost 3 2v1s in the pistols. That honestly they shouldn't have lost. They just played individually, and so that's an absolute. Mate, you just can't win when you do that. But they Pacific do this cool stat where it's like your kickoff pistols against your like stage 1 pistols. Like their pistol record in kickoff is like 70 something, and then now it's like low 30s in stage. So it's literally like half of the pistols that they're winning. So it's just you're just playing on hard mode again. You're just not getting that good start. You just can't snowball when you're losing this many pistols. But they have the opportunity to win them. They're just messing up. That's it.
Both pistols, both second pistols it was the first on Ascent, and then the second one here on Fracture were just I mean, they were all tragic, but those ones in particular were just like actual just penny machine. I'm flattened. Like
I'm looking at the stats page because you guys were talking about the amount of clutches, so I was like, oh, I wonder if there was like a crazy amount of them as well. And then I'm looking at performance tab. Art got a 4K round 1 on the pistol of Ascent, and then they didn't win that round.
Yeah.
Ooh. See, here from May, like he had a point where he could just stick this, and he almost does right here.
Walks
and up.
What
fuck was that?
that?
Dude, someone's drilling upstairs. I might be rip here. I'll keep you tuned. That's not good.
Sounded like a fax machine going off in the background.
Coming through the ceiling. It's crazy. It's stopped now. It's 1 second of madness. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I just want to experience the sadness of Ascent round 1. I feel like that's just based on the VLR page. Sounds like it's going to be a doozy.
I could try to put it on display literally after the round. I make sure that my fly is not undone before I do this. I was literally laying in my chair like this, just sat back from the caster desk. I couldn't see the monitors, and I was just fucking dead. I didn't even predict for DFM to win this series. I knew they weren't going to win this series, but I wanted them to do better than they did. I wanted them to be able to go out and say, like, okay, we played a good game. And they had their moments, but every fucking time they got close, it just was taken away from them.
This round is a 4K from Art. People are calling for Art's head. I haven't watched much of DFN this season because as soon as they started losing, I was just like, I'm not going to waste my time.
The stage has been rough. The stage has been really rough for him.
We were looking at him in kickoff and we were like, wow, he's good with the Odin. And maybe that was a warning sign because that was the only thing we were saying over and over and over again.
That's true.
But what's happened then? Someone give me the lowdown on this guy.
You mean they put a wall on B, so they nerfed him on Ascent. He's done for.
I see.
He's got to use a normal gun now.
He got nerfed by the map team.
I mean, this isn't the right time to talk about it because he's absolutely popping off on this pistol, but he's struggling in the duels.
For context, he gets a 4K in this round. The previous map, he had 5 kills on all Fracture.
Yeah, he's the second lowest rated player in Pacific, with only Patrick Hu underneath, and Patrick hasn't even played like the full stage. So
it's not been good, and I know that he obviously, is taking his performance harder than anybody else would. He's been distraught after losses. I think that this one, it's already so far gone that I think that this one didn't crush nearly as much. But like their second loss of the stage, like he was just in tatters, and it was just so upsetting to see, honestly, him to have that kind of reaction and take it so hard. But
do you think some of that's the pressure?
It's not been great.
The weight of expectations. I feel like
probably
the Japanese scene is so popular and the fans want so much, and it does seem to put a lot of pressure on the players. Like even when ZETA used to be like a team that, I don't want to say that they were a good team. They had a good run at a tournament, but like every time after that, they turn up to an international event and they were crushed. Like I've never seen people react more negatively, I suppose, at an international event. Like, do you remember the shot of Laz just like crumpled over his PC after I can't even remember what happened, whether they went out or lost a map really badly or something like that. But it does seem to happen with the Japanese players a lot.
Well, like the pressure
they
of
have a huge fan base.
Yeah,
and
it is big.
Yeah, to not be able to deliver on those expectations and to have stronger performances, especially when you so early on did hit that high, that's rough. That's rough as hell. Like, I could imagine it would be similar. Like if you were a singer and you came out and like your first song kind of took off, but then you were never able to make anything remotely close to that. Or like if you were a filmmaker, similarly, like, if you could never hit that stride again and your stuff was kind of flopping, I think that you'd have a similar feeling. And I think it's just all of that pressure on their shoulders.
I feel like by the time you're, come on, that's serious. But it's actually
I
a good
don't know
example.
who that is.
This is actually a good example, actually.
No idea, bro. I got no idea.
It's actually a good example though, because like my take is kind of the opposite on it, where it's like if you're 0-4, right? Like is the pressure of expectation even as high really for you to super perform? Like I feel like there's a little bit of relief. You get to be a little pump. You get to do something else or diversify a little bit, try other things without the pressure of like an entire nation on you as their herald all the way. Look at that, color change, style change, rock music instead of rap.
This should be 0-4 DFM, is what you're saying. This is
I'm just saying like they're not the same as like 0-1, 0-2 at the start of the stage. They have like they don't have as much pressure. Is my counter to you in a sense. Yeah.
But now they have 3 months off, so maybe I mean. I don't even know what to say here. Like, what should they change? Who the hell knows? Because like 3 months from now, they could come back and it could be a completely different team. This is a ridiculously long break. It really is.
Yeah, no, it is long.
Yeah.
let's talk about the other team though, on the other side of things. So Team Secret though managed to actually get a victory against the top team in the group, and it changed nothing. And Sliggy's going to tell me it was a gigabanger, and of course the teams were trying because of Champions Point.
Well, no, I think this was more. This was more Team Secret trying to prove to us, to the viewers, to their org owner, whoever can potentially kick them. They were trying to like prove that they're going in the right direction and they know what to do for stage 2. So They changed all their stuff up, and they pretty much tried to force double duelists on everything, with Wild Oreo primarily trying to play op and outlaw as much as possible.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then you have Envy playing like the hardest flex you've seen of just every role, and still absolutely frying. No, dude, he's playing everything. He really is. Dude, I don't know. I don't know. It worked here because I'm looking at this, and if I was someone high up in Team Secret and I was like, we've got to make a change, but then they come out doing double duelists like this, and Wild Oreo is actually looking like really nice on the secondary duelist. I'm at least second guessing that they should be making a change.
Are you really? Oh man,
yeah,
dude,
they give me like a jump scare for like 1 second, then stop it. It's like they're trolling me. It's wild. It's so loud, dude, and then they just stop instantly. I don't know what they're doing. But no,
wait, hold on.
It genuinely look kind of nice.
So you think that because Team Secret managed to get a win against a team that had no incentive to play at the end of the season, playing double
What do you mean no incentive?
has basically not been a meta.
Shayo, go get him.
Dude, no, we already had a fight about this yesterday. This is like round 2, basically. Yeah. But, man, does the kid need a super shiny trophy every time to play the soccer match, or is soccer good enough? Football, my apologies. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the system. It's a Valorant game. These guys live and breathe this shit. They go to sleep thinking about it. They wake up, they want to play. You're in the facility. You're just playing Val against another team. You talk to your coach. It's the system. It's the process. I feel like that's enough.
And you're telling me you're bringing out the big guns, you're bringing out all of your new strategies, your playoff comps,
because
everything.
At the end of the day, next year, when we go back and look at what happened, we're going to see the record, and Team Secret beat RRQ, and that's all that matters. And that'll be
no one's going to remember Team Secret beating RRQ. No one is going to be thinking about this game 5 seconds after the episode ends.
If you look back at it at any point in the record, there is a win against a loss, no matter what was on the line. That's the point. And it's in the circuit. Every game of Valorant, there's always something to learn, right? It's someone's first time watching Valorant. Maybe the players are playing for the people, the people who are watching. That's enough of a reward. I feel like you don't need the cash prize. You don't need the champs qualification. You don't need the playoff spot to play good Valorant.
Just play for the love of the game. Let's create formats where there's useless matches all over the place. Let's let all of the eliminated teams play against each other for shits and giggles.
If there's one little sprinkle of, man, hey, today, guys, right? It might not matter for playoffs. Doesn't mean we're not going to play. Doesn't mean we're not going to try. Right? Like, you still play. Or sure.
Of course you still play, but I'm just saying, can you really say, like, if this game was to get into playoffs and Team Secret had beaten RRQ and RRQ had missed out on playoffs today, would you not be giving it more weight?
Yeah, and if my grandma had fucking 76-inch monster truck rims and tires, she'd be at the Derby jumping hills, right? But I'm just saying, like, in the moment of playing the games, like, you play the games. You just play the games.
Great point, and you've boomed me with that analogy. Okay, so Team Secret, do you think, so the next time we were going to see Team Secret play is 3 months from now. The fact that they've showcased a decent double duelist look, does that hold any water 3 months from now? If you're thinking about making changes, though?
They legit might, dude. I'm telling you, if you're the person that has to make the decision, and if they're changing the team or anything, that you made it like this made it a little bit hard. It was a good performance. Achilles, you're their biggest hater. You must be able to agree they played pretty good.
No, they did. And again, I don't hate this team. They frustrate the ever-loving shit out of me. And this is a prime example why. RRQ comes in. They're the #1 fucking team. I woke up my wife earlier, so I have to be a little bit quiet. I'm going to seethe quietly here. They fucking beat the #1 seed coming out of their group. They have no right. They haven't been able to beat a single fucking team the whole goddamn stage. And then they show up when it doesn't fucking matter. And they Robin Hood their asses a fucking win. Envy plays like a goddamn god. Jesse Bash is hitting crazy ass fucking shots while he's basically just strafing. It looks like he's playing a fucking arena shooter. And they pull this out of their asses when it doesn't fucking matter. Do this in the regular season, please. God, I want you to be good. I want you to be successful. I want the Philippines to be competitive. But for fuck's sake, do it when you still have a chance. Do it when there's a playoffs that you could make it to. Do it when you could accrue some points. When you could possibly go over to an international event. Not when there's nothing to fucking gain other than a little bit of confidence. For fuck's sake, please, God. I will still never predict them. Even if they continue looking like this.
reasonable, extremely reasonable crash out from you. Is it? I mean, Chobra has just put something in the chat which reminded me, like, it would be the most RRQ thing of all time to miss out on champs by 1 champs point, and we look back and it's
so
this
true,
game.
yeah.
It would be the most RRQ thing of all time. Oh god. All right, let's get away from this though. Let's get away from this. I mean, we can, yeah. All right, so let's go into the predictions. So the playoffs is live for Pacific. There isn't a massive gap before it begins either. It kicks off on April 26th, which is in like 5 days. So the first matches are on April 26th. Talon plays against Gen.G. DRX plays against T1. So let's have a look and see what we've gone for.
We got the viewer report
Oh, wait,
card,
sorry.
of course.
Yeah, the report card. Okay,
real quick.
so last week, the match of the week was PaperX versus Global Esports. And you guys predicted...
I wonder who.
PaperX with 71%. You were correct. Well done. Now, if this was the bloody match of the week, then holy shit, we were struggling last week. Okay, so you can check back in on our community tab. Are we even having a Pacific match of the week, though, this week? Because surely
not?
we only know what, like... But we only know what 2 of them are. The rest are, like, the playoffs.
Then pick
So
one
what,
of them.
we have to pick them, like, the day of or something? I mean, we could. Yeah,
we
we
could
could.
just pick one
We're
of
like
the
a 5-dimensional match of the week. Like we
Yeah, we could
4
pick one of these
potential.
as well, actually. I mean... Okay, anyway, let's have a look at our predictions, and then we can go back to thinking about match of the week, shall we?
Okay.
The first match to predict is Talon versus Gen.G. A Talon that's just come off the back of beating T1. Gen.G...
Oh, boy.
Oh, what the hell are we doing?
What?
Gen.G just lost to DRX, Talon just beat T1, and we're guaranteeing Gen.G. Are we thick? Are we stupid?
I didn't
No,
want to
you're
take
not.
the
You're really
risk.
smart.
I didn't want to take the risk on this.
But I mean, this is not
I should have
okay.
seen this coming. I'm the guy who likes to game this system and try to just, avoid the curses. I really did not think that this was going to be a fucking guarantee, though.
I
thought
didn't
that,
think this was going to be a guarantee.
I thought Sliggy was gonna go for Talon for sure.
Me? No, I was tempted, but it's just
Why are you not believing
this-
then?
they're still recovering from like changing players. So that's where I'm at. I just feel like Gen.G overall.
Surely Gen.G are as well, aren't they?
No, but they should have won. Was it split the second map? They should have won that against DRX. Like I think this. When I look back overall, I think I don't know. I think Gen.G are favorites here. Like I think that's fair to say. But I don't think it's a guarantee. Yeah, I agree with that. But I still think it's like a 55, 45, 60, 40 kind of vibes. Just purely because I think Talon have like a really uphill battle with their map pool at the moment. But again, if they can improve this much from the week before, then fair play, because they looked really good this week. And I was tempted. Like I had to think about it for a while, but
Shayo, are you saying it's a guarantee?
Yeah, so once again, I have to embrace being the Plat Chat's lawyer for these guarantees. We gotta stand on business here, guys. 55-45, and we're guaranteeing it. Would you go into a transaction with someone who promises a guarantee with a 55% rate of success? That doesn't sound like a 3-syllable word to associate with a 55% rate of success. I'm going to stomp in on a 70-30 here for Gen.G based off the eye test of both teams and how they approach difficult situations on any map, right? I feel like Gen.G are nice receivers, nice learners from round to round, and Talon come in with a plan. If that plan backfires, it's kind of a slow roll of a train that comes to a halting stop. And if that's the case, looking at things and also kind of predicting how I want the actual prettiness of the lower bracket to look like going up, I feel like Talon have a nice run down there, right? So if that's where we're starting off, that's where we're going to start off with the feels, with the vibes, and I'll bring that and I'll stamp in with a 72-28 actually.
72 to 28.
72 to 28. And if you don't agree with me, honestly, I'm going to
Eat
sue
his
you.
ass.
I will sue every person that doesn't agree with me on that one,
Okay.
including the people on this mention table towards us today, Your
Right.
Honor. Yeah.
Okay. Threats of litigation against the fans. We love that. Let's go into the next game. So Kurt has decreed that this next one is the match of the week. And I think that's a really fair decision, actually. You've got DRX, who just came off the back of beating Gen.G, and T1, who...
I'm nervous for this.
Korean rivals.
Oh, God.
Oh, Achilles has saved us, the only player to go for a DRX. The rest of us predicting T1 in this one.
I don't know why I'm actually relieved. I should I could have fucking gotten my prediction actually correct. I just, this one is, I think, about as close to a 50-50, I think, as you could get right now, given what I've seen from both the teams. I think that, like, T1, it's contingent on them getting out of the slump and banning Icebox. If they don't do either of those things, I think the DRX wins. But right now, I think DRX is coming together a lot more quickly compared to T1 recovering from whatever slump they found themselves in here.
I think that's fair. I think if there's one thing I've learned about T1, they're definitely a little bit stubborn. I remember them picking bind quite a lot, even though their bind was like not that good, or at least like flip floppy.
Much to my chagrin and infuriation.
So I can see a world where they decide to leave Icebox in and DRX have a free map. So I don't think this is the craziest thing, but I've just gone for. Surely they ban Icebox. Like, surely, dude. At least I have something to really complain about if they don't. So
you win either way. It's
yeah,
either
it's a win.
Correct or there's content.
Yeah, exactly that.
Shayo, what are you thinking with T1?
I doubted them basically last time, and I feel like playoff T1 are just going to be just stronger than what we even see now. Even if they do pick Icebox, I feel like there is a chance that if the most basic mistakes are like, how we're kind of cycling Viper's walls on the map and like how we're approaching things from a macro perspective, that could easily be fixed even in a week.
Dude, they won't do it. I'm telling you, they won't do it.
I didn't believe last time, and for some reason they won the whole fucking thing. So I feel like this is the time where I gotta pay my penance, if that makes sense. But at the same time, it's like it's a really close 50-50. I just have to. I'm leaning on one side. Is all it is. Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you, like, the chat are going to be able to vote on this one, right? Because it's going to get posted on a community tab. You can go and vote on the match of the week. I think most people are going to go with DRX because T1 have been on a bit of a losing streak right now because they've lost a couple of games in a row, and DRX have just come off a win. I think people are going to be feeling like DRX. I think the people are going to go against us here.
Really?
People not forget what it feels like to lose and what it feels like to win. Like, why is it always like, oh, this team is losing so bad and they're a good team, I'm not as scared of them now. Oh, this team is winning really well, this is amazing, I'm laxed on them. I feel like from a transitional stage between matches to playoffs, if you're losing a little bit more at the end, it's a buff for your team entirely, no?
I mean, I don't know. You are going like you are selling me a
really
crazy story there. I just think it's because
right
like
now.
DRX won at kickoff. They were the better team. Like
They beat T1 there.
Yeah, they beat T1 there. They didn't perform as well at Bangkok. They've been doing all right here as well. And like both teams are kind of a bit up and down. But T1 recently a bit down. I think that people are going to go with DRX. Who knows though? Let's see.
Yeah, let's see.
Let's see. Let's get into our pick'ems though. We've already predicted those two matches, but we have more matches left to go in the playoff pick'ems. We did some bold predictions though at the very beginning of the stage for Pacific, and we predicted who we thought was going to win overall in stage 1. So Achilles there with a great face going with T1. Gen.G for TMV. I went for DRX, and Chopra, God bless his fucking soul and his heart, went for PaperX, which is going to be the most mental bracket ever if he still believes in that.
Did imagine it though. imagine the bragging rights.
I look like I shat myself in that picture.
Crazy. Let's. Oh, and after the show,
like that's sharp face.
You've done it recently, have you? You got something to compare it to?
No. Fortunately, I've still have never encountered that, but it is better than pissing yourself.
I agree. At the end of the show, we're going to post our pick'em groups for each region for our members only. So you get to compete against us in the pick'ems, and then it creates a leaderboard on VLR. That's for members only. So if you become a member, you can join our Discord, you can find the link, and then you can play with us on VLR. But for now, let's get into the playoff pick'ems for Pacific, shall we? So we've already locked in those first 2 matches. So we predicted TALON to beat No, we predicted Gen.G,
Gen.G.
sorry, unanimously to beat Talon.
And
We
then I was
predicted T1 to
outnumbered.
beat DRX. Right, so we got both of those wrong, so that's a great start.
Yeah, so we messed it up already.
Boom over Gen.G, right? They're undefeated.
Absolutely.
Like, let's get on the Boom hype train.
Sure.
Yeah?
It is a rematch.
And
But-
Gen.G,
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I
a
feel like
fact.
Boom-
Yeah, what's
I
your
feel
point?
Like Boom, I feel like Boom win. I don't know. I'm grasping for straws. I like Gen.G does look better. Foxy had a hell of a series. I know he's your favorite player, Josh.
Dude,
but,
he's the top-rated player of Pacific. I'm just trying to avoid the strays that are going to come my way after fucking talking about him not being that great for so long, and now he's #1 player rated in Pacific.
Yeah, he's been looking very, very good and has kind of been very much earning his spot back on the starting roster. But there's still some inconsistencies. I don't know if they're going to stick with like Texture playing Yoru because the attack was non-existent for them on that ascent, etc. So I don't know what Gen.G stuff looks like. Boom, their shit's figured out. They're good to go. I think it's Boom.
We got a back Boom here.
All
Dude,
right.
fundamentally, they look sick.
RRQ versus T1 then. If T1 beat DRX, they're beating RRQ, aren't they?
I would think so. Personally. But I don't know if anyone disagrees.
I mean, Sliggy's pondering it
No,
like
okay.
his
No, man.
firstborn child.
I'm
that's
trying to
up for-
think, man. I'm
The
trying to
matchup
think.
though that would be so sick there. Well, they would both be qualified already, but it would be sick to see RQ versus Boom. Just kind of like, I mean, obviously not every player on RQ is Indonesian, but it would be neat to see like the two Indo orgs clash out to just kind of establish dominance over the other.
I mean, they
I think-
absolutely could. RRQ, I'd kind of forgotten that RRQ stomped T1 on Lotus because
Yeah.
they did get the freebie on Icebox, but
See, my vote here would probably be RRQ, to be honest, with what I've seen. I know they had a rough one today, but man, Jemkin's too good right now. I think Jemkin's looking like what Meteor used to look like. So I have to back him at the moment. I think that they would. I think that they would win this, dude.
what do you
And
think, Ishayo? Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say that the fact that Chobra's now moved away from them, and this is like the first event they're
So
going to
true.
qualify to.
Mm.
Like
So
it's
true.
100% written. Like
That's
they're
so
qualifying.
right.
We gotta up our
They're
True.
qualifying.
A good point.
All right, let's go
Yeah.
RRQ. let's you've
Whoa,
persuaded me.
let's listen to Shy first because
Are we-
I'm
yeah,
not,
are
I don't want to be responsible for this.
No, for me, like I'm also kind of on the Jumpkin hype wagon train of sorts. We were like doing a lot of just like fantasy making on my stream the other day in terms of like, you know, looking at the best Russian players all across the world and things like that. Watched a couple of RQ games. I feel like against T1, again, just this playoffs in general in APAC, I feel like there's just gigabangers all the way around, and half the time I feel like it's going to be 50-50 unless the team's up against Boom, and then I think it's always an upset. I could lean RQ in this sense because I feel like the one thing with T1 is that if one person doesn't show up a little bit, I think the entire house of cards starts to falter a little bit, and the gaps are a bit harder to fill, and then the protocols coming into sites on retakes and whatnot get challenged in a level like this. Like,
I don't agree necessarily with that.
Okay.
But I get what you're getting at. I think that it has been more vulnerable to those types of stumbles with
Yeah.
T1 lately. But I think that like skill wise, to be able to fill the gaps if somebody is falling short, it's there and it's been proven. Because I think of like Buzz on that split in the grand finals because the motherfucker was non-existent, and they were more than fine to kind of fill that space. So I think that like player quality wise, like they are capable of doing that. But I understand like what you're getting at because it's been rough for most of them lately.
yeah, and a BO3 as well, right? Like I feel like BO5, I take T1 any day over RRQ, but in this sense, I feel like there's a little bit more of a chance for RRQ to maybe get a leg ahead, and then we can see that Boom matchup. But
Go on,
Fair
then.
points.
Let's throw RRQ in there. I love the idea of doing that. It's very troll. So Boom versus RRQ in the upper finals. Let's do that one.
Which means that these are 2 of the 3 that go to Toronto.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So we get
Which would be
2 Indonesian
bonkers,
representatives.
That would be so sick if that was the case.
2 teams that they're in this iteration at their first international event. Because Boom hasn't been since 22. So
Yeah, long time ago.
22 champs where they
And that was an appalling
manhandled
showcase.
Optic on Breeze.
Yeah, and then had the fucking 5 people across the rope play as well.
Yep.
So I don't know the people remember the manhandling on Breeze so much.
Hey, that set a land kill record, so.
Yeah, for Tebotol, and then he changed his name and fell off.
Hey, X-Sparrow's doing all right.
Okay, who are you taking in this game though?
Boom or Q?
I'd probably take Boom.
I think you gotta back him. I think we have to back. Dude, it's hard to go against them with what we've seen. Like they look great.
Yeah.
They look really good. And until we see them not look great, how can we not pick them?
Yeah, back him. Lower bracket. Talon plays against Nongshim RedForce.
I get Talon now.
I feel that you have to go Talon.
On the rematch.
Yeah,
because they're winning one of those games, aren't they? They're a crazy team. They're up, they're down. They're gonna win one of them.
I think Talon will probably do it.
That's so sad. Nongshim just dead at start.
If you get seeded into the lower bracket, you are toast, basically. Like even if you're a pretty decent team, it's so difficult to run the lower bracket.
Dude, and we've
predded
for the fucking Pacific El Clasico.
Oh wait, Kyle, why have you done that?
No,
I mean that's true. Though.
That's good.
That's
good. All right, good job.
Wait, are you seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you really think PaperX are gonna beat DRX?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're on a run, dude.
What do you mean they're on a shut up? They're beating the two worst teams in their group.
Do you remember Crew?
They weren't on a run. They weren't on a run, and they're not going on a run. And you can't bait me into thinking all the shit teams are always going to win.
No, but the run starts. You got to think right. LCQ, right? You got to think the run starts when you have to win the games, or otherwise you're out.
I'm derailing this train.
They have to win.
That's a good point.
Yeah, there we go.
Hold on. Sideshow's talking about all this. It doesn't matter if there's nothing on the line. Now there's something different on the line, so the results should be kind of different. You got to go both ways.
Right? On a run.
Like now you have to
they're
win.
on a run. They're not going on a run. They're on the run.
If they were going up against...
How are they on the run?
If they were going up against like a middling team, though, sure. But
they like snapped their snapped their femur in half. They're in physical therapy right now. They're not on a run. They're learning how to walk again.
Yeah, there's too much momentum here.
Too much momentum from beating Global Esports and DFM. I mean, I'm with the Kilios. I'm voting DRX. If you wanna track by track this, Sliggy and Shio, then we're gonna have to go to the coin. But that would be a violation, in my opinion.
Let's go to the coin.
You son of a bitch!
Come on,
dude. Please,
come on.
Please, no, Mr. Coin.
Ball don't lie. So if the coin don't lie, I won't be sad, and neither will Sliggy. But
DRX. Come on.
Come on.
Oh, let's go.
Okay.
The train is derailed immediately. They're gone. They're done. They're done. They're gone.
They're gone.
They're gone. They're done.
They're gone. All right. So T1 plays against Talon, a rematch of the match that happened just recently with these two teams.
But T1 ban Icebox, and they win.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least at this point, they would have. To say that they were playing Icebox before, at least by this point, like if we're looking at Bind being the history of them like late picking stuff, they would be banning Icebox by now. If that makes sense.
I mean, also, if they don't ban Icebox like by this point in the tournament, they might have already been eliminated.
That's so insanely
because
true.
they could lose to DRX in the upper bracket, easy,
True.
and they could also then drop down and lose to. They'd be playing against Talon again, wouldn't they? Oh no. Can we have a look at the player bracket
They'll
again?
go other side, right?
Oh
no, yeah.
Going against Nongshim or
yeah, they
Nongshim.
play against PaperX.
Yeah.
If they lost to DRX, they
DRX,
play against PaperX, and then T1
And then they would
PaperX.
lose that. You're
Track
right.
by track, baby. Track by track. Yeah, let's put in T1 though, and then Gen.G plays against DRX. Another rematch of a recent match.
This is a hard one.
It's what's very difficult in the current iteration.
You thought the Gen.G should have won map 2 and
Yeah, I would be leaning towards Gen.G, but I think the thing that worries me is DRX with time. Do we know what date this gets played on?
Doesn't matter. They got the time machine.
That's true. No, that's true. But somehow they just double the hours in days. I think that's how it works.
This game is the second weekend, and then there's a big gap between this game and the next one. So like, if DRX win this match in the lowers here, they have a long time. They have like another week almost. Or maybe like another 4 days, 5 days, something like that, before the game against T1 in lower round 3. But this game is kind of early still.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Maybe with time DRX have this.
Jeez, man. I'm kind of regretting putting RRQ up there. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways,
I don't know. I honestly, I'm fine to just flip a coin.
Oh, someone's got to have an opinion.
Let's hit DRX.
My
up
opinion
just
is
so-
that both teams will be really fucking close because
I
DRX
think-
scraped by with a win, and I think that Foxy's going to be even more pissed that he dropped this one before.
I think if DRX are already winning this, with the time, they should win this again.
Yeah.
Okay, Shio, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that Gen.G get boomed, and once you get boomed, you cannot get back. So
Right, it's like
yeah.
toast. It's a
Exactly.
irreversible
Exactly.
chemical reaction.
At some
T1
point, you gotta lock in with the vibes. But yeah,
T1 then plays against DRX in our bracket, which would be a rematch of the opener. DRX win this one. Let's send it, boys. I mean, it would be the best storyline, wouldn't it? A rematch game, DRX on a bit of a heater, T1 gets eliminated, the
And then
winners
they
of
beat him
Bangkok
here.
don't go to Toronto. Like, that'd be a sick
what
story.
if it's like T1 of like the rematch gods? Like they pull up the soccer game as well on stream and start playing it too. Like it goes crazy. Like, no, it's you know, there's two different stories you can go with. I don't know which one you guys like more.
I think T1 now.
I think T1 have to go back.
I think brackets at this point are nonsense. This
Yeah, I
is
agree.
never going to happen. So pick whatever.
It's a flip a coin.
Yeah.
I would say T1 for this. I don't know.
Want
What
me to flip a coin?
I want T1. I want T1 for this.
Okay.
Let's go T1 then. Let's go T1.
Sure, we got T1.
And then
I don't
T1
feel
plays
good about
against
almost any of
RRQ.
this. So
We've got so many
I like
rematches
that.
in this bracket. We kind of toasted this bracket. Like they're
I like
either
that.
all
this is,
rematches.
but this is the thing is
of
that this
five
is
games,
such a
or-
it's such a difficult bracket to predict.
It
Like
is,
Dude,
yeah.
This
Pacific's
could
hard.
happen. This could be reality.
How many teams of the 6 do you think could genuinely make it?
3, because that's how many get to go.
Oh, you stupid ass.
You asked them for genuine answers. They give you a genuine answer.
Okay,
But like,
honestly,
I do think Boom, RRQ, T1, DRX, probably
would-
Gen.G could make it.
I would say everyone but Nongshim.
Talon?
I think.
Oh, you're on the
pretty much-
paper X could make it.
Yeah, obviously. They're
You
the
slid
first
that
team.
one in there.
I think
Is everyone but
basically-
Nongshim can't make this?
I think basically all of them could make it. It's just then it then becomes a question of who do I think could actually have an impact at the international level, which then starts very much getting limited quickly.
Okay, fair enough. But in terms of teams
but-
that could actually make it, is it like
RRQ
6 out of 8?
I think it's RQ, Gen.G, T1, DRX. I sorry, Chobra. I'd give it to all other than Nongshim as far as the Korean teams are concerned. Boom
as well.
and then
Talon?
Talon. Like yeah, I'd go with those. Who am I leaving out?
Sliggy, you're alone with the paper X belief, man. You're alone with the paper X belief.
No,
They'd have to make such a run. Like they have to
Yeah.
win 1, 2, 3 matches in a row without any losses.
Yeah, it feels awfully like the crew run.
It doesn't feel like the crew run, bro. Get me
No,
out of here.
that's what you said at the
He's
same time as
convincing
this.
me, man. He's convincing
This is
me.
Yeah,
this is
right.
this is a deep cut, and this would get me banned from Sideshow's stream. But what this would be for any old school League of Legends heads would be Cloud9's run in 2015 to make it to Worlds, because they had to run.
Yeah, lock it in. Lock it in. This is PRX.
They had to
100%.
run the gauntlet
That was,
and
like, the
beat
best
every
thing.
team that was favored to win, and they played dumb shit, which is a paper X staple, to be able to make it there. And then they did, and they beat Liquid in that final. So
It
you
would
know,
get you banned
it
in
would
my
be
chat.
that.
You're right.
Yeah.
It would be
That's
like
right.
that.
Let's redo the pick'ems. Come on.
No, we're not redoing the pick'ems. I mean, they're wrong no matter how we do them, but that would be even more wrong.
Are you guys?
If
okay
you
with the
believe,
last
though,
two games I did, I just put them in.
I think that's
it's
fine.
So
They're good,
fine.
yeah.
That's totally fine. You can lock those in. If you believe that you can predict this bracket with the Paper X run better than we did, then you can become a member, join the Discord, find the link that we're going to post about the Pick'ems group on VLR, and you can participate and compete against other Plat Chat members as well. But that does it for our Pacific segment. We're going to wrap it up there. I feel like we were starting to go insane towards the end. Sliggy was actually rage baiting, which I've never seen him do before.
Are you joking? This motherfucker baits all the time.
That's
Come
so-
on,
yeah,
that's
that's
a
true.
lie.
Anyway, anytime it's pick'ems and predictions, he's always baiting.
All right, so we're going to say thank you to Achilles, and we're going to welcome in Mimi, and we're going to be talking a little bit of China and then some EMEA. So I think Mimi's like right here as well, so I think we can
She's
hotspot
been in the
some-
Oh, dude, I
channel,
got a piece so bad. But you guys can continue and I'll just come back.
All right, sounds good.
Cool.
All right, Mimi's screen is a black screen, but I'm gonna bring her in anyway. See if she's actually here.
She is here.
We
Goodbye,
can-
Achilleos. We're sending you
I can
off
hear you, Mimi.
to bed.
Okay.
Bye.
He's been sucked into the void. And Mimi's licking her ice cream.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
hello.
good. Your lighting's perfect. Thank you. For...
Oh my god, hi! How's that?
What the hell?
Just the whitest woman in America. You are,
That's a tough challenge to fulfill,
you are
but I've done it.
iridescent. You're looking like the
Thank
fucking
you.
moon out
Oh my
there.
god.
You're glowing. You're glowing.
Fix this.
It's fine.
Oh,
it's
God.
fine. It adds
Yeah,
character.
it's
Let me fix it like a little. Now I'm like still the whitest to ever do it, but like I don't know. Maybe
It's
I'm like
perfect.
in
Yeah.
line with Joe Biden in terms of whiteness.
I mean, I've never seen him glow like the moon, but yeah, sure.
All right, hello. We're talking some big news, right? We're not just doing EMEA today. I think we have to kind of start by covering some of the important games upcoming, and that's going to be the new Popal Ascension, right? College of the Cardinals. They're going to be meeting about this one. We have some big contenders. Cardinal Peter Urdo, one of them. Peter Turkston from Ghana. That Cardinal, he's also a big one. So early days predictions from you guys of who you think the next Pope is going to be.
I'll honestly, I'm gonna let Shayo take this for starters because I've got some very controversial opinions.
Okay. So I don't know the rules like per the this is like the Christian faith, right?
Yeah.
Catholicism specifically.
This is Catholicism.
Pope, did I say Popal?
Popal, the Popal, the Popal
Alright,
and the
Slee's
Papal.
back. Let's talk about China.
All right. Hi, Sliggy.
Hello.
Let's talk
Hello.
about our actual topic of my microphone peaking.
You're fine. Now your microphone's
It was
not
fine.
working. Oh, it works now.
I think
Let's
it's
go.
working. Right?
You
Alright,
just turned
cool.
yourself down massively because you enjoy fiddling
cannot
with
hear you.
knobs. You just,
Me?
sorry, twiddling with buttons.
What is this guy saying? All right. Noted Premier League football team, Wolverhampton Wolves. Somehow, someway, the first Chinese team alongside XLG to make it into Toronto. I think this is a shock for everyone who does not like actively watch China week by week, but I know that that you guys have been keeping up, and I really want to start with Wolves because this is a team that, like you and especially TMV, Josh, have really been building some hype for throughout this year, but this is the first time they've pushed over the line, made a global event, and to do it this quickly through the upper bracket, I think is a pretty big surprise for people who weren't keeping up week by week.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you the rundown on Wolves. TMV supported this team because he thought it was funny that a fucking org from Wolverhampton, like, is competing in VCT China. So that's why he was a fan of them, like back in the day. They actually rebooted their roster at the beginning of this year and added a lot of talent. I mean, the roster is talented. It's got a lot of good players on it, and I think they rely a lot on that too.
I feel like if you looked at the roster individually, you would say it's a top 3 roster in China. That's personally
which
what I would say.
I mean, kind of makes sense because they are top 3 now. in
But
terms of
they
going to Toronto,
definitely
but
weren't.
They were. They were
weren't.
looked in kickoff. They looked like the worst team in China, or maybe like
Yeah.
second worst, like something like that. Like they could not get they couldn't play Valorant. They are good players, but they couldn't play Valorant. They were all over the place. It was absolutely shocking. They had no good game plans, no coordination between the players. It was awful. But they've really heavy rebounded in stage 1 to become the team that we thought they were going to be, kind of, which is that they're a bit like old FPX. If you want a touchstone of like a Chinese team that they're similar to, I mean, that's not a good round. We're watching a bad round right
Well,
now.
there's
We'll
nice
see
shots.
that.
That's a regular Chinese round. Don't even worry about it. That happens
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, sorry. Can you go back to the beginning of this round though, Kurt? Like the very start of this round, because you'll also see Spring just team stuns right at the beginning. I've never seen a Neon with such bad stuns on a map, by the way. But he's normally their smokes player, and then he plays Neon on this map for some reason. But he's starting over towards the headshot box on grass, and he just team stuns. Wasn't it this game? Wait, maybe. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, dude. He just
Everyone. He
wait,
stuns
that-
literally
That's
everyone.
awesome.
That's a mouse bug thing, right? I feel
Okay.
like his
No.
mouse 3 or something is.
Sliggy, he's doing it like 1 every 5 rounds. He's like randomly tossing his stuns out accidentally all the time.
It's when he jumps. He's going to have like mouse wheel on jump or something, and he's going to have like click in as his
maybe.
util.
But he has the world's most diabolical stuff. And then look at this from Sufat. He forgets to put the bounce on the recon. This is the team going to Toronto. But they do not play like good Valorant. But they have good players and they have skilled players and they like scrap it out in the brawl, if you know what I mean.
So this is like the most classic Chinese 2nd or 3rd seed going into a global event kind of team in terms of style.
They're not too stupid. Like, I know that what you're watching right now, but FPX would play awful comps and like really wild ideas and stuff like that. Like Wolves don't play terrible comps and ideas. It's just that the coordination and the game plans are not like tippity top tier. But the players are good and they've shown an ability to be able to get past other teams. They're a fucking funny team to watch, though. They're a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
How much damage do you think that they can realistically do? Is this like an upset win team? Is there any higher expectations than that?
Like 1,000,000%, all the strength in the world. These guys are walking into Toronto, 12th place. It's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be wild. Like the team is wacky for sure. Like some of the rounds they went on split as well, like triple kill reads with like a raise rocket, like through a smoke. Like you got Yuka saving rounds half the time. Sufat Baby like leveled up and had really good openers half the time in both maps as well. But like just as a record for these guys, like going against a bunch of these other Chinese teams, they've always been kind of like the stoppers of the craziness. Like ironically, I feel like Billy are even crazier when it comes to how YZ approaches and plays the game. But for some reason, I think it might just be the influence of like Lysor on the rest of the team, and he had an amazing performance across this entire series specifically as well. But they're so good at like identifying the crazy because they might also just be crazy, but like they're crazy in a suit versus like crazy in like a straight jacket, you know? Like they're Wall Street crazy, which is why they're going to like not Wall Street, but the financial district of Toronto. Let's go. Kensington Market might not be the exact right street, but anyways, they bathe in it. They are it. I'm not sure how far it gets them in Toronto specifically because you know, there are not too many crazy teams coming out there.
Wait,
but
what are they bathing in? Sorry, I'm losing the analogy.
The crazy, like they bathe in the crazy, but
they're bathing in the crazy and then they're wearing a suit. It's a very simple analogy to follow.
In the crazy,
they're bathing in the crazy,
Market.
but they don't exude it. You know, like you shower yourself in scented water, but you don't come out smelling like it. You just get the properties of the scent.
I mean, that's crazy because the properties of the scent is smelling like
it. Smell.
But like, you know, if you showered in like calcium or whatever other mineral, is calcium a hard mineral or soft mineral? I don't know if it's an option for that one as well.
Famously soft.
Okay, well, like. Yeah, imagine you got the buff, but you didn't get the smell. No one knew you had the buff type beat.
One of the other important things, though, to remember about this team, right, is that we're showing you Haven right now, which is a goofy map for them because they swap around who's playing their like smokes and duelist. Normally, they play Juicy on duelist. I think on every other map. I might be wrong about that, but I think it's on every other map. They play Juicy duelist, and then they play Spring on smokes, and Spring is a much more sensible smokes player. He's just like he's kind of one of your more standard, like you've got a guy with really good aim on smokes and he wins a large amount of duels, and they've just got a talented roster, so I think they're going to be able to upset at Toronto. I don't think they're going to be a team that I don't think they're going to be a team we ever predict to win unless they're playing against, well, it depends, I guess, who else qualifies, but I don't think we're going to be predicting them to win, probably. But I think they're probably going to get a win somewhere. But, you know, because they've got good players and someone's going to underestimate them and they're going to play a little goofy and they're going to get a win.
That does happen.
Yeah, especially in the bigger tournaments.
Like if they're facing a team like Heretics or something, I feel like it'd be really a good matchup for them and a good test to see like how their playstyle works with like, you know, some more aggressive teams across the world. It's going to be cool.
I want to turn then to XLG as well, because Josh, I know we're talking about TMV's favorite team. We have to talk about yours. Somehow, both of your rooting interests are the first two Chinese teams making it through. But
that's because we're the smartest analysts. That's just because we're the smartest
course,
analysts.
Of course.
Genuinely called this months ago, by the way. I
Yep.
can't believe I'm correct, but I called him.
They lost to Billy to start the stage, and then they've been on a run. 6 matches won in a row. The last one, a 2-0 win against EDG. And we know EDG is kind of having a rough time right now, but still, I mean, who is XLG? How the hell did they make it to Toronto?
XLG, Coconut and Viva 2, XLG, GG, Happy Way and YOU. From abyss to ascent, Raga brings you to his knees. China's best, we are blessed with a mighty XLG. XLG. So that's XLG, basically. They are an incredible team. Okay, one of the things that first drew me to this XLG team is that they play sensible goddamn Valorant. All right. They're like Trace. You know how Trace would play some like good comps, good pistol rounds, like good ideas kind of stuff? This was XLG, and they didn't actually have, I thought, the individual ability to be able to make it like to an international event, deep at an international event, something like that. But they've had massive upswings from Raga recently. And honestly, like the rest of the team has been playing pretty well too. Like Viva, Coconut, YOU. Viva and YOU have been playing really well as an initiated duo. And Happy Way has always been good. If you look at the stats page, Happy Way is actually at the bottom for their game against EDG. But Happy Way, I would say, has been their best player like over the year. And then Raga has just like shot up as the team has got better at kind of setting him up, I suppose, and understanding the meta. Because he was farming this game. But look at this round. Like, look at the Breach ult, Teo ult combo to just crush EDG in this round on the reclear.
Like, it was so good because it was actually conditioned the entire time to where like they were just leaving things completely more so open on that side to let these guys come in. I think EDG would do like this really slow default over and over again where like they'd wait for the first initial util to come in and then they just slow walk in, not clear much, not use util. And like we were literally talking about this could be a possibility, you know, the air fryer ultimate coming in, rolling thunder and Armageddon, and then boom, it's like just perfect.
Yeah.
And then EDG also though are struggling. Like this,
sure.
They are playing. We've all seen the like Simon leaked logs of him talking to his manager and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like the reality of the situation is EDG are now stuck with Gen.G. Whether or not if at any point they even wanted to bring Simon back, if Simon had like fought for his spot and been a bit of a different player or whatever, that bridge is burned. Like Simon has fucking torched that bridge. He is not coming back to this team. So they're stuck with this setup. I think they originally wanted to play with Gen.G because he would play Yoru for them on some of the maps, because that's what they were experimenting with earlier on. And now he's not doing that really. He is playing double duelist for them on some maps, but it's mostly Kangkang playing the Yoru.
Which doesn't look great.
It doesn't look great, but he also looks fucking lost on ISO. Look at this round of him on ISO. What is bro doing at B? They've lost full rubble control, and he's just like wandering around at the front of B, doesn't pop his shield, goes down. He went 2 and 3 inside of his ultimates on this map. He had 5 ults, and he lost 3 of them. Kangkang.
This was... This was the one where is this the game where he ulted when he had a sheriff?
Yes, and his teammate was stood next to him with a rifle. His teammates, by the way, they won that round, so I didn't give it to Kurt for Plat because I was like, it kind of tells the wrong story. But yes, he ults with a sheriff, with his teammate next to him has a rifle. It's nonsense. Like everything from EDG looks a bit off. The spacing looks off. Their ideas look off. Kangkang looks really uncomfortable, even though he's still fragging because he's Kangkang. So like if you just look at the stats, you're like, oh yeah, the guy is fine. But brother is lost at the moment in this meta, in my opinion. He's just kind of like vibing based on skill.
Yeah.
I would disagree. I'd actually disagree. Not on your Kangkang point, but the fact that EDG are looking worse off. I think Gen.G's actually a very nice ad. Like his deadlock on some of these maps as well. I don't think Simon was playing specifically or the team was playing either beforehand. Maybe I'm wrong about that one. You can stop me now, but that, I think, elevates the team in their setups for some of these maps. I do think Kangkang is lost, but I feel like he's slightly finding his way now. I think he's learned that Yoru clone counters his ultimate off of his next matchup in the lower bracket a couple of times. So, you know, he's progressing on the Yoru, but much like we were talking about T1 banning Icebox, if they just switch things up, you know, put Ye on the Jet, put Kangkang back on these dashers, right? Stop with this neon ISO combination, because I genuinely don't know where the synergy is for it. We're fine,
you say?
the rest of EDG's, like, even against Zeli, like Rarga turned up. By the way, for Rarga, this guy's like a bull in a cage type beat. They're not telling him what these games are for. They're just injecting him with super juices and going. This guy's like,
wait, tell the full story of this.
I don't know this full specific one, but like, unless someone has a full specific,
Oh, I
can
can
tell
tell you.
A story, Josh?
Oh, there's a great story.
Yeah,
so
it's a good
Rarga
story, yeah.
drops, how many did he drop? 92 or whatever in this game. He dropped 56. He went plus 25 to beat EDG, the team with all of the aura, and qualify them for Toronto. At the end of it, he said nobody told him that game was to qual.
It's crazy.
He didn't know that game was to qual for Toronto. And he just drops an all-time, like, his best performance probably
I
ever
swear to
with
God,
this team.
here's what they have to do. Blindfold him. Put him on a flight. They don't tell him where they're going. They hide him in the hold. He's cabin baggage. Then they arrive to Toronto. They do not let him out of the hotel room. They're like, oh, we're just back in China. We're taking a flight. Oh, we're going to do a match in Beijing for one day. It's all good. He's not allowed to talk to anyone. He gets up on the stage. They take the blindfold off. The crowd... They have to learn Mandarin. And then this team can win. And then this fucking team can win Toronto.
This team
if they
comes a
just
lot
don't
in
tell
English.
A lot of Toronto knows Mandarin already, so we're actually halfway there. Like, this is a possibility.
The team comms, I love what China does, by the way. At the very end of the map, they'll play you a full
It's
round with
awesome,
team
yeah.
comms.
It's so sick.
Yeah.
And it especially is great for China because there's so many questions about, like, does this team comm in Mandarin? Does this team comm in, like, a mixture of Chinese and English? You know, because so many of the teams have imported players whose Chinese is not, like, that great. And so here in this team, they're common in English a ton. Most of the players have extremely good English skills, like Coconut, YOU. I think it's Happyway, and then Viva. I might be wrong with that, but I think, like, one of the players, I think it's Viva, is, like, less comfortable with it than the others. But for some reason, I guess it got lost in translation that Raga even knew that he was playing to qual.
Does he know what team he's on right now? Does he know he's playing Valorant? Like, how far does it go?
I just, like, I want to go meta for a second and just talk about how fucking good the names of the Chinese players are again. The fact that we got a guy named Coconut going to this event is awesome. You just have Tew Fat BB on the other team and Juicy as well. Like, oh my God, they are fucking cooking with their names.
Su also means little, so his name's Little Fat Baby, which is just it's just amazing.
That's
it's amazing.
Incredible.
Can you Kurt, can you bring up round 16 though? Because this will show you what Raga was doing. Oh, I thought you just played round 7.
Oh, I did. You're right. I'm tripping.
Oh, I'm on it. I'm on it.
Thank you.
Long A
So
one.
this was the A long reclear, but I want to talk through this round a little bit. So they've been doing a really good job. Like XLG generally, though, we're going to be glazing Raga's individuals quite a lot, but XLG generally have like really good game plans. So they shut Kang out of this game pretty heavily on Haven. They had really good Taeho usage. The smokes are good. Like the stuns are good. They're very diligent with their utility to get value from their map control. And then this round 16, they ran a setup that I haven't seen anybody else do. Could you go back 5 seconds just because we get a flash of Raga? And Raga is putting his teleport on the top of the A box here. So he's putting his teleport on top. So they go for an A long reclear. And then if Raga gets in trouble, he's going to teleport back on top of the A box to be on a really weird, like unconventional angle as they accelerate into the site against him. But they never end up needing to use it because they just crush with this double flash reclear. So they have like, I think they use Paranoia as well. But Raga, is it just a single Yoru
I swear he
flash?
just walks up and like no one's playing anti, and like they all just die.
Yeah.
Like the Paranoia does come in afterwards and helps him with like the third kill, but dude, he just keeps going. And again, moments like this over and over again, which like kind of also go with your narrative of EDG are slightly lost too, because you should have a contingency at least of, you know, there's a Yoru on the team. This is a possibility. Like have one anti at least,
especially double flash.
Yeah, like it's a whole thing that just kept happening. Even then, I feel like the map was still really close with the pure talent of like EDG. I think they're like kind of in a
EDG's attack sides look pretty decent though on Haven.
Yeah. They're like in a parent-child relationship, I always call it, which like is very prevalent on Lotus more than anything else, where they send in the children, which are like what's it called, Kong and Jenny, and they just run around and do whatever, maybe get a kill or two, and then the parents, Chichu, nobody, Smoggy specifically, the mom of the team, I feel like comes in and just clears everything up, clears up the mess, And then we go again, little children, go and play, and sometimes Kong gets a 4K. You know, the child gets a little reward, but
that's kind of why I dislike the Jenny move, though, because I feel like when they're at their best is when they set Kong up to be that child who goes in and gets things, and then they can clean up afterwards. And I just think that Simon's util to set up Kong was better. They were like cerebrally linked.
Yeah, his breach was always incredible, and I think like to make the Yoru actually like good these days, you have to have a breach that like knows what they're doing, and the synergy is pretty good.
Which is why
you watch a lot of.
If you look at the rematch against DRG, like the biggest thing was like DRG had a really good ascent, and like their ascent I feel like was one of the really good ones in China in general. They had a nice complete counter setup to the way they lost last time. They like shut the team out completely. They had good util usage. Kong was covered. I think he dropped like 70 plus kills in the whole series as well. The second time still struggled.
Crazy.
And like maybe 15 extra Yoru clone kills in ultimates. Like on top of that, it was nuts. Like I feel like they're still leveled up. They're still in there. And this was a close loss against Gila.
Sure, but it was still a loss, and I kind of want to keep us moving here and talk about EDG specifically, because they're in a position for the first time in a while where they might miss a global event. They've made it to every global event since Champions Istanbul 3 years ago, on a streak there, and they have won every event in China since then, and even since before then. This team has never lost. But now amid this this roster change and the kind of internal implosion with the Simon situation, they're in a lower bracket game here, facing against Billy Gaming. And I think that the question is, how much is there a chance of them actually missing out on Toronto? And how much is it a chance that this is another classic, haha, EDG, they lost a couple matches, but it'll all be water under the bridge when they win out the bracket?
I think this time's different. They're not winning the bracket this time. That's for sure. I think the real question is, like, do they go to Toronto? Because their map pool's not good enough to win this bracket right now, in my opinion. So I think it more comes down to can they make the first step, which is get into Toronto. And even then, I haven't watched enough of Billy to kind of know if it's going to be like insanely close. But from what I've seen of EDG, I'm not super confident in their map pool. But apparently their ascent got a little bit better than I watched last time, so that might be something.
Their ascent leveled up. I've watched a lot of both these teams. I feel like Billy are kind of like on a one-note grind right now, and they're kind of slowing down in the innovation they have compared to when they started the whole season in the 5 weeks of China. YZ and his craziness kind of is getting figured out. They rely a lot on him getting, the openings on some of these rounds. They're sending him on a very fast tempo in front of the team as well, a lot of the times to go crazy with it. But I feel like EDG are leveling up from some of these losses, and I also think it's business as usual. They take economy to these playoffs. Like they don't go first class, upper bracket runs all the time. You look at kickoff, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like they drop down a little bit.
Dude, but kickoff they should have lost. Like I was saying the same shit as Sliggy at kickoff. I was like, this time is different. And maybe more fool me. But I really thought that kickoff was going to be where they couldn't pull it together. But they did. They went on a run there. They beat XLG, they beat DRG, they beat Billy, and then they beat Trace in the grand finals.
I mean, they've done DRG. They're up against Billy again. I just don't think Billy have the complexity necessary or like the pop-off potential like a Rarga necessarily to stop a team like EDG. I think that Smoggy, the core they have in the back that, solves the mess, is just too good on a lot of maps. Even if the map looks bad itself, just the core talent available for this roster, the position they're in as well, the kind of, the run at this point, track by track, I guess, is good for EDG from the lower side. This is what they do. This is business as usual. Cheaper tickets now, harder matches early, and easy wins at the end. Like I remember myself too doubting EDG. Everyone does it every time, but I'm seeing the patterns now, and I'm watching these games, and I'm looking at a team that's stronger in this matchup. I think it's like again 72-28 for EDG in this one. Like it's
so you think they're making it, but on the Spirit Airlines ticket?
Yeah,
yeah, basically.
But do you think they're going to make it, or do you think they're going to win? Because those are two different.
Oh, make it. Do
you think they're going to win the tournament though, Shio?
Like overall, I think they have a good chance. Again,
Man.
it's a thing. Like because I always don't think it, and then no, dude, we ranked T1 at 8th as well. Like we had no hope for these with this team.
Yeah, but that was justified as well.
Yeah,
that was justified.
I think they have a good chance. I said this as well. I feel like China is not EDG's region. I feel like this is the region they come to with nerves like it's an international. I feel like this team thrives at an international stage more so, learns more
They
there.
won in
and
China
does better
every
there.
single time. What do you mean it's not their region? They
But
they
at the
dog
same-
walk that region.
I understand,
in terms of, like,
but I
winning
feel
it.
they look even better in nowadays age in international stages, like more so than they are learning and improving in China. Like at this point.
This game's a little bit crazy though, right? 12 days in between. That's a long
that's the
time.
big
Yeah,
thing
it is
too,
a
yeah.
long
Crazy, isn't
ass
it?
time. May 2nd is when this match finally gets played out. But we'll wait with bated breath for that one to see if EDG are the third team making it or if some crazy shit is happening over in China. We took a while on that, so let's keep this show moving and now talk about EMEA here and start off with some of the games. I don't remember if this was our match of the week last week, but I think it was one that a lot of people were excited about. KC playing into Foot, the favorite going into this series, but a Karmine Corp that's getting better and better, and they nearly beat them, but lose out, get stomped on Lotus, and their freaky, nasty, weird Raise Jet Ascent comp. Not enough to win out in this series, and I think that's where I want to go first. What is up with KC? Because these are I didn't have time to watch this game, but these comps, just looking at them, are absolutely wild. Even for Karmine Corp,
they're freaky, nasty, filthy, awful. I mean, like Jet Rays is this team has been cooking. They've been coming up with some unusual compositions, going for the harbor a ton and that kind of stuff. But you can't be playing Raise Jet Ascent. There's got to be better options to put Aves on. The last team to play Jet Raise Ascent in EMEA was Foot, and they interviewed Mr. Fallen about it at the end. And Mr. Fallen was like,
flaming him.
yeah, like, we didn't even mean to pick Raise Jet Ascent. We thought it was bad. We just wanted Ada Captain to get some time playing Raise. We played it. We thought Raise is absolute shit on Ascent, and we realized we were easily going to win this game because Raise is shit and don't play this comp. And it was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. That's incredibly valid.
I feel like it's a classic thing of like, this is like probably now the most defensive sided map in the pool, and you're like trying to pick a comp that makes it better on attack which is like really trying to force like, okay, we can double execute with our double duelist and try and get something done. But it's like, even then you're gonna just lose out to the utility. You're gonna struggle on your attacking rounds. I feel like the teams thus far this season that have been the most successful on Ascent have been the ones picking the comps that heavy index into just making the strong defense even stronger with like double sentinel, with Vi's deadlock. Like, that has been dominating across multiple regions in VCT, and I can't feel like this was just like anything but troll.
Yeah, I mean, their comps are weird. I think I think the really rough thing is as well, like they do comps that I don't really like, but I think they do really cool stuff with it. Like, I watch it and I'm like, that's cool. You spend a lot of time. Like, it's nice
like
that
the
you
harbor
kind of have
stuff.
it this way. Yeah, and the harbor Vice stuff, I think that's good. But the problem is that you have to have the Vice to make this doable, right? There's smoking off an area, they're flashing into it. But Elite is not comfy on this Vice, and it's cool to have like a good idea, but if someone's not comfy on like this agent and we're forcing it, I think it's very hard to actually like get wins when you should be winning, because dude, he doesn't look comfy at all. Like, aim wise, decision making, like all of the util, it's not good. He is the person that I think that is struggling the most from like a Killjoy meta coming into a Vice meta. Like, he's the only person that seems to be like really struggling with the change.
The thing is, though, I felt like, maybe I'm wrong with this, but my impression of him was at the beginning of the year that I was really enjoying watching him play Cypher. And you can still play Cypher on a bunch of these maps.
But that's not how
they don't want to. Yeah. So I think they're overcooking. But there were still some signs. This game was utterly stupid, by the way, because it started off with like a pistol rollback. It had like a 20-minute, 30-minute tech pause or something while they rolled back the pistol round for I don't know what reason. And then KC ended up losing the pistol after they'd won it originally, but then they won the force buy afterwards on Pearl. So like things got very, very silly at the beginning of Pearl. But the coordination looked good from KC. Like the pack was playing tight. They were playing their angles well. Like, it looked good. There was a Bucky ace in this game as well from Mr. Fallen, which we gotta show, because that's like, it's got to be one of the best, or like the best Bucky ace of all time, because it wasn't against an eco either.
It was full buy,
No,
yeah,
it was their eco round.
Yeah, it was their eco round, and they beat the piss out of them, and like,
it's actually like a really good Bucky round. Like he plays it incredibly smart. Like,
does, yeah.
His first kill is good, and then he doesn't like overheat, even though he's spotted a lot of people. And then he like Teo ults, he separates one, gets that kill, then like repositions, and he's just so confident he has the best gun for the situation. He has no armor here, by the way, as well.
So
It's
you're looking
just,
at double doors to zone in right now,
yeah,
and he gets in front of the harbor wall to begin.
And then so he gets the first kill, spots two, instant goes for an ult.
They're
So,
stunned, by the
pushes-
way, so they can't trade.
Yeah, instant pushes them forwards. Gets another, spikes down as well. Doesn't pick up any of the other guns, and just holds incredibly strong over towards here. No armor, no one's spamming, and dude, it's just nuts. It's so good. It's so good. I just respect this, man. Like, honestly, shotguns over towards door is really busted at the moment. There's like a little angle you can play that can't actually be spammed. It's really strong. I think so first of all, I think the FUT are getting ecoed too much. That's something that they really need to focus on. They almost lost this because they got ecoed so many times, in my opinion. So that's something that they need to clean up for sure. And then K Corp, I don't think they're going to change from the comps, even though I would like them to change from the comps. But I need them to be on like the same page all the time. There's like a couple of rounds. I think it's the same map round 19 where they like get over towards the A site on Pearl, and they like some of them are pushing through the smokes and some of them are going like back, and there's just these rounds where I'm just like, oh, they're just not on the page, or like Sadak calls something instantly, but then it's not enough time for everyone to react, and he's going first and no one else is able to follow up. So I have I'd have quite a few worries for K-Corp at the moment, that like their comps, the synergy within the team, and then just Elite on his own, just not being in form of how he looks at a Killjoy or a Cypher.
So both these teams are going to be locked to go to playoffs already from EMEA. There's one more week to play of the group stage, but for at least Group Omega, that's just for seeding, and neither of these teams are going to be contending to make #1 seed. So they're making it at some point into this one, pretty much locked in their positions. I want just like a general vibe check on how much we expect from these teams going into playoffs then, because I think FUT had really high expectations. They're a team that were likely expecting to make global events this year and do well at them too, but this is a super close game against KC. Is KC really going to be a contender in playoffs, or is it just kind of this close game because it got a little silly?
I mean, it's not even that it got a little silly necessarily. I think it's just like classic Ascent things where both teams ended up doing well on the defense side a bit. But like, I don't think there was really a doubt that FUT were winning that game, to be honest. They could have won all 3 of the maps, even though they lost this FUT. I think that FUT are going to do the classic FUT thing and come like 4th in EMEA playoffs.
Yeah, it might happen.
And they're just going to be like the gatekeeper team because they look good. And when you watch them, they've had some rounds where it's like great ability synergy, really strong, like supportive trading for each other and holding angles for each other and stuff. The players occasionally have looked fantastic. Like we've seen amazing stuff out of Zeus, Mr. Fallen. But I just don't think they're going to be able to crack the absolute top teams in EMEA. I think they're a step below right now.
I think that's fair, but I also think I feel like they can do it. Like if I'm thinking of like I agree they're probably like around 4th at the moment if you're looking kind of in EMEA, but I think they're like what are the upset teams really? If they clean up if they clean up these ecos, I think they're gonna have some kind of upset where we would probably predict the other team to win, or they're like not favorites coming in and they'll win it. Yeah. So I think they're in a good spot. It's this consistency.
Can they get #1 seed in their group so that it's a lot easier for them to make it? Because they're 3-1 right now, and Liquid, BBL, and FUT are 3-1. But there's something weird about it. Like
Liquid beat FUT.
If FUT wins,
BBL.
they could be 4-1.
So Liquid has
they need
head over
KC
both
to
teams.
beat Liquid.
Yes.
Yeah, so
which
Liquid
is...
have to lose, or they just have the group themselves.
They need Liquid to lose, and they need Liquid to lose, and they need to beat BBL.
Yeah.
So basically, if Liquid lose, BBL FUT becomes the #1 seed match. If Liquid win, then Liquid locks.
Because I think that makes a huge difference to FUT's chances of making it. Just because, you know, they could get one big win right at the start of the bracket, and then they're just through. They just win straight through to Toronto instantly.
Because I think they're good for that upset as well. So I agree.
But is Liquid going to lose to Karmine Corp? Surely not.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I mean, this is a like natural gas inhaling take, but maybe also for Foot, it's better not to get first seed, right? Because maybe they need more reps. Listen, I told you it's a natural gas, and there's something in my room. Maybe it's better that they need the more reps, right? That ascent was Cracks like playing for the enemy team with his flashes, man. Like it was crazy the amount of self flashes. Like it was the what?
No, there were some rough moments.
Oh, yeah, I thought you said he was on smoke. So I was like, am I
no,
smoking gas?
no.
Like, what's going on?
His knives were good though. Like his actual knives were winning them rounds.
But if we're talking about like, we want this team to level up to take on like the Titans and whatnot, like having a lower bracket run that works for them, like might upgrade them completely, a la like a Liquid beforehand that, just had so many reps and were so practiced, ultimately didn't have the maps to play, but natural gas take. Anyways.
Yeah, I think if they just get some like ridiculous performances out of ZETA DIVISION or Cracks, the players that haven't been playing as well recently, and they match up to where Zeus and Mr. Fallen are, personally, I think it's just going to come down to that kind of stuff. Just like, do the players have a cracked game? Because there are some outrageous.
Because we know they can have the cracked games, but like the set plays, I feel like, and the specific like, okay, guys, this is not a everyone aim round. This is we have to do ABC round. Like if they can figure out those rounds a little bit, I feel like that can thwart a lot of teams as well. And they have like something to fall back on if the aim's not working. Like if they go up against a Liquid situation again, like on a Lotus, I just want them to have something to lean back on. That's not just looking over your shoulders at other players to kind of pick the steam up of aiming.
Wait, but the Lotus was absolutely cooking with the Waylay. Like Zeus looked phenomenal with the Waylay on Lotus. I was loving that shit. Compared to what, because Zeus was playing Jet before on Lotus, and it was horrible. But like in this game, Casey had no chance. He ran them. He was 24 and 12 plus 12, and he was everywhere doing everything. It was fucking sick.
Like the Lotus where they got like completely like locked out, dumpstered on.
No, I know, but they weren't playing Waylay at that point. And they were doing they had so many nice set plays in this map. If you go back and watch this on the attack side, they were doing like double dashes onto catch the sea anchor, so they like stun and dash Zeus in, and they just get a free pick out the back of it. It was pretty tactical, actually. This game, it wasn't just a like you could tell run around and kill people game.
You could tell they knew that K-Corp was going to pick this map.
Yeah,
because they just beat someone 13-2 on it. I can't remember who it was. I want to say Koi, but it might have been someone else. So they knew this was going to get picked, and they were super prepped, super prepped. Like they had so much good stuff that first time, one of those first time they use it, they were going to win. It was nice.
Yeah.
This was the one dominant map of this series, really, that they went home and stomped. But another series EMEA played out was also pretty much a stomp all the way through. Team Heretics, they secured 4-0 alongside FNATIC over in Group Alpha and locked their spot in playoffs by getting this win over NAVI. And my question's simple. They're 4-0. They've been running through everyone. Is Team Heretics in the form that they were at the end of last year again?
No.
Get in there.
They look better. Dude, I'm overreacting like crazy for this squad. But Miniboo's form is like, it's the best we've ever seen him play. It's outrageous from Miniboo. He's been like the player that they kind of send in, like human drone style, and then most of the value from this team is coming from like Woot, Rien's, Benji, Fishy, really. Miniboo's playing like the best player in EMEA in stage 1.
But do you think that? Why do you think that is?
Why do I think that is?
Yeah.
What you mean? Like, what's the reason for it?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure because I don't think that the team is actually changing their style too much. Like when I'm watching him play, he's just fucking frying people. Like I think his anticipation of where people are and what he was doing with like the neon on Icebox, that map, and what he's been doing in I mean, in this game on the Yoru as well, he was just fucking owning people. I don't know what the reason is.
I have a bit of a theory that, so when he's normally like, when he's solo duelist for Heretics, and all he has to do is like make space for the rest of his team, and it's literally like it's not necessarily like the smartest move that he's doing, but he's going to draw a crosshair, and then someone else can just kind of just come in. I feel like when he has double duelist and he knows that he can be a little bit smart of his pathing because there's someone else that can like force through with him, whether it's Woot on ISO or Woot on Jet. I think that he's doing, I think he has like way more confidence to go in and be like, it doesn't matter, like now I can make this play because I want to make this play, and the rest of the team is like fine because we can still dash into a smoke if we're playing on this.
Yeah.
Or he has the ISO and he can pop up the shield.
But also he was playing the solo duelist on Icebox with the Neon, and he also still put down like a generational performance.
Yeah.
But I do see what you mean, because I think the fact that they have Woot and Miniboo and they're both playing in this form, it just feels unfair right now.
That's strong. I think I really like the idea of just giving Woot Jet for one map as well. Like that land, it was just so sick when we got to see him on Duelist, and it's just nice to just give him that one map, and he'll like look forward to it. It's like when FNATIC had like Alpha playing the ISO for a bit, and it was like, yeah, you can go crazy on this map. It just feels a bit like that as well. So I think them leading into the double Duelist is like really good. I kind of watch this team at the moment. I think I'm not saying they're back to that level, but there's definitely halves in maps where I'm like, oh, dude, this will beat most teams.
Yeah, they're really impressive right now. I want to save more discussion about Heretics for when we do their pred, because next week is seeding week for EMEA. But one of the most exciting matchups, I think, will be Heretics versus FNATIC. That'll be for the #1 seed of that group. Over on the other side, Team Liquid's game as well is for #1 seed. Let's keep it moving though to BBL. They've qualified for the playoffs by stomping down on the Gentle Mates here. And BBL's kind of an interesting team, because I feel like not a lot of people were like super high on them heading into stage 1, but they did have some kind of impressive games in kickoff. They've picked up their early win against Karmine Corp, and they're going to be ending their season by playing against Foot. And after watching this Mates game, I think it's just kind of a question of, does this team kind of have any chance to go up against Foot, or should that be a one-sided affair? Is BBL just going to be, okay, you're a 3rd, 4th seed, you snuck in, you're probably not going to have much of a chance for a Toronto?
I feel like Foot's lows and BBL's highs, and like BBL's improvement from week to week, and especially, can't be activated after that week 3 or week 2 situation where he got the vibes back into the team. And like also just to reference this match as well, I know the first match is like an overtime, but honestly, these guys had the win like so long ago, and like Gentlemen just started to crawl back. It was essentially like 2 13-2s and like a 13-5 with like a fake comeback in a sense. But like they look good, and they look to be getting even better. The protocols, I feel like across the board are amazing. I'm seeing less Profec on Astra as well, and more of a chance for him to be a shooter on the team, which I think is one of the cores they need on retakes as well. I kind of like their chances against Foot. I'm not saying they're going to be like a crazy contender inside playoffs. I think they have a lot more work to do there, but their next matchup next week, I think, is more of a 50-50. I think it's a closer matchup than it would have been like 2 weeks ago.
I think it's hard to tell from this game as well. I think you'll actually be able to tell a bit more once we see them play against other competition too, because this match was really weird. Map 1, you're watching a team play Jet Lotus, which is, I mean, it's pretty shit, but Levin was just killing everybody. So who cares? Like,
they were doing the standard shit they needed to do, right? Like, that was the thing. I was getting questions like, why Jet on this map? I feel like this is like one of the last maps where you can effectively have it as like a solo duelist if you need it. And like, he did his job, and he also was fragging the whole time. Like, it wasn't the biggest setback of them having the agent, of their losing the other stuff.
I mean, he also just had some rounds where, I mean, like this one, where he just kind of dominated. I think he had a round over towards Mound as well, where he just farmed people too. But I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's like going to be good enough to get you to Toronto maps like this. And then unfortunately, map 2, in my opinion, was just the classic Gentlemates 3 times in a row now have started a series strong and then just given up or something. It's mad. It's like the opposite of what all the other teams complain about. Every other team is like, we really struggle to get our heads in the game. Like, we're always slow to begin, and then we ramp up and we really find ourselves. Gentlemates are like, fucking yowm at the beginning, and then they just, oh, I'm tired now. I need a nap.
But dude, the first map was a mental boom. Like, it really was. They had such a comeback. And they made the comeback from, was it 11-6 to, where are we? 11-6 to 12-11, and then lost that round.
Yeah. It was a tragic fake comeback.
That's so devastating to then lose instantly in overtime. Like, they actually were mentally boomed for sure.
But that's what they did in the previous game. I don't know if you can,
it happens.
If you can look at this, Kurt. If you look at Gentlemates and then you click on like the little down arrow. So like, So look at this and look at the one that they played there. So click the one above as well, sorry. So look at this, 12-14 opening matches, and then 30. It was the same series. They played the same series in back-to-back things where they go to OT and then they just shit splatter the sheets in map 2. It's hard. Like, this is not Gentlemates. Gentlemates have been really fun tactical team to watch. They've been delivering some like good rounds. It's not like a fair judge of them to look at these matches and how bad they play in map 2s. I think it has to be mental because they have shown so much better, but holy crap, they just plummet after the beginning of some of these series goes wrong.
And I think they like threw they threw like their good lead, right? Because they played Liquid as soon as they came back from Masters Bangkok as well. So they kind of played a Liquid that were a little bit shaky and had shown like a rough map pool. So they kind of got that. They were off to a really good start, and then it just
3 losses in a row where they look decent at the beginning of every match and then fall off.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's tragic.
Yep. Yeah, well, they're one of our mid-table teams now heading towards the playoff, but one of the teams with really high expectations going into the playoffs was FNATIC. They came into this week 3-0. They played against GIANTX 0-3, and everyone thought this was going to be a quick, easy game for FNATIC, and then you look at the score, and it's a 2-1, and then you look at the maps, and you're like, wait a minute, Ascent was kind of close. Haven, I mean, what's happening here, guys? Why was this a 3-map series? What went down?
GIANTX, you know, it's kind of crazy. Like these guys are looking good with the new additions to the team. Like this duelist is just cracked, opening up rounds. I think as well, even on the win for FNATIC towards the very end, we saw a little bit of a weakness in terms of the the defensive side isn't as robust in terms of strategy and like maybe set protocols on retakes as they have on attack and what they can do with the time on Haven. It might just be like the map as Haven is, but if you look at things internationally, I feel like that's a gap some teams could be able to exploit. But like back to Giants as well, I just like the addition of these 2 players. I feel like it just reinvigorated the whole team to, you know, put a new foot forward into coming in and doing what's up and doing like new things. So Mozzie kind of leaving the team as well. I feel like with these new younger duelists coming in, kind of speeds things up rather than like the slow play we used to see from Giants from weeks before. It was brand new. I don't think FNATIC were ready for it as much. I feel like sometimes Aura and Flickless didn't even care about how to play Valorant. They were just kind of holding D and spraying stingers, and it worked out in eco rounds. They were hitting like Arsenal level shots on some in some situations. Flickless was like 100% in his name, an embodiment with the shots he was hitting against FNATIC on some moments. Like it was nuts, man. Just the raw firepower of these 2 additions. I don't think we've seen a better debut. It was crazy. Even though they lost, it was so good.
It was like one of them when they're playing with no pressure as well. I think that really helped on this one. You definitely could tell they didn't have time to practice Lotus, but the fact they look this like competitive on the other 2 maps, it's a good sign. Like it gives me more faith. I knew nothing about these 2. They look decent.
Yeah, they did look pretty good. I think though that FNATIC are kind of like, you're gonna have to bear with me here. They're kind of like the Sentinels of Americas in the sense that
I've always thought about FNATIC as the Sentinels of Americas.
I think that their map pool currently has not been tested properly by other teams. This was the first time that anybody pushed them to Ascent or like picked Ascent against them. Historically been a bad map for FNATIC. Or at least meh map for FNATIC, even at their peaks. And we haven't seen them play Icebox. They banned that against, I want to say Vitality. I could be wrong. Yeah, Vitality.
Yeah, Vitality, because they both banned Pearl.
And we haven't seen anybody take them to Icebox either. So we haven't seen any Icebox. The only Ascent that we've seen is them losing to Giants. And they pretty much permaban Pearl. So there are 3 maps in the pool here where FNATIC have some weaknesses. We've only seen them play Fracture once, and it was a close win over NAVI. And their defense side of Haven, I agree with Shayo, can be exploited. It's just that they're so good at the attack side that it normally doesn't matter at all because like you just get like Alfia activates or Kayak activates or something. So I do think there are some holes here that haven't really been prodded much by the other teams in EMEA. And as we get to playoffs, teams are going to be thinking about like, all right, what kind of like big strategy are we building in for a game against FNATIC? And I think it comes down to like doing a lot of ascent prac so that you feel really comfortable going here, or it's risky to go icebox though, because you haven't seen it at all. But maybe if you feel really confident in your fracture, you could try to take them there. Like these kind of things could be weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think sometimes as well, Kayak, he like struggle. Dude, I don't know. Sometimes I never, when he's got a rifle, I never know which version of him I'm going to get. Because sometimes he's unbelievable with a rifle. He's just ADS tapping people. And then other times he would just out hit,
so
just like
funny.
whiff in as well. So I don't know. I think FNATIC, yeah, I agree with the map pool thing, to be honest. We haven't really seen it fully. I think Bolster's playing incredible. I think the calling's good. He's averaging multiple 1v3s, it seems, on just every single best of 3. He'll have some kind of impactful 1v3. He's always clutching. Like his clutch stats are crazy.
He's the second of EMEA. That's why I said it was.
Okay, I see, yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. Yeah, I mean, we just need to see more. I guess we're a week behind on the other regions, so we got a little bit less to go off of. So I agree with the map pool thing.
Yeah, well, they have a big match coming up, and we'll get to that in a second. Let's hop over to Preds, and start with a match here coming out of the Omega group. Foot is going to be taking on BBL. We talked about this one a little bit already. The question is,
we're missing
did
we're missing the little
Oh!
Timmies again.
The report
I'm sorry,
card.
Timmy. Oh, Josh forgot the Timmies too. They're gonna think we hate them.
We don't
This
hate
is
you
so
guys.
sad. We love you, Timmy. Let's see how you did. Casey versus Foot was the match of the week, and Timmy, 56% of you were right picking Foot.
Close.
Good job, Timothy.
Very close. 8,000
Yeah, it is
votes.
close.
A lot
Crazy.
of KC believers.
Yeah,
At least
good job,
4,000 of them.
guys. 2-0 at least to start this week off with your projections. Yes, your astral projections as to
No,
who would win.
Shayo's math was just so off there.
Wait, what did
So
he
what do you
say?
mean? It was like
There were
46.
8,000 votes, and you said at least 4,000 of them were KC. That would be over 50%.
What was the percentage?
44%. Like that. What? Hello?
Round up.
Round up.
Round up.
Round up.
It was shy of 8,000 too.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't
Do the
possibly
math
be.
now. How many voted for
Hold
Casey?
up.
3.
No, okay, I thought you meant Foot. That's
Guys,
what I thought.
surely
My
we
bad,
move
my bad,
on.
my bad.
Go.
Yeah, let's move on.
3,500.
I know the math.
I
the
thought
math,
this is really important,
The
actually.
math freaks in the chat will be really upset, but I think everybody else will be
I know.
thankful we move on.
They're gonna be so sad. When you're
You know
talking
what?
about
Recount. I want a recount of the vote,
math.
actually.
No
is what I want.
recount.
I
BBL
wanna
Foot.
stop
What are our
everything.
predictions? Run it up, Kurt.
Oh boy. Ooh.
It's not a guarantee. Shayo comes out with the BBL pick. Justify your position, good sir.
BBL pick. Honestly, I'm thinking of like we're looking at Foot, who are kind of staying stagnant, you know, as most feet do inside the shoe. And
They
meanwhile,
don't. Most feet move.
they stay pretty stagnant. The leg moves the foot, by the way, first of all. Second of all, BBL looking like they're at bikini bottom, the way that Yampi be sponging up all these ideas and then bobbing left to right in his fights, man. He's leveling up as a player week to week. I think, as I said before, this is very consistent. I said this like 15 minutes ago. This team is I feel like improving at a rate more so than Foot are fixing their mistakes and just staying where they are. They're coming up with new ways to attack the maps they're already good on. They're fixing the maps they're bad on in general. And I've been a nice watcher and a fan of them since the start of these weeks where they kind of sucked. And I feel like now they're fun to watch. Their post-game interviews as well. It's all about, you know, confidence, the vibes of the teams as well. And if that's going well, I feel like this team improves even more. And I still think that this is an upset coming into this week. I'm not saying that they're better off overall, but this is like, you know, I didn't see Cars 3, but like Lightning McQueen and then that black car who's like, it's your time, Lightning. I'm not sure how the movie ends, but I hope Lightning beats him because BBL is Lightning in this moment. So anyways, that's where my mind went with that one. Yeah.
All right. We don't have Lightning McQueen on our side, but one of the Brits. Give the take for Foot.
I can go
They're
if you
just a
want.
good team.
Yep.
I don't have much to say.
The only reason these other games are getting close is because they keep losing anti-ecos. Like I'm telling you, if they clean this up, they're gonna be looking a lot better. It's like the
Zeus
only
is
reason
gonna
some of these
feast.
other games are. But I do think that I'm glad one of us has gone for BBL because this isn't a sure thing. But
Yeah. Not a guarantee.
Yeah.
As a
I
lawyer,
feel
I'll
like a
make sure we don't have
75-25
bad
is
guarantee.
so reasonable for this.
75.
So, Joy?
Nah, that's too much.
75? I would say
70
it's more.
60,
70-30.
60, 40.
Yeah.
6 in there.
Nah, 65-35.
I'll take you with that.
Enough with the 5 times table. I want to disrespect it, man. Put some other numbers up there. 62. What's the other one?
Can I
Josh, hit
press
me
the
with that. I'm
button
gonna
for the
run
next
again.
game?
Yeah, press the button
Yeah,
for the
go
next
on,
game.
please.
Hey, welcome back to Math Chat. Today we're talking about GIANTX versus
Oh,
Koi.
go for
Apex
Apex.
here. And Apex, I'm the sole predictor for that. The boys have all gone for GX here. I'll start with you guys. The case for GX, they're winless. Apex, same boat. Why are you taking them here?
I think they actually looked all right with their new players. I was kind of impressed with what I was watching for their game against FNATIC. Do I think that they're a good team? No, I don't. Do I think that maybe they've got something cooking though? Yeah, enough to beat Apex possibly. I actually think it'll be a competitive game that no one should really be caring that much about.
Yeah.
I might. What? They can't make playoffs. It's just for
Yeah, no,
seeding
it's
fifth or sixth in the group. What?
Here's the thing. I know this game means nothing, and I go to a couple things. First of all, a game that means nothing, I think means more to an Ascension team to win. Number 2, extremely strong biases towards Fluorescent. I feel like this is a game that who knows what the hell's going to happen. It could go either way, and I kind of went through the coin in my head, and I was like, I favor her. GX, less experience with the new players. Apex has been playing with this roster since the addition to Governor for a good few weeks here. And, well, the FNATIC game was not particularly close, except for, like, one good half that they had. They had some better matches earlier in the stage. They took a map off Liquid, off Heretics, off NAVI. Like, I think holistically across the stage, discounting the first game with the new roster, Apex has looked slightly better in my mind, and that's why I've gone for them.
Can I rebuttal? On a
Please.
few of those points. If your team was a mecha and you have one fluorescent as a gun, we just installed Aura and Flickless as 2 other guns. You feel me? So we got 2 of them now. Also,
You're saying Aura and Flickless are as good as Floor?
I feel like
Yeah,
they're
that's
fragging, man. They're coming in and fragging. Yeah, it's looking good. Have you seen the illegal shit they're doing? It's contraband weaponry on my mech.
They do
And
look
I'm
good.
flying. I'm standing on
But-
business there. Second of all, ratio by Governor's Ultimate, you're lost. Your whole team is lost. Your whole team is lost. Holy moly.
He's pulled that one out, yeah.
Why is
Okay.
Batu not playing Duelist as well, man?
I
Why
don't
is-
really
why
have a
is
way
this
to
team not
defeat
playing-
that one. But yeah, this match, they're both 0-4. It doesn't matter. But judging by Americas this week, maybe it'll be a fucking gigabanger for some reason. Let's move on. Gentlemates versus Koi, our next game through another really exciting game with really
this one out,
high
will ya?
stakes.
Oh,
Plat check guarantee.
Come
for
on, you can't be,
Gentlemates.
no. Can I
you can't be
defend?
believing in Koi.
No, no,
man.
can I defend
Koi,
Koi a
defend
little bit?
Koi. I think there is a defense for Koi.
Not
Every
there-
single
there's a-
Mr. Koi.
Okay, before I defend Koi, give me your percentage. Sideshow.
I would say 75 here.
Oh, okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Maybe I'd have to defend them that much.
Well, but that's because I don't think Gentlemates are like awe-inspiring either.
Sure. I think that's fair. So Koi, okay, they just played Liquid, but listen to the starts that they had: 4-0 down, 5-0 down, 6-1 down, and 4-0 down.
Sounds like they're shit.
No, it sounds like they're getting snowballed. They're getting snowballed, dude, and
But
that
they're
can't
getting
happen every
snowballed
game.
Every map thus far.
I mean, it might happen, but I think it looks worse than it actually is. That's what I'm saying. It's out of
Okay.
5%.
Okay,
Honestly, you
this
went a bit
game-
higher than I thought.
Well, you've argued for your 5%. Thank you very much. This game is another just not even seeding match. Just a game that is getting played because it has to get played. Let's go to one that has slightly higher stakes here. Vitality is taking on NAVI this week,
Ooh, yeah.
and it's a guarantee. All 4 of us are going with the Bees. NAVI, it's been a rough spell for this team. It seems like Vitality's on the bounce back. This is a very reasonable guarantee in my mind.
Yeah. I think it's safe, solid, easy peasy. Let's just see a bit more of Vitality and see if they like still look really strong in terms of dismissing another team.
You know,
Yeah,
something that
they
annoyed
crushed
me.
Apex last week.
Something that annoyed me with Haven, with Navi, that they got Haven picked against them, right? I think. Yeah, Heretics pick Haven. They got a double Sentinel comp and they picked Attack. We can't be doing that. I'm never one to like argue about picking sides, but if you have double Sentinel, you gotta pick
Yeah,
defense.
that was weird.
Yeah, especially when you're not doing too much with it. You got to be smarter than they've been.
All right,
So I
let's
just wanted to
move on
flame a
then.
bit.
Thank you for your flame. Team Liquid. They're going to be playing against Karmine Corp. Team Liquid having a pretty good stage. Karmine Corp, some wacky comps. Get a close loss last week. And it's another
Wow.
guarantee. This time, it's going to be Liquid. Josh hiding his face, ashamed by this.
Yeah,
You
because I'd
betrayed
love
your
to.
Frenchman.
I'd love to go for KC, but I just can't believe. Oh, okay. For starters, Liquid are looking amazing though too. Like I'm actually believing in Liquid. I think that they can make it to another international event, even though Vitality, FNATIC, and Heretics are looking really.
And if they win this game, they lock a
KC.
#1 seed in their group, meaning they would
Yeah,
be a game
yeah.
away from
Huge.
doing so.
But KC just like the ideas. Some of the ideas are really cool, and it makes me want to believe. But they just can't put it together into like a match, and the comps look so whack in some of the maps as well. They're a long way off. They're like a cool team to watch right now, but they're like General Mates, where it's like the ideas and some of the tactics are cool, but I don't believe in them to win a lot.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah, I think it's like this will be like a debate against like two sides where one doesn't speak the other language and has like a baseball bat, you know, and doesn't understand what's going on. Like KC have these cool ideas, right? Like they're very linguistic and they're speaking the language, and Liquid is like nonverbal and just walks up to them and just.
Right.
That's how this matchup goes. Yeah, and that's my picture of the entirety of it. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's like the thing about KC is they're kind of like Martin Luther. They have 95 theses, and some of them they're fucking bars. No indulgences. I love that shit. That's such a good idea. And then some of them are just like, bro, you really had to throw that in there to get to 95? Like too many crazy comps
But,
from this team.
imagine a world where we get a Teo nerf and a Harbor buff. They
Then
are
they're
they
the
are
best-
in
the best team in the world.
They're in
Karmine
an
And then
Corp.
the last
unbelievable
chance qualifier
position.
for Toronto is a surprise as well, in case he's playing. Holy shit!
Dude, stage
All right,
2 could be the one.
We're over time. Let's get our last prediction in here. FNATIC versus Team Heretics. Our match of the week. Timmies, make sure you vote on this one. What have we gone for?
Oh
No.
Oh, it
That is
shouldn't
very
be.
bad.
Really?
A 4-0 guarantee for Team Heretics.
It shouldn't be a guarantee. Like, this game is easily the best game of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, BBL Foot should also be pretty good, I think. But this
But
one
this is for
like
#1 seed. This is for an undefeated stage.
both of
like,
these teams could end up going to Toronto easily as well. Like, no matter who wins, who loses. But I don't think it's a guarantee.
No, I don't think it's a guarantee. But
Well,
they're
then
still
who's-
definite favorites, right? I'm not
Yeah,
switching.
they are.
Dude, I'm not
No,
switching.
I'm not
That's
switching
different. They
either.
win.
No, I'm not
like, I'm
switching.
still kind of
We
confident.
got to
they
stand on
win.
business though. We guaranteed it. We have to act like we're guaranteeing it. We can't
Yeah.
pedal back. We got
Okay,
to stand
but
on
what
business.
is the win con for FNATIC? Because I just feel like
Boaster.
Miniboo doesn't play as well. Boaster outcalls Boo.
I feel like
Is that the win
FNATIC don't get away with a Haven on like on an attack side the same way they do against other teams against Heretics. If that's the case, and that's the difference. That's a big difference maker for FNATIC. Then it's Raps, because both these teams love playing Haven, right?
Yeah. It might be what you were talking about earlier. They might just have to get the right maps because they don't. They actually kind of like the same maps, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Because-
they've been permabanning. Both teams have been permabanning Pearl
Yeah.
almost all the time. Heretics have just started changing it to Fracture, and they played Pearl with the double duelist, and it actually looked.
And they both fumbled on Scent.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to want to pick a
I mean,
Scent.
if they both get
it-
like a Haven Lotus or something like that, they'll both be really happy.
It might go to the comfy maps of FNATIC, and I guess that's the win condition.
Yeah, that's the win con. Yeah.
Sure, I could see that, but it's like it's hard to argue against TH right now because they're coming off of 2 like really nice wins. Miniboo is back in form. Like this team just looks like they're gelling super hard, and they have a crazy amount of momentum behind them. Whereas FNATIC, it feels like they've been kind of sneaking out with the wins in some of these games. Still, it should definitely be a banger, but I don't know. Like I feel like
I
we're
am
doing a pretty
hoping.
big
You do know.
punt to actually go FNATIC.
Yeah, a bit. But I do think a lot of it's going to come down to the maps. Like, I'm interested to see whether Heretics wants to take them to Icebox. Because we haven't seen FNATIC play Icebox, and they did ban it in one of their previous series, which kind of indicates that they're not, like, super comfy on it. And Miniboo's Neon was, like, beautiful to
Dude,
watch.
Their Icebox is good.
Yeah.
Like it's one of their better maps.
So that could be sick. That could be
Mhm.
sick, seeing FNATIC get dragged to Icebox. And then maybe there's, like, I don't know, there might be some crazy, like, Fracture pick in there or something as well, because like neither of the teams really want to play it, but maybe they end up, banning other shit and you end up in the middle there or something. I think it's going to be a great game though.
No, it should be an absolute dude. It should be a banger. It should
be.
It should live up to the standards of match of the week. Just because the
Well-
other games aren't even close.
Yeah. This is the one game alongside Liquid. These two games are the only ones that really matter for number one seeding. This is seeding week for EMEA coming up, so make sure you tune in for seeding week.
Every game
Yes!
matters. Champs points every game.
Oh, the champs
Every
points
game.
narrative. BBL with the
Every
one
game. It's a
champs point.
Even without champs points, every game matters. Every single game. It's Valorant. Just imagine, man. I'm not gonna dive back in.
I'm imagining.
Dude,
And the
I am
thing is,
convinced. I'm watching all the
imagining.
EMEA
Yeah,
and
I'm
does
watching
next
all
week.
of these. I'm watching them all twice, in fact.
For
Now
Valorant.
that
Just do
you've
it
said
for
that.
Valorant. You remember that
I'm gonna
first
do it
ever
for
clip you saw?
Valorant.
Back Haven, they're just walking. Anna Donlan's talking about how, shooting matters in this game. Utility is not a thing, blah, blah, blah. And we're hyped for it. That's someone's experience this weekend watching TL versus KC, watching BBL versus Foot. They're going to be in that crowd for the first time.
You've
of all time,
unjaded me
watching the game.
single-handedly. God bless you, Shio Wager. Thank you to Shio and Sliggy. That wraps things up for our little EMEA China section. Thanks very much, boys. We're going to be bringing in Brennan Hook and Rivington Bruce Bislin III for America in just a second here.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go to the member screen just so I can message Riv and
Wait.
Bren. It looks like
Whoa, what
Riv
was
is
that?
That was a
here.
very loud chair noise. I'll be right back.
Sounds like a gas thing from Minecraft.
All right, bye.
Peace. See ya.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me switch Riv over. Don't know if Bren is here. All right, we can hear you, Riv. Hello, welcome.
Yo,
Yo, what's up, dude? How are you?
what's going on? It's going great. I'm glad we got to squeeze this in. The show's been great so far.
Hell yeah. We gotta wait for Bren and Mimi to come back.
Yeah, no worries.
But for those that don't know, Riv is a caster and, well, I guess you technically do analysis. Sometimes you're sometimes on the desk, but you're mostly caster and interview for VCT Americas. My microphone's really quiet. Sorry about that. But yeah, we'll be getting started shortly. Oh, there's
Are
Bren.
you hosting this, Mimi?
She is.
Or do you want me to?
Do you want to see where Mimi is?
Oh, she's just disappeared. All right, well, good.
Hey, Bren.
Yeah, we're live. Hello.
Hi.
Doing it live.
God. I've had a hell of a morning.
Why? What's happened to you?
Well, I didn't get much sleep because I was up in the night. You know when you like toss and turn, you don't get much sleep in general. And I have to say, shout out to my wife Alice as well. She said, "Can you shout me out today on Plat chat?" And I was like, "Sure." And I'm gonna shout her out because I was feeling pretty down this morning, and she decided to hit me with, "What would you do if I died and you came back from the funeral and you found my hair just lying around the apartment after you'd hadn't had time to process any of the grief?" And I was like, I would probably crash out and walk into the mountains and never come back. So that's what I've been hit with
Damn.
before we came on the,
Dude,
Wait,
the
why
tonight
did
you're
she
gonna
episode.
ask for a
rest
shout
real
out for
easy.
that?
She didn't ask for a shout out for that. She just asked for a shout out, and then she hit me with that.
Why did she hit you with the world's most existential grief-laden question when
But-
you were already feeling rough in the morning?
I don't know.
I need to see
I
this as
wish
a
I
movie
knew.
now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people they kind of people crash out when they quit. What's it called when you quit your job?
Yeah,
Quit-
you
like-
quitting?
No, but
Burnout?
it's
Crash
got a
out?
term. It's like a term applied to it. Someone's got to know here, surely.
Like
What to
fired?
what? Can you give us
To
a little more?
you're at work and you're doing
Yeah.
a fucking you're like a soft quitting, you're either you're hard quitting, you're soft quitting, you either crash
Walk
out,
out?
or you just
Quiet
decide to just
quitting?
give up. Hmm?
Is that the chat
Quiet
is saying
quitting is like the
quiet
thing the
quitting?
Is that-
boomers say all young people do when they
Quiet
don't want
quitting,
to work
yeah, where you just
themselves to
don't put
death.
any work in. I would quiet walk into the mountains.
I've been quiet quitting Plat chat for weeks. I've just been turning up and saying shit.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it then and start on America's here. And start with G2. They complete their undefeated run by getting this win over Cloud9, but this was a really close game, at least in terms of the amount of maps played, because it was a weird one. They both started with these super dominant games. G2 stomped on Icebox, and Cloud9 ran away with Haven, and then it was a 13-11 here on Pearl that G2 squeak out. For me, the biggest takeaway from this game was just like continuing to see like how legit C9 is. Like, I think they are very clearly a top 3 team in Americas, and depending on how it shakes out in the day, like could beat G2 if they played again.
Yeah, and also a case study on why Icebox needs to be removed.
God,
Yes.
It was just holy moly, bro. Like, you can literally just take that first map as an example. Kurt, run the tape. I haven't given you any clips, by the way. I've done no preparation whatsoever for this episode. Just run the clips. Just run the tape. I'm expecting you to pull it up.
Trust me, I'm gonna play 4K on round 6 as up against.
Yep, play some random stuff. Play some clips from the Cars 2 movie, please.
What are the Cars references?
G2 are like, they are the perfect team to really dissect and show how broken fundamental concepts are on certain maps or agents. And they decided to play the ultimate cringe post-plant comp for Icebox. We get the spike down. We play fucking hard back in the curry spot position. Balls to the walls Icebox. We're fucking lobbing mollies in. Long range type shit. This was even a team, like 2 good teams that are a joy to watch so far in America's G2 and Cloud9, even somehow Icebox is distilled to the point where there's no hope. There's just no hope watching it.
Honestly, I think this is actually going to be the perfect round to showcase, because Kurt pulled this up because Zeppa gets a 4K, but G2 wins this round.
Yeah.
So I think this actually is going to be the perfect example of the Omega cringe from this game.
I thought this round was a great example too, because what G2, in my opinion, were doing so well on their attack side post plants was once they got into the site and Jojimo had thrown out all his util. This was his first time playing Gecko, by the way. He would fucking run it down every round. He would like be pushing back Rafter on A. He would be pushing through on B.
It's like he's playing Yoru.
Yeah, he'd be getting into these crazy positions. And then, like, in this round, he gets 2 kills back there. He stalls them out, like, single-handedly for 20 seconds. And then guess what? We have missiles. We have cringe util. We have 3 players in, like, complementary crossfires holding for the push. And then they fucking win the round every time. And I talked to him after the game briefly. And I was just like, hey, man, is it first time playing Gecko? Like, how was it? I saw you're, like, so active. He's just like, fuck, man, you got to. I was trying to get rid of all my util. Just gonna push him. You got to do it. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah,
that's the way to play it. You use it, you reset it, you get it.
That's a great tweet. Because also Heretics were that kind of cringe team last year as well. Do you remember them playing on Abyss and playing Sunset and stuff, where they just smoked themselves off and had like Odin spam through the wall and that kind of shit?
The tweet, by the way, is really quick for the audio listeners. Josh, you can't forget about them. Valen is saying, Jarvis, pull up the tweet. Thank you. I hate this G2 team, bro. All they do is play fucking post plant. You might have won the game, but you lost us all as fans. And Root replies with the same copy pasta. For shame.
Yeah, shame.
Sorry, Josh, go ahead.
I thought this game, though, was really competitive for like the first 6 or 7 rounds of Icebox, where C9 wanted to fight on defense, get in, try to flood defend. Then they realized they were just getting like cringed to hell, and they kind of got boomed a bit, I think. And then EMEA had that awesome, I think, coach interview where he said, we just need to... I can't remember exactly what the details were.
We just need to disrespect them, is what he said.
Yeah. Yeah,
we need to disrespect them. You were doing that interview talking to him, right?
Yeah. I mean, you look at the team already, and they don't play what other people play. So EMEA already feels like he has a run in the game, and he wants to disrespect teams altogether. Like, EMEA feels like they should always have control of the game. They should always be pushing. And with the way that they play, I think it's a viable solution to win.
Because I think it made such a big difference coming into Haven. They played with a serious fuck you attitude for like the first, I don't know, 8 rounds or something of Haven, where they were just running at G2 the entire time. They never let them... If G2 were trying to do anything, obviously they didn't start on the attack side, so it's not like you have a apples-to-apples comparison of them sitting there with their iPad, like getting ready to play the post plant. But anytime they were set up in similar kind of situations, getting ready for the retake, for example, Cloud9 were always pushing the tempo, pushing the issue, fighting them, disrespecting utility. Yeah. And it made a massive difference for the rest of the series. Icebox, it looked like G2 were miles away the better team. And then Haven plus Pearl together, if you take them as a package, C9 really showcased that they could hang if they are playing without fear.
They're not a team that uses Tejo that much either, which is very surprising. For G2 that's Tejo pilled, I don't think Trent plays anything else on that.
Yeah.
So it's the results that they get. It feels like they can do this, but still even maybe have that Tejo in their back pocket as they come into playoffs, because they're definitely regular season showers, not playoff growers. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the perennial question with C9 is when is the playoff choke coming? When we were walking out the Riot Arena after this day, me and Christy left at like the same time as him. We're just like, oh, like into that game. And they were like kind of pissed about some of the mistakes. And then he was just like, now we just have to not fucking choke in playoffs for the millionth time. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's about it.
The
I think
problem
that's a
is,
really
though,
bad EMEA impression, so I'm sorry to him.
But it's such a heavy narrative. Like the players and the team are aware of it, and once you become aware of your own narrative, I think there can be some level of like self-prophecy that comes with it, where because you're thinking about it, because you're dwelling on it, you're like, ah, shit, man, we gotta not choke in playoffs, man. We gotta not choke. But at some point, like if you just roll the dice often enough, if they make playoffs often enough, they can't choke every single one of them. It's a statistical
You
impossibility.
watch them, Josh. You watch them try. I believe in these boys. They can do anything. All right, let's keep it moving then and talk about Crew, because this was one of the big matches of the weekend. Crew had this game against 100 Thieves. The Alpha Group #1 seed was on the line. You had the potential for this crazy three-way tie, and Crew were coming off of a pretty big loss against EG, but they show up in this game against 100 Thieves, look back in form, Shy's popping off, and they secure that top seed. So I think the question after watching this game now is, was that EG game just a total fluke, and this is still clearly the best team in Alpha?
Yes. I don't think it's yes, but I don't think it's a total fluke, because we saw that they couldn't come back from DigiZ opping their faces off either in that one map, and then they really like had trouble getting hold of the series when they have control of the game from the beginning. Yeah, it's allowed. Sorry. So the map, when they get control at the beginning, it seems like they run the game. But if they don't, it seems like they have no solution, and the star power can't show up.
Yeah.
Did you guys guarantee this game last week? You
Yeah,
deserve to be checked for that one.
Dan was trying to curse it by picking 100 Thieves, and then she bailed on this episode because she didn't want to face the wrath of 100 Thieves. That's actually not true.
Oh,
but anyway.
brutal.
Yeah.
No, because when I looked at that EG game against Crew, it looked like EG had I'm going to say accidentally to some degree, because I don't think EG can actually pick what tempo they play at. I don't think EG have the option of playing at a higher tempo if they wanted to. I think they are just a slow team. I think everything they do on their attack side is slow. And I think it boomed Crew because they didn't understand what to do against a team that was like tortoise level slow. But against 100 Thieves, like both of these teams just want to scrap. They want to fight. There's just going to be so many opportunities for Crew to get active and, you know, out tempo them basically. And I don't think 100 Thieves have the slow gear. Like to me, 100 Thieves and EG are literally opposite teams on their attack side. They couldn't be more opposite. So I really stylistically favored Crew in this game. Now also didn't watch the game, because this was the day that my dad's birthday was happening, so I was at his birthday party, and I heard that there was some like ESIC reports going on. Like I saw Zekken tweeting afterwards at Department of Defense, we've got to have an investigation.
The final round was definitely some. I mean, the final round was kind of fucking ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie.
Is that the thrash ult into?
Yes, the thrash ult into the corner on Snowman where they missed the ult somehow.
I saw that clip.
EU was saying that it was on it when he was going off of his minimap to aim.
Yeah. They tried to tweet about it.
Dude, I mean, we'll probably show it anyway. But yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Josh, even without watching the game, about the pace stuff with 100 Thieves, which, I don't know, maybe that's saying something. Maybe none of us need to watch the game. Maybe we can just all go off prior narratives and biases and just go through it. But yeah,
I've been doing that for years, Bren.
They don't, I know. Well, that's what I did in the Overwatch days, and nobody caught on for the longest time. But yeah, 100 Thieves really do struggle with that tempo increase. I didn't have faith in Crew, though, to be honest, leading into this game, because I didn't think that they looked the best in their last two matches as well. Not just the EG game, where they ended up losing, obviously, where they really weren't playing well. But the 2G game before that, I felt like was also a drop-off and a fall from their form compared to when they played against Sen. When they played against Sen, that was their peak for me. And Crew is always a team, I always say this, but I always favor them in these tournament systems where they get to play like day after day rather than week to week. And it's exactly what Riv was saying about this is a team that needs to get started. They need a bit of momentum beneath them. They need confidence. I think they really thrive if they can get a good start in tournaments, as we saw in kickoff actually, when they got that first win against a team like 2G at the time, where they weren't putting up any numbers, and it was like, okay, well, take it with a grain of salt, but they just needed the one win, and they just went on an absolute tear in kickoff. And I was fully expecting them to just oscillate wildly. Like, I was expecting that we had seen the peak ascend, and now we were going to see the slow descent all the way down, and they were going to crash out, especially after the EG game. But they bounced back pretty well, actually, which was good signs, I thought, overall, because it was just, yeah, a core part of what makes Crew a good team, and the reason that they do well is fundamentally playing off each other and really good gunplay. And against EG, they weren't shooting. It wasn't even a matter of the tempo. Like, obviously, EG playing really slow is going to suit this.
Here's
this final round.
the match fixing.
Brutal.
How does that first shot? Can we 2.5?
Okay.
Can we 0.25 that first beam though?
Look at the circle. So, pause it. Jarvis, pause. Oh, we missed it. But that's okay. You can kind of see the circle and the cross section. It's just the angle of it. It looks like it's on him. It's not on him. Oh, we're going to
He's
minimum.
very deep in
Jarvis,
that corner.
next angle. Enhance.
Next angle.
Turn-
Enhance.
Enhance.
1.25.
You can't see the beam
You can't
line
see the
though on
beam.
this mini map. You have to be on the like Silver's POV. You'd have to. Can we run it frame by frame though? Hit the
Okay,
the
but you'll
period.
see. Yeah, if you do it frame by frame, there's a large test.
Jarvis
on-
analyze.
We gotta go back.
No.
This is the
This
first
is
beam,
first
isn't
beam,
it?
first
This is the first beam.
Oh,
Yeah,
it is,
wait,
yeah.
you're
Just
going to see the
wings
circle
it.
against
Oh,
it.
dude, look,
Do you
it's
see the
on his
circle?
head.
No, do you see the circle?
No.
It's just
Oh.
outside. He's
Look at the
literally
circle.
just outside.
Yep, it's just outside. So that little tiny little gap right there. And they could have brought this back, to be honest, 100 Thieves. I don't know what their ult situation was looking like here, but they were dragging back the rounds bit by bit, but
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I want to shoot some bail. Like, Sova ult without pings is so much harder than it used to be. Like,
yeah, it's
getting
pretty
the
rough.
right like angle and getting it perfect is like, it used to be absolutely trivial to get value with that ult because you could just ping where
You
you,
can do it on
wanted
any elevation.
Yeah,
Has
and it was
anyone-
so simple.
Has anyone actually like fact checked EU's claim though?
That it was on the minimap.
Yeah, that in the mini map you can see the area covered. Because when you're in the player POV as Sova, you see the beam line, and if that tracks over the corner and fills the gap completely, but that was a game bug, then okay, fair enough, it's a game bug. But has anyone actually gone out and done
I haven't tested it.
the investigation as to whether
No,
or not that's coped?
And no one will,
Yeah, true.
unless you do,
Yeah.
Josh, which I don't
he just
think you're
made a
gonna do.
mistake. At
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
worst
I think he just
possible
made a
time.
little mistake, and they were probably gonna lose the map anyway.
We
But
don't have a
and
replay
fans are gonna
system, so
blow it
nobody
out
can
of
call 'em out
proportion.
for it. So it's
Why
like,
would
we're
he
never
do
gonna
It
get to
is
the bottom
what
of
it
it.
is. What
It
it
would
is.
make no sense for him
Should
to
we
It-
cut
it's
EU?
obviously not actually. No.
What?
Did we
Josh,
cut EU?
Damn.
Josh, no
Like
talking, please.
EU as a segment from Plat
Oh, like
from
the
now on?
EMEA segment. Yeah, that's a good idea. We're at 3.5 hours. That would save a lot of time now that you mention it like that.
Dude, Ryan's been trying to
Um,
cut out EU for a while.
Okay, I wanna ask though. 100 Thieves is playing MIBR in their first round of playoffs. If, and it's a big if, they win that game. We'll talk about if they actually can in our Preds later. If they beat them, would they beat Crew in a rematch? Do we think?
No.
Why not, Riv?
I seriously think 100 Thieves are still trying to play a protocol game where they had back when they had Sage Cypher on split and they'd let people take sites, and then they actually had really good protocols and reads for what they wanted to do to get into site. Now they're just giving teams kind of everything they want unless cryo or somebody else is popping off in the game. So the other team starts in 4 v5 conversion. So it's like I feel like they're axe behind and they're continuing to run into the same wall with the strats they're coming up with. So it's if either somebody has a high star game, they're not going to do much.
And Crew is the team that will always have those hot starts and build the
Right.
momentum off of it. Let's
Yeah.
let's move on then and talk a little bit.
Also,
Go ahead.
to add on to that though, like my biggest problem with 100 Thieves right now, and I don't think that they're going to do well against MIBR either. I could be wrong about all of this, but they feel like they're being dragged. Like Asuna is a pit bull, and he spotted a child in the distance, and he's like, and the rest of the team is like fucking barely holding onto the chain, and this guy is so damn eager to take fights sometimes that he drags the rest of his team with him. And
Not
it's
all
like,
pit bulls eat children, but he's one of the mean ones in the second.
no, and listen, not all dogs are bad, not all pit bulls are bad. It's only bad owners. So let's clear that up.
That's
as
not
well.
true for
So
pit
it's
bulls.
Nadeshot's
That's
problem.
not true for pit bulls, but we can
Let's
talk
not
about that later.
litigate the pit bull. Let's not litigate this on Flash.
Pit bulls are lovely dogs.
It's Nadeshot's problem. He's a bad owner, therefore his pit bull is badly trained.
I'm happy
The
to
last
blame
merch
Nadeshot every
release
day of the
bombed.
week.
Like what?
Exactly. But this is an issue repeated now that I noticed from 100 Thieves is they want to get active. One of the best signs of a really good team is that they get active in the right moments. They make other teams uncomfortable. They fight them whenever teams are trying to set up either for like a retake or they've taken a bit of space, and they use those little interim moments to like call for a reclear and a refight over it. And they try and do that pretty often in really uncomfortable spots sometimes. Like there's instances where they're like trying to fight over space in kitchen and icebox, which you've never seen teams do. They do it like on A long or whatever. They call in for these little refights. And they do it all the time on Haven when they're playing in their post plan on C. On C, like when they get into a post plan on C on Haven, they're always trying to cook up something to try and push into their spawn a little bit and refight. But the issue comes when they try and do that and just one of the pieces is missing from it. And they've been getting better at it. That, like, I'm not going to lie, they've been looking good from time to time. But then when they misplay with it, it's really bad because then they're missing ults and they've missed a core piece of something and it all goes wrong for them. And so I don't know. The best teams in the world will know like when they can get active, when all of their team is on the right page. But it feels like someone is calling the shots to refight in a scenario, and everyone is like, yeah, we're all on board. But then actually, 2 or 3 pieces aren't in the right place to actually make that play happen. And it's I don't know if that's a communication issue or what, because who the hell knows? But
And two of them have seen best in the world, right? Boostio and Zix were there with EG, 600 Potter for that. So it's like, why you guys can't, like, you're not going to tap into a world championship run, but that was there. You can look at what worked.
Yeah, and I still think they have the strengths that like 2023 EG. What made them really good was their preset ideas. I think they had a ton of really good ideas of what to throw out, like preset.
But they also
bang.
Like that
their
great
tempo
ult
a lot.
combo we saw in Icebox.
Yes, and they had a
Yes.
great old combo. But what Josh said is that they changed the tempo a lot, which 100 Thieves really struggle to switch gears sometimes. And
They just like fighting so
They
much.
like fighting. They they are
So
full
much.
on sending it balls to the walls, playing on the same tempo. Because when you're always playing at the same speed, it's easy for everybody to understand what tempo you're supposed to play at.
If I was a dishonest narrative peddler and I had a bone to pick
Which
with
you
League of
would
Legends,
never do.
I would listen. I would never do this. I would never sacrifice analysis for the sake of some juicy little narrative. But if I was a narrative peddler, I might try to peddle you a narrative that it's funny that the coach from League of Legends is trying to make his team go for team fights all the time.
Oh my god!
Almost,
Get the fuck out of here.
almost like he just wants to ball up and push the Nexus or whatever the fuck you do in that shit game.
Rivington, as our resident league expert, your rebuttal.
No, you almost can't, because he good under CLG and good in League. Like, he had a really good read on the game. So maybe he actually is bringing it over, and they just want to fight too much with no pace change. Because League is a game just paced up, right? Like, it could be quick in the beginning, but it's just paced up. So if you're actually waiting for that to happen, you're gonna get bent over every time.
They need to push Baron. They need to be better at laning. They need that kind of shit.
They need to be fighting more over these buffs at the beginning of the rounds as
That's
well.
what
They're
I'm
giving up
saying.
too
They
much lane
haven't had the
control.
red buff once this
Go for
fucking season.
Dragon
It's
before
crazy.
half? Like, what the fuck?
What's going on? They're giving up jungle control. This is crazy.
They need to be
Yeah.
picking Lucian Nami. It's just too good right now. Let's move on to a much more important game. The match of the week. The best game in America's history. Loud EG. Why the fuck was this game 4 hours long? I got the assignment to cast this game, and I was like, holy shit. Not only is it a useless game, it's a TriCast. I'm going to be up there for like 2 hours. I'm going to go out into the world. I'm going to see a beautiful day. And then we start watching this game. And dude, why was it so entertaining?
It was the
This
funniest shit
Lotus
of all
was-
time.
This was like what? This is one of my favorite games I've watched all stage. I swear to God, it was so fucking entertaining. The amount of insane individual moments. pANcada and Luke Show. Brancada and Luke Show Doncic were fucking insane out there across all 3 maps. pANcada, we lied a little bit about him breaking a kill record. Space stats producer. It might be the first
Was that
mistake he's
Space's
ever
fault?
made. Yeah,
Okay,
but it might be
Space
the
has
first
got a
mistake
great
he's
track
ever
record,
made.
though.
I
don't hold that
genuinely
against
think it was his
The-
first mistake. Like, He's like, yeah,
In
he's on
3
track for
years
the
of
kill
doing
record.
this
I'm like, you
job,
sure?
by
He's
the
like,
way.
yep. And we're all getting really excited. pANcada is tied the kill record for so many rounds. It's like, he must know. He must know. And then he
You
got
guys
it.
told us that he was at 13, and then it was like he died 4 rounds in a row without getting a kill.
No, he just wasn't getting the LeBron reference there was huge, but it's the loudest loud thing for them to almost break an America's thing, have 2 players go crazy, but still
Go
not win.
0-5.
It's
To go 0-5,
incredible what
man.
they've done. And honestly, when they looked like they were going to win Pearl, when they were up like what even was it? They were up like pretty significant on Pearl, and they looked like they were the better team. And I was like, God, I hope EG run this back. I really fucking. Even though we were just in the waiting room for Leviathan versus NRG. I was rooting so hard for EG because it's just the funniest storyline of Loud going 0-5. And always having a player drop 30 or something in a map. Like, Luke, at the beginning of the stage, Dejazine was dropping bombs occasionally. Then you had Luke Show come in, and he's, like, just been... Honestly, every single game he's been frying. He's, like, had a kill per round the entire time through. He's been an amazing, amazing player. Then you have pANcada come out of nowhere towards the end and start trying to break a kill record, and they still lose! It's the funniest shit of all time. It's the
game
greatest
By
narrative.
jailing if he did.
Was the longest game of America's Stage 1 in terms of rounds.
Well, I knew that. I didn't even look at the stats for
I
that.
withered
fucking
away
belted it.
waiting for that interview.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was so
I can't imagine
funny.
how long you're on standby for it. Dude, this is...
Tech pauses too.
Okay, but if you're a Loud
Yep.
fan, I'm going to sell you a bit of hope here. Your team might be
Please.
0-5. And I said when we were co-streaming the other day, I said, okay, well, at least you've got some good results. Now, they don't have any results. But
Yeah,
at
they
least
got
they
good
played
results.
well in the games that they lost in. And I think the biggest problem is whenever a team is going to be making big sweeping changes, you're immediately setting yourself back compared to every other team that has had a core 5 roster and has been able to build up like the playbook on the map pool or whatever. When you are mixing in different players, when you're changing your IGL, when you're moving somebody onto an off roll, when you're inserting a new player, even if these players are performing well individually, which is okay, that's a great sign. I think you've got something here to work with. The thing that's always going to be lacking is just your ability to have a fleshed out playbook in terms of your map pool. Like your defaults are going to be running and going to be limited, everything else. But they have a good 5 right now. And luckily for them as well, they got a good amount of time from here until God knows when, until when Stage 2 starts, to actually work on shit. And not just that, they've also lucked out because fucking Toronto is going to be happening in the Americas, which means if they all stay in LA, they're going to be getting good scrims too. So you've got an entire 2 months where you're getting top quality practice against some of the best teams in the world who are all flying to Toronto. This is a brilliant time to really just knuckle down, maybe take a moment to reflect and say, okay, well, we got really fucking unlucky. Let's not take this as an indicator that everything we're doing is wrong, which I think Loud have probably got the wrong meaning for that because they booted SDK. But listen, I don't know. Don't know what
I mean,
the
that's
impact
not
of
official
SDK
yet.
was.
He
So
was still coaching for this game,
Yep.
so...
No.
still
he-
coaching for that game.
Wait, is it not official though? Because I was told that he's just
Said
like
it was
he is leaving at the end
decided
of
that
stage
he
1.
would leave, so I guess he had like a hey, you're
Yeah, yeah.
fired,
If he
but come
changes
coach
his
a game.
mind after this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
What, after he took a timeout to lose them Pearl or whatever it was? I mean, that was incredible. He literally called
Epic.
a timeout. Was it Pearl? I think it was. Where they were at match point and they just won a round or something like that, and then they it was 11-10.
Oh my
they win
God,
the
Will,
round. It
you're
goes
right.
to 12-10. He calls the timeout after they win a round, which is really weird, and then gives Potter a chance to talk to the team, even though she's got no timeouts remaining, and they win both back-to-back rounds and take it to OT. It was like actual fucking trolling from the coach position.
Not gonna say anything that she said, but Potter was hella vocal in those timeouts. I was listening on comms.
That's so funny.
So vocal.
But I do think you're right, and I do think that the key is them not overreacting. Because I think it's fine if they want to change their coach. Because I mean, there are people like Bonkar who are out there. I don't know how they'd exactly bridge the language barrier necessarily, or whether there is a major language barrier.
Pick up Portuguese.
Yeah, probably. But if they could work with a coach like that, or if there is another coach that they want to work with, and it's not just a case of like fire SDK and pick up whoever the hell's next, or promote the assistant coach or something, then this team that people keep saying that X roster is like Crew and they're gonna go on a run. Fucking Paper X is not like Crew. They're not going on a run. The bloody Team Secret or whatever is not like Crew, and they're going. This team is kind of like Crew. They're winning 70% of their games. Sorry, 70% of their lost maps were 13-10 or closer. A lot of them were like 13-11
okay.
OT. It's crew.
In the
It's
VOD
crew
reviews,
again.
You're going to be thinking, fuck me, how unlucky were we that this one instance went wrong and we weren't able to close this shit out? No, it is actually absurd. It's absurd.
This team they're 4 losses away from activating. They just need to go 0-9.
They don't have 4 losses, Josh. What do you mean they're 4 losses away from activating? How many more games do they have?
Well, yeah, that's the problem.
You got 5 more games.
Well, then they need to. No, not true.
Well, how many games do they have?
Okay, listen. Now, this goes against every fiber of my being, but they need to go 0-4 at EWC and then come back for stage 2. Because then they
0-4 in that.
I don't know. Probably not. I mean, it's like
yeah,
BO1s or some shit. I don't know what the
fuck up
Mickey
my
Mouse
narrative.
format is.
That's going to fuck up my narrative if they have to travel to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, because then they're not just fully
Because
focused
now
on
they don't
stage
have the good quality scrim pool.
I mean, they shouldn't do that. They
No,
absolutely
isn't
shouldn't do that. They should
Saudi
just be focused.
after Toronto anyway?
Yes, but they're going to be presumably like, oh well,
Yeah,
yeah, they'd
beforehand.
still get a lot of but
Yeah.
they'd still get a lot of time with the top teams. Loud
matter
just have to
what-
not overreact.
No matter what they're doing, they're still coming back to face even harder teams. Like they couldn't make it in their own group of Alpha or Omega, or Alpha, and now Omega is going to be 3 teams harder plus the other teams. So it doesn't look good. They're going to have to revamp so much.
They're better than Furia,
not
though.
there.
I mean, look at
no,
this.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Look at Loud, -19, 0-5. Then you look
You're
at
right.
Furia.
I don't think anyone can doubt that Loud is the best 0-5 team in the world.
That's a
Good take,
great.
Mimi.
Now, I haven't
And
watched
they
any
have
other
that.
region, but you know
Oh,
what?
They
You're
have
spitting.
that.
You are spitting with that one. Who are the other
That's a good
0-5 teams? Wait there.
Wait,
Detonation
can we-
Focus Me. Are they better
Oh,
than
no.
Detonation Focus Me? I think so.
No,
Yeah?
maybe.
Josh,
Better
you're
than
the one
all
who knows what you're
gamers?
saying.
Yep, I think they're better than
Yep,
all
I-
gamers.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And
the EMEA teams that are going to go 0-5, Glue
Giants
Star
plays
Koi.
against Apex. So whoever loses in the Giants Apex game,
And
and then
Koi.
Movistar Koi. Yeah, they're
I'm
better
guessing
than
it'll be
They have
Giants.
3 0-4 teams right now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, good for
I
them.
do
Furia
think they
given
will
up.
be the best 0-5 team, which is sad to say. But, I mean, Luke Show, pANcada are definitely the fucking truth. Like, these guys are incredible. Luke Show is such a big pickup for this team. Hopeful
Yeah.
for the future. But let's talk about more depressing Brazil news. And I want to hear a little cope because 2G and Furia both had a real rough seasons. We just mentioned Furia offhand. They might be the worst 0-5 team.
I think they've given up.
But wait, I got your 2G cope right here.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you look at how any other team has adapted under that situation, an IGL crash out, new IGL, bringing in a different player, rookie edition, they kind of performed pretty well for a team that had to go through the shit bucket.
I agree. I mean,
And they have
Second
Spike
half of
to
their
come in.
season was pretty solid.
And they have Spike still. That 2G could
Yeah,
absolutely
but-
go off.
bro,
There's your
can you-
cope. I'm huffing.
Riv, can you imagine being Spike and you're sat on you win Ascension,
No,
and then
no.
you're sat on the sidelines and you're like, dude, I'm looking forward to getting in. All my team have to do is not implode. And I'm in. Dude, it's going to be so good to reunite with Zap, hear him popping off on the stage. It's going to be so sick, man. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to play with the old guys.
We're going to see him. He's going to have a
We're gonna
beard
get the
and
band
be,
together
like,
again.
grizzled. Yeah, he's going to
And then he comes back in and he's like, who the fuck are you guys?
Yeah. I will say though, for 2G, do you know what I respect about them? They haven't
What?
given up. You can tell they haven't
Yes.
given up.
Yep.
Because Furia
Very
have
easy
given
to.
up. That team has given up. I think the org realizes they're getting kicked out of partnership next year, probably. The whole team, there's like an aura of despair just circling over that entire team. But for 2G, listen, it's rough going, but I don't want to take all the credit in the world, but maybe my speech worked. I was like, dude, it's caution. Alice said, shut the fuck up. Nah,
We
she's
can hear her in
right.
the background.
She's right. And
She's right. And you know what? She's right. I shouldn't be taking any credit at all. But, listen, it's a first rule of marriage. The wife is always right. You know what I'm saying? The wife is always right. But 2G haven't given up hope, though. They are genuinely still trying to win these games. You can tell the way that they're playing. They're actively working on their map pool. People were questioning some of the decisions in terms of the map pool and where they took Sentinels, I think, the last time they played them. But I'm like, dude, if you're this team and Sen have banned Ascent, your best map, yeah, good luck, buddy. I mean, it's just it's hard going, I think, for 2G, but they haven't given up. They got to win, and they've bought time. They have bought time. That one win might make all the difference in the world. Now, this could be an outrageous amount of cope, but I think that this team actually could potentially do something.
Sure.
I don't think they're just going to bomb out.
What do they do though when Spike comes back?
Double duelers? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, are they just gonna? Because their like system is a bit off now because they brought in Askia. So it's like it is a bit more wonky than it was previously. They dropped an initiator to bring in a duelist, and then they dropped in another initiator to bring in an initiator. So they've got like a little bit of a wonky setup for Spike to come back into, but Spike was fairly flexible, so he might be okay. Yeah. What can someone remind me? Stage 2, you don't carry over the record.
No, it's a reset.
So if they make stage 2 playoffs,
other group teams.
If they make stage 2 playoffs,
they qualify to Ascension at least, so they get to defend their slot in Ascension.
They're not in that bad of a spot though.
No.
So they haven't got any champs points. They're not making it to champs, pretty likely. And even if they did make it to champs, it would be via stage 2 playoffs anyway,
they got
pretty
the
much.
one win around against Loud. What if they win out, Josh?
Okay, but if they win out, they're making stage 2 playoffs anyway, and they've already kind of like saved their season. So basically, we're just looking at 2G, Genomates, like these kind of teams, Apex, as a clean reset heading into stage 2 and whether they can make playoffs. That's how they rebound. That's how they save themselves.
That's how they should be looking at it, yeah. And I mean,
they've got a long time to integrate Spike.
It's like
the map was
2-3 months before we come back for stage 2. It's a while.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a
3
long
months.
time. But the map was changing for stage 2 as well.
Sure, but they're not going to Toronto. They have time to prep.
I don't have a clue.
I think it got
I might be
leaked, but I
getting too
don't
into
remember.
the weeds here, but it's a big deal, I think, because when a map pool changes, I think it favors the teams that are already doing pretty poorly and need to build up the rest of their shit. Because at this point, like I said, when you're making so many changes as a team, every time the biggest issue is you're playing catch up in terms of your playbook and having to build stuff up in scrim time. But when you have this big reset in terms of maps and everybody's kind of like, obviously you're going to be building off some of the old stuff, but we're in a new meta. Like there's new characters coming out all the time with Teo in as well. So that's going to alter the way that the maps are played. But it does give you, it gives you at least some level of help because you're going to be on a level playing field in terms of the level of preparation you can put into those maps. So there's chances. There's absolutely chances.
But
you just need to not give in to despair. If you like FURIA, they're gone. They're cooked. So they've already given up. They've given into despair. The aura of despair is hanging over them. There's a gloom across the FURIA facilities. But
2G, there is spare. No diss. There is pair. There is pair for 2G. Yeah. They have Spike coming back. There's a chance. Let's
Real
talk
quick,
about the.
Riv has a time constraint, so he's gonna have to dip out. Riv did come in last minute because we had someone that was unable to come on the show. So thank you, Riv. Good luck on your dart.
Appreciate it for the service.
Thank you.
We're gonna still show your preds when we do preds though. So
sounds good.
We're gonna be locked in on the guarantees if we have any.
Oh brother. Okay.
Great show. No notes. Bye, friends.
Bye, Riv. Thank you for coming on.
Bye, Riv. I really liked your sideline segment.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, those were great, by the way. Those were really excellent. He's gone.
He's in a suit.
I mean, unfortunately, they muted the shit out of him for one of them.
The second one, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
but the
that
concept.
It wasn't, dude. I'm clapping. I hate when production gets blamed. We did tell him to put a headset on, but the previous one he used his mic, so he got confused. It was not production fault. It was just a
it was a Riv fault. Throwing Riv under the bus.
It was not his fault either, just because it was a crazy. The idea came the morning of. We could have said no. We want to test it first.
I mean,
instead
it is
we
a
did
sick
it.
idea.
It worked the first time. The first time he couldn't hear you guys because he didn't have a headset, so we reconfigured it for the second time. Told him about it, but Riv is also doing interviews and like prepping for a bunch of other stuff. So it's extremely
didn't know when the timeouts were coming before they started, so had to like run over to us during the timing.
Tells him.
Sure, but it's still only when the team calls it. It's not like
it's only like don't know what's going on, just like blame production. It wasn't Talon's. It wasn't Riv's fault. Like if we want to be technical, it was. But like there's so much shit going on. Like there's so much shit going on. So
Yeah.
it's like it's just genuinely an honest mistake. And that's how
Yeah,
most
but it was a good
mistakes
segment.
are, which is why I hate when like
I
everybody
mean,
just
nobody's
gets
crashing out
upset
apart from
about-
you, Kurt. I think.
I'm crashing out because you guys are questioning it. You're planting
Well, yeah,
the
because it
seeds.
sounded
You're
fucked up
planting
on the
seeds.
broadcast, Kurt. But it was a good idea overall. Like they should be doing it again. We
All
should
right, I'm
absolutely
done
be doing.
cla-
I think
I'm
we should be doing
done
it for normal
crashing out
matches.
my desk. I'm gonna have to rebuild my desk after the show.
Let's pull the seed out of the ground. Shit happens. Mistakes happens. All
Yeah, it
good.
was
Let's
good.
talk about the big game of the weekend. NRG was playing against LEVIATAN, the last spot in the Americas playoffs. And fucking NRG locked in for this game. They've made it to playoffs, which I don't think many people... I mean, it was a close game, always was going to be against LEVIATAN, but they definitely stepped up in this one. Mata especially had a fucking god performance this series.
Dude, I think I needed to see a bounce back from NRG. I wanted to see them win. Because I think it's so sad if this is Finesse's legacy for his last year. If he just if this entire team just fails to do anything at all. And also I want to see Mike's do well as well as a coach, just as a personal bias of mine. But the this was a good game overall. Was it worth the wait, the 5-hour wait?
No.
No.
If
But
it had gone to
it was
3,
a good game. It was a good game.
The first map was really entertaining.
I think both of the maps were fairly entertaining, actually. But I think my dissatisfaction with this match to some degree comes from the fact that I thought LEVIATAN played a better Fracture, but still lost. I think NRG they got double pistol. They got a couple of like important rounds in the first half to drag things back to a 7-5 half, even though it felt a bit more like a kind of 8-4 or something. I don't know exactly, but like it felt like LEVIATAN were clearly the better team. And then you look at the scoreline and it's 7-5 and you're like, all right, well, it's doable if NRG win pistol. And then they win 4 out of 4 pistols in the series. Definitely think that Lev had some major problems getting past what NRG were doing on Icebox. I think like Mada on Icebox kind of ran the server and was looking sick on the
on
Reyna.
defense especially, the way he was I mean, you're seeing it in this clip, the way he was fighting around A was so good, taking different elevations, hopping around on the Reyna, like he was
then
just
Broad gets a
fundamentally-
4K in this point where he should only be getting like 1 or 2.
just outrageous.
Fundamentally, though, Icebox at this point, it's a solved game. You should know how to play Icebox, and Lev had the right tools and attack to make sure that this didn't happen. Like if I'm looking at their comp and they're running a Reyna, a Gecko, and a KO, I'm thinking, wow, they have a ton of refight potential. You kind of need to clear the Reyna out of these one and done angles, which Icebox is notorious for in B main, A main, whatever else. They have a great comp for running the opening default of just salvos on pipes and the orb, and then you run a dart across A main when Lev are on attack. And that way you insert somebody onto A main early on, and you don't run into issues with having that problem where you don't have A main control and having to reclear and use
but you're
util-
saying that like it's a gotcha. Like there were rounds where they were doing that default. It's just like you're saying, this comp has so much to like get people back into those spots, and Mata was so willing to like see any gap and walk up. Like you really had to commit a lot to actually like clear and hold that space, or the rain is just going to be fucking waltzing around in that area.
I feel like Lev are certainly the best team that's missed out on playoffs, and I think they're actually really close to putting something together. I mean, I'm not saying that globally. I'm not confident in that globally, but when I've watched their games, they're like, what they're doing makes sense. What I'm seeing from their players, like the form from King and Demon One and these kind of players is fucking like they're roasting people. It feels when you watch them like a team that should be getting wins. And you know, in this series, I think it's very easy to look at the pistol rounds and be essentially like we're on the NRG podcast and we're talking about how unlucky LEVIATAN got, and it's like a mirror has been held up to the world. But it's like there is an element of you know, certain things going your way in this game. But Lev have had it kind of all season, and I'm not sure what needs to shift for them to be able to get the wins. They're not as good as G2, C9, and MIBR right now, but they're close. But the fact that they lost to all 3 of those teams and then also lost to NRG has just put them in a spot where they're outside of playoffs. But I kind of in my heart believe that they're still better than NRG, even though I watched them lose 2-0. And I don't know. I think maybe I just like their approach to the game more or something.
They get active at the right times. I think the calling with Lev, because again, one of the signs of a good team is getting active frequently enough that you're constantly trying to clear up the question marks across the map of where you think players might be as well. And partly, I don't know who it's calling for it. Probably Rossi in terms of making those decisions, as he's playing initiator as well and calling for them. But he calls for a lot of reclears at the right time. And usually when NRG are trying to slowly take a bit of map control, like on Fracture, they were doing it frequently, catching them off guard, like catching NRG off guard, reclearing through A halls. But what you said, Josh, like, yeah, you felt like Lev were a better team. NRG were making the right adjustments as well. I don't know. There was one round towards the tail end. I can't remember the specific round.
On which map? What map are you talking about?
On Fracture, where they realized how Lev were playing towards A-Hall's reclears on Lev's defense. And they realized how Lev were playing. And instead, they set up Ethan alone through halls, just jiggling with the fault line held, waiting for like the explosion of util. And they were running 4 at dish to pincer the halls players because they realized NRG are very good at kind of getting a read over the course of a game. The longer it kind of goes, I think that's one of the major benefits they have, and they just happen to buy time to make that happen with the pistol rounds.
Yeah, but I think you're kind of pulling out the like one occasional good round they ran on the attack side. I think their attack side was really rough overall on Fracture. What they started out doing was just a bunch of kind of sloppy B execs. I mean, like Mada was running into his own thorns and shit on the attack side and like taking 1 billion points of damage while they were doing the B splits on. I don't know, it just looked a bit sloppy. But on defense, I really liked that NRG were focused heavy on the flank retakes. They abused the fact that Tex was on Vice. They got him into good situations. They had like decent pushing out of the site protocols for Som and Finesse. And then they were constantly sending people on flanks, whether it was Mada, whether it was like Som Finesse duo from B flanking into A. I think that portion of their game was really strong. I think they played a good half on the second half of Fracture. But and also a good half on the defense side of Icebox, mostly powered by Mada. But I'm not convinced by this win overall from them. And I do think that if a pistol had gone the other way, I think we'd be looking at least a map 3.
That's exactly what I was going to say. 4 out of 4 pistols. If NRG literally won 2 of them, like anywhere, or just 1 on Fracture, like this would have been a 3-mapper. We go to Lotus. Lev's pretty fucking good on that map. Like, I don't know. I think this very easily could have swayed the other way. Yeah. But now NRG's in playoffs. They're starting in the lower bracket because they're the 4th seed. I feel like I have such low expectations for them going in. I think the elephant in the room to bring up again is despite the team winning, Finesse ends the stage as one of the lowest rated statistical players who isn't on FURIA in the league. He's still struggling to find himself individually. And I just don't know if we can rely on these kind of like god performances from players like Mada, from Ethan, who stepped up this series against the stronger opposition they're going to see into the playoffs. I would honestly be shocked if they don't just kind of go out in the first round against MIBR, 100 Thieves, Sen, or Cloud9. I would favor all those teams over NRG.
Yeah, they've got themselves in a tough spot just because they're the 4th seed too.
Is there any copers here?
The more time that this team buys for themselves, the better. Because that's the number one thing they've been lacking ever since they made the pivot essentially by getting rid of Bunkar and Verno is having to build up a lot more. And I know, I mean, speaking to Mike, I know that he's been putting in overtime to essentially try and get this team caught up. But the amount of work that's required is unbelievable to try and get to the same level as some of the teams that have had basically the whole off-season and beginning of the season essentially like uninterrupted. And that's pretty rare, honestly, at this point, because a lot of teams have made changes. But, it's pretty rare to be a team that hasn't had some level of change overall. But yeah, the more time they buy for themselves, the better. So they made it into playoffs, which is good.
But they're a rematch team generally. Like they tend to be better in rematches. They tend to be better when there's a lot of tape as well. And I think, there's a lot of tape at this point. That's a point in their favor. But they have no opportunity for mistake, and they need to win 3 matches in a row against, like, everybody is going to be better than them. The only team in playoffs that's worse than them.
They do have opportunity for tape. They're in the lower bracket.
They would have a rematch against MIBR if 100 Thieves to win.
Yeah, I suppose they'd have a rematch from group stage. But what I meant, was that they can't lose a match in the upper and rematch against them in the lower. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So they can't do tape from like them playing against somebody. But
they
they can
do
from
the
group
old
stages.
Masters Copenhagen Classic that they always used to do.
But when I'm looking at the bracket, the only team that I would say that I'm confident they're better than is, I think they'd be able to beat EG. I think EG's pace is not an advantage against NRG, and I think that they'd be able to outplay EG. I don't think that they would match up very well against the higher tempo of 100 Thieves or Crew from the other side of the bracket, like the other teams. And so the only time they'd meet against EG is when they've already basically qualified anyway. So I don't think that's a likelihood that both of those teams run the bracket. I just think EG are gonna I think NRG are gonna maybe win one, but more likely just go home instantly.
Probably, which is a shame. It would be really cool if they could make the run, make it to Toronto. It would be a hell of a send-off, but it doesn't seem likely at this point. Riv in his interview after this talked to the team. They were just like saying how they felt good about getting through their struggles, how it felt so good to make playoffs and finally clean up their mistakes. That they were kind of starting to like feel like they were meeting those expectations, but obviously a lot still to build in. Let's hop over to our predictions and check in with you, Timothy, at home, and see how you did on your report card. The match of the week for Americas was G2 against Cloud9, and you predicted with 87% for G2, and you're correct. A little strong on that percentage, but they got it right there.
Could have been the biggest upset so far.
Yes, absolutely. We had a bonus match too last week. The match of the century. LEVIATAN versus NRG. You voted on this one, 72% for LEVIATAN, and that is a big miss for Timmy.
I don't blame him, though.
No, I voted the same way.
I voted Lev as well.
Yep. They've let us down, old LEVIATAN, unfortuntunately. But yeah, a good recovery from NRG. And yeah,
a good
I mean, we did
overall for the Timmies if we look at their report card. 3-1. That's a B+. Good job, Timmy.
Hey.
They're 20
now
to
that's
9. They're actually
that's
kind
a
of
B+
crushing.
kind of sticker.
Is it?
Yeah. We need to get some of the like A stickers though out there.
But I
need better from you.
Soon.
Why not?
I don't know. What's the next game that they got to predict?
Well, yeah, it's playoffs, so it should get more difficult, I guess.
It's gonna be hard.
It's gonna
Listen,
be
I don't
hard.
mean to disrespect Timmy, but you're working with like a hive mind here. So it's like your narratives are getting set by like short form media and brain rot content, and I don't know. Just
hey, sometimes it
sorts,
aligns.
like,
You never know.
Yeah.
Sometimes the brain rot is
You never
winning,
know.
you know? It's
Are
tough
we
to say.
not? I mean, we're not short form, but we're definitely brain rot.
Brain rot.
We are like
My
the
brain's
longest
rotted. I don't
form
know about
brain
you.
rot. We are like a 4-hour CIA interrogation session of brain rot. Sit down. You're gonna learn. Your brain is gonna unfold itself while you're watching, viewer. Let's do our predictions for the week, though. MIBR is starting off the playoffs playing against 100 Thieves. Let's see where we went on this.
I'm sorry, I gotta put Riv
You gotta
back
fix
in
it 'cause
because he
no
needs
Riv,
to take
yeah.
accountability.
Bring back Riv.
Insert Riven.
Welcome back to Rivington.
Whoa! Way.
All right,
And let's take a look now. MIBR, 100 Thieves. Our predictions are.
Yeah.
A guarantee.
Yeah.
I don't think that's all that surprising. All four of us have win MIBR. And we didn't do a recap on MIBR's game this week. So let's take a moment to talk about them. They end their group stage 4-1. They only lost their game to G2. It did get a little funky losing a map to FURIA on Ascent, but I don't know. It was weird. It didn't feel like they were fully locked. They were still playing default a comp on Ascent, which maybe I'm coping, but I don't think they're going to play that in the playoffs. I'm really hoping they have something more prep for it. But yeah, it's still 4-1 season for them. MIBR's been looking pretty strong.
Is that the first time we've seen them play Ascent? I thought we'd seen them play it before with
sure
the
it was.
default comp. Really? Oh, no,
Maybe
they
I'm
played it
capping.
against G2. No, they played the
Oh, you're
default comp
right.
against G2 as well, and they
Me
also
too.
lost there as well. I think they're going to run the same thing, and I think it's just not a great map for MIBR. But you never know. You never know. I don't think it's one that 100 Thieves are going to be able to punish. So 100 Thieves, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I can't remember them having great performances on Ascent recently. Oh, I can't even remember them playing Ascent recently. They did against 2G. Okay, yeah, 15-13 win over 2G does not inspire the most confidence in the world with the Yoru double drone comp. But, I mean, 2G are all right on that map, actually. So maybe 100 Thieves are going to feel like they can take them to Ascent.
Yeah,
We'll
possibly. I've completely forgotten what happened in that MIBR FURIA game.
It was kind of a fever dream.
It was
didn't
also
really
a
matter
pointless
for
game,
either
wasn't
team.
it?
Was it a pointless game?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. MIBR were already locked. FURIA were already out. Like, it was a completely useless game. It didn't even adjust the seeding.
That's because I didn't watch it. I was co-streaming, and I saw that the first map was Icebox, and I just turned it off.
That's so based from you. That's
Yeah.
so based.
Oh,
All right,
that's why.
Well, Josh,
we
do you
still
have
believe in
anything to say?
MIBR?
'Cause
No,
I
it didn't
watched-
change the needle.
I
Yeah, they've shown
watched the
enough.
first map and was like, oh, this is a 2-0. I'm going to go outside. And then it wasn't.
Okay,
So-
good. So we've
So
all
you're
done
the
our
only one
due
who's watched
diligence.
the whole series. You
Oh
have
no,
anything to
no! Don't get me wrong. I didn't watch the series either. I went to bed.
Wait, we're all
Don't
talking
get me wrong.
about it. None of us watched it. The Ghost of Rivington Pass. I know you
I
watched
did
this
watch
game.
it, but I don't remember the game at all. I'm not gonna lie.
So
I do
funny.
not remember it at all. So
Oh, that's
Dude.
funny.
Ospas
only
had
the
406
finest-
ACS on Icebox. That's cool.
Also, we're not basing the MIBR pick off them
No.
pounding the
No.
shit out
No,
of
we're
Furia, are we? We're based it off the previous games where they played against much better opposition.
Where they pounded.
What
NRG.
is? I'm struggling to come up with the win con here for 100 Thieves, honestly, because I just don't think they're as good as MIBR.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's
rough.
Is there a map? Is there a style? I'm not really coming up with the.
Don't
The
think they went on
juice here.
Icebox. What are MIBR banning these days? Any knows?
Yeah, they don't beat MIBR on Icebox.
Yeah,
They don't
okay.
beat them on Xbox
MIBR
all that
are
much.
banning
Fracture,
Fracture
which-
and a tiny bit of Lotus, like if you also ban Fracture.
Okay. Well, 100 Thieves are not going to be banning Fracture.
100 Thieves.
So maybe
Yeah,
does 100 Thieves play Lotus against them, though? I don't think so. They don't play
They've been-
Lotus.
they've-
They always
100 Thieves have been
permaban that.
permabanning Lotus.
Yeah, so
Is it like
So-
where's the
banking on-
win?
Is it like banking on one of your like double initiator comps to just like bully Ospas out, and Asuna has like a god game, and you somehow it's like it always feels like
Maybe.
there's like multiple things you're trying to check
Yeah.
off.
Has to be
even start to
Cryo
co-
God game. I mean, it has
Yeah,
to be a
for
Cryo God
sure.
game, right? Because Cryo's been the top rated player in Americas. He's got to come out and farm. Does that mean play them on Haven and
Yeah, I
having
think
farm
Haven.
on ISO?
I'm not
Haven
that
put a lot of
sold on
time
100
in.
Thieves Haven still.
What about Split? Is it MIBR's Split any good, actually?
Yes, it is. It's good.
Well,
Well, I mean, they float it, but it's a map that they win pretty frequently floating. It's like a third
they've actually
map.
only played it twice this stage.
Is it in
they
third
put-
maps?
They played it against Leviathan, and then they played it against third map against Furia.
Right.
So maybe they could get a win on like Cryo goes a pop off game on Sage, but I'm kind of struggling to come up with the cope here for 100 Thieves. Frankly, it's not like these teams are miles apart, but I just don't see the win.
Yeah. MIBR. This should be them. It'll be interesting to see if maybe there is some cope. Let's go to our match of the week, though. Remember, you can vote in the community tab, get your say on this one, and maybe go for that A+ grade this week, Timmies. Here's what we had to say about it, though. Sen versus C9 in the playoffs, and our predictions are split down the middle. Me and
Holy
Joshua
shit.
have gone for Sentinels.
Did I go
And the
Cloud9?
Ghost of
I-
Rivington's Passes went for C9 alongside
I don't
Bren.
think you did, Bren. I'm not sure what happened. Let me
I
fix
think
it.
ours got swapped because I
Yeah.
also went for Cloud9. So I think that's just.
Ah.
But I think we're still 2-2 because I definitely went for C9.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
went for Sen, but I was also pretty 50-50 on this game.
Yeah.
The reason that I went for C9 though is because I think that Sentinel's map pool has still not been tested properly. I'm not sure that Cloud9 are the team to really put them through their paces because C9 don't have like strengths on the weak maps necessarily of Sentinels, but Sentinels have a bunch of maps where we haven't seen them. So for starters, right, their maps that they're good at, Sentinels, are Haven. They retooled their Haven after it was a permaban, and it's now looking really good. They've smoked EG and 2G. Now, I know that that's EG, 2G, and Loud, but like they smoked them. It wasn't close.
I actually
Then-
put some weight on that
Yeah.
2G game. I actually think
Okay.
2G is not that bad, and I think Sen was
Well, I think
like
Loud
this
are pretty
Sen
decent.
2G series. I thought they were playing really fucking well. Like this was the best I've seen Sen play all
Sure.
season.
Yeah,
And I
they've
know
been
people are gonna
gradually
write it
going.
off because it was against 2G, but their coordination was on point. The like individuals that needed to pop off were. I feel like you didn't see them like getting flustered in moments at all. The util from John and Narrate on Haven was so good. Like the way Zekin was entering sites with kind of comboing his relay bolt with John's stun looked so on point. Like This is a good fucking series from Sen, and honestly, my pred is like mostly going off of just how hot they looked in this game. How Sen normally tends to have a kind of a step up in playoffs, and also just kind of banking on the fact that Zekin's gonna have another incredible game like he did in this last one.
They've only won on 3 maps the whole stage.
You're right.
They've only won on Pearl, Split, and Haven,
You're right, but
all
I'm
stage long. Well, it's not necessarily cope, because it is possible that they get 2 out of 3 of those maps in the pool. But I would say Cloud9's win here comes from the fact that C9 don't have a permaban, so they should be trying to get onto, like, play them on Icebox, play them on Lotus, play them on, like... I mean, what is their permaban recently? Have they been banning Fracture, I think?
Unban Fracture.
Yeah, so try to get them on. Yeah. The problem with picking Ascent, though, is that if you're planning to run the double Sentinel comp, if you pick Ascent, the other team gets to pick the side. And it's really weird right now with how lopsided it is, defense-oriented. But I think trying to take them to Icebox, Lotus, and then maybe see if you can, like, force them to be the ones that ban Ascent and... ban Fracture, that kind of thing. I think C9's win here comes in the map pool, in the map draft.
Yeah. The more we're talking about it, the more I think Cloud9 are the likely favorites, and I almost want to swap my pred. I still think it'll be a close game, but you're right.
I love this being a 2-2, though. That feels honest to me.
Yeah, it does feel honest.
It feels honest.
But I'm just thinking about, like, I'm thinking about Ascent. I'm thinking about Icebox. I'm thinking Sen only have the option of banning one of them in the first round of things. They're going to have to play a map that they are really not good at. They haven't looked good at. But the reason I predicted Sen as well, though, is because of the same stuff that you were talking about, Mimi, where they've just been... The gradual improvements week to week from Sen have been pretty impressive to me. I think they've been fixing a lot of their issues ever since they've solidified the roles and gotten the rate onto a proper role where they know what he's playing. They've looked way better. So they are actively working on their issues that I was taking a lot of... I was just watching and seeing it crop up all the time early on. So
let me give you something else to keep you on it. Cloud9 playoff choke narrative. They have never lived up
I don't
to their
believe
stage
in it.
expectations. It's happened.
I don't want to believe in it.
It's always different teams, though.
I want them to be good. But there's some fucking evil specter put an aura over that organization. I don't know how they did it, but they never live up in playoffs.
It is an entirely different team, right? Like, it's basically Zeppa is the only...
But it's been an entirely different team before.
Yeah. But, okay, I do think... I don't know whether it's real. I don't know whether it's real or a coincidence or what, but it has happened. That is a fact. The thing is, though, it doesn't normally, as far as I can remember, happen right at the beginning, does it? It's not like they lose every game in playoffs.
They win one, then they lose the second, and they get eliminated in a close game.
I remember for Tokyo, they were 1 map away or something, 1 match away from being able to make it, and then they lost to NRG, I want to say, to go to Tokyo, something like that.
Sounds right to me.
Roughly. And then I think, I don't know. I'm just going to believe in them and then get disappointed again.
I think believing in them is the fairest thing to do. Like, so they should not inherit their predecessors' mistakes, even if some of their predecessors are still on the team. You know what I mean? Like, they shouldn't have that hanging over them.
It is hanging, though.
The children the children
mentioned
are not
it unprompted.
Yeah, Imi mentions it, but also people talk about all of these narratives as if they're like broadcast narratives and Plat chat narratives and stuff like that. All of the players from the other teams talk about this all the fucking time. Like Boostio was on the post show. He got asked about like other teams. Nobody mentioned Cloud9. Nobody mentioned choking. And he just goes, I'm not afraid of C9 because they always choke in playoffs. Yeah. It's like everybody, all of the players, everyone is thinking about this and knowing about this. Like, it's not like it's a manufactured fucking narrative. It's happened so much that people believe it's true, even if it doesn't quite make logical sense because the org has changed so many players. It's the superstition becomes reality.
Yeah,
maybe.
All right. Are you sticking to the guns or are you changing, Bren?
I'm gonna swap to Cloud9.
I
think. Yeah, I just think that they have an advantage with map pool, the way it's looking. But it should be a close game. It's a hard one.
Sen are going to come out like never. They haven't played Ascent once. They just come out. They look fucking incredible on Ascent.
Yo, can you just, Kirk, can you go to the voice shot for a second so I can get my screenshot? All right, thanks.
What do you mean?
That later.
What?
Oh,
Oh,
you tell
what,
it.
you mean for like
No,
a
you
win
tell it. I'm doing the
sending?
Bren. I'm doing the Bren.
Yeah.
I thought you meant for a guarantee. I was like, Mimi, you have misunderstood.
Yeah, you faked me out there. I was like reaching towards the button. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense.
Wait a minute. Let's go on then to our playoff predictions. Then that game, by the way, again, match of the week. Make sure you check out the community tab and vote for it. Let's go all the way through and revisit our bold predictions from the start of stage 1. These are the teams that we picked to win it all, and everyone picked G2, and I still feel good about that.
When was this?
Start
Right
of
at the
stage
beginning.
1.
The G2. Oh,
Like straight after Bangkok, basically.
Oh, at the beginning.
I'm confused as to why we all seem surprised. Or like Mimi doesn't, but me and Dan are like mortified that everyone's gone G2. What did I think was
mean,
going to
it
happen?
seems like it's like a, oh, of course, we've all gone G2. Like that's what
Yeah.
that's the vibe I'm getting from this picture. It's like it's a freeze frame from like a sitcom where it's a bunch of friends sitting in their New York apartment that somehow they're all affording, working one job.
It used to be
and
cheaper
they-
to rent in New York.
cheaper to rent in New York.
Like the 90s, yeah.
Well, listen, Manhattan is an
All
expensive
sitcoms
place.
are from 1997.
That's true. It's very true. But yeah, that's what I thought. It's giving that moment in a 90s sitcom.
You are so tapped into the property market. I don't know how you dare avoid the like landlord allegations.
I'm
It's
not a
unbelievable.
landlord. I
It
simple.
used
I'm
to,
not a landlord.
used to be cheaper to rent in New York. Now I can
No.
make insane amounts of money.
No. Let's do our pick'ems. Let's do our pick'ems. Please.
Is that the next part?
please.
Pick'ems?
Yes,
Mhm.
it's the last part.
Dude, I love messing up our pick'ems.
All right, well, this is your opportunity. Here we go. We have our first 2 matches. Let's start with MIBR 100 Thieves. We talked about this one. It was a
I think we're
guarantee.
aligned of MIBR.
Yep. I was overruled on C9.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Let's talk
G2
crew
Do you
MIBR.
want to
now.
do
Oh,
lower
go on,
bracket?
sorry.
No?
Lower bracket
Wha-
first? Okay, sure.
Yeah, why
sure.
not?
Okay.
Those are like they're the next games to get played.
100 Thieves beat Energy, surely.
Oh, I don't know about that actually.
Unless.
I think the aggressive style, the aggressive tempo of 100 Thieves and Crew does actually match up quite well against NRG, but I think this is a very close one, personally. I'm not convinced in either of these teams, and I think a lot of it might just depend on like which individual show up. Like, do Mada and Som have an amazing game? Does Ethan play like he did against Lev? On the other side of things, is Cryo just obliterating people? Because that'll make a huge difference. I don't really have strong opinions about this one. I think it could go a variety of ways. And I think a lot of mistakes could well come into the making the difference.
I'm leaning more towards NRG.
Really?
Yeah, I think 100 Thieves are on the path to being a really good team right now, but they are just, when the pieces misalign, my God, do they stumble.
But is that not like even more so for NRG? With
No,
what
because
they've been
NRG
up
aren't
to?
trying to get too fancy with it. The major strength of NRG, I think, comes from like their attack side calling and
Yeah.
how they get a grip of a game, usually with some like, okay, they know what a team's going to do, and they build an idea of what a team is doing throughout a map as well. Whereas 100 Thieves, they have sometimes preset ideas. They don't lean into it as hard as they used to. But then they also tend to, I think you can anticipate an overheat from 100 Thieves. If I'm NRG and you're calling and you're like, you know that they're going to try and refight for some space if they're on a half buy and they get into a post plan. You know that you can expect the outcome. So as long as you have a game plan, like, okay, we're going to play
so
some
did
players
LEVIATAN, and
anti-flash.
they got cooked.
What's that?
Yeah.
They expected the refights.
Towards the
100
tail
Thieves
end
is
of
going to
some of the maps,
refight,
yeah.
and Finesse is going to be alone for wanting and get eaten alive.
No,
I mean,
not
you
my
say
note.
that, but the last time these two teams faced off in kickoff, it was Boostio that dropped the absolute generational
Yeah, you are
stinker,
right.
negative
You are right.
30, like unbelievable poo performance. It's going to be a fun one, though. Like,
it is
either
a
way.
wonderful IGL battle of both Finesse and Boostio, who
Yeah.
have shit talked each other and have both had really bad seasons thus far. But I don't know why. I just feel like at least one of them is just gonna have a random fucking god game here and just like be powered up. I
You
don't
think
know why.
Boostio or Finesse is going to have a
I don't
god
know
game?
why. I'm not saying there's any logic to it. I feel it in the fucking bones
Well, then
of
I'm
this
who?
waiting
game.
for it.
You think it's going to be Boostio having a god game here?
It could be either one of them, but
Yeah,
one of them
Boostio's
will
form has
feel
not
the
looked
power
that
of the
bad.
moment.
Boostio's form hasn't looked that
What?
bad. He had like
Recently?
one.
Kurt, pull up
No,
the stats
recently.
page. American
No,
Stage 1.
recently. I swear.
His most recent game he played well, but
Like
like
my the
every other
recency bias
game
in
has
my
been
head.
appalling.
Is it actually?
I don't
Not even the
think it
crew
was
game.
his
Sorry,
most
the one
recent
before
game.
it was
No,
the
yeah.
no, it was 2G. Yeah, you're right.
He had
You're right.
one
It was the
good
game against
game.
2G.
Oh wow. Okay, one of
Okay,
mine.
it's not the end all be all. America's Stage 1 stats. I scrolled to the bottom. The bottom 5 players in terms of VLR rating. Vinny, 0.65. Rafa, 0.66. Havoc, 0.73. Boostio, 0.77. Finesse, 0.78. And I'm not saying that stat is the end all be all, but it's just kind of a testament that they're both down there.
Finesse
they're in
is
the fucking
fragging
murk
lower.
together.
I mean, if you look at kills per round, Finesse is getting less than Boostio. and
0.04
less damage
kills
as
per
well.
round less.
You cannot be
Yeah.
analyzing off the stat sheet like this.
I mean,
I'm
You can't
not
be doing
saying
it.
it's the end all be all, but if you look at the eye test, the fucking stats are supporting it.
True.
The stats revolution is coming to Valorant.
So Mimi thinks it's 100 Thieves. Bren thinks it's NRG.
What does the
So you're
coin
a
think,
tiebreaker.
though?
It's me, the coin. I don't know what to think here. I'll go with NRG because my brain says 100 Thieves, but I was wrong during kickoff, and I was wrong for NRG's game against Leviathan, so I'm going to assume that I'm wrong again, and NRG
Can we
actually
lock
win.
Sen? No discussion. Just they're
Yeah.
gonna win that game.
You don't want to have a discussion over it?
Well, we can have a discussion. What
I
is
don't
there
think
to
it's worth
discuss?
it. Discussion.
I think just EG currently are very one-dimensional. They're playing
Alright.
well, but they're doing it in one dimension, and you need two
Yes.
at least.
Yeah.
And
maybe
Sen has
3.
like 3 right now.
They're just playing very slowly, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think against a team like Sentinels, they're not going to find the right opportunities. They're still going to win some rounds. Like, it might even be
Yeah, it could be a
pretty
close
good
game. It could be a good game, but I don't
Could be
think.
a good game.
I also think just in terms of like straight up fucking firepower, like Sen is just could just shoot. And I do also think Sen has EG's defense is still really rough. I think sometimes in the way they rotate around the map, and I think Sen will do well to exploit that. And they're also just a better team.
Okay.
Okay.
And then when Sentinels get eliminated and Superman goes 25-0 or whatever in the game, we'll come back and we'll have a look at
we'll
this
pull
clip.
this clip and be like, oh, these fucking assholes hate EG. They must hate her. The one women coach in America, and they hate her. Curious. Crew MIBR in the upper semifinal. MIBR probably the favorite here. I feel like, despite Crew being the 1 seed from their group.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Are there Croupers in the room?
No, I would agree. I would agree with it. Yeah.
But I
don't really
also,
have much to say.
like I said earlier, I missed the Crew win over 100 Thieves. So if that changed people's perspective of like being higher on Crew, I missed that piece of evidence. You know what I mean? So I'm
Sure.
still thinking about Crews being like a little bit wobbly when maybe they're not.
No, their Icebox looks really fucking good still. They looked good, to be honest. Just their calling. I was surprised at the bounce back, to be honest. I was really quite surprised. But yeah, that gives me a lot of hope for this game. Maybe then but still, it's 2 versus 1, no?
I'm pretty
Crew?
MIBR.
Yeah, I would expect
But
them to be able to win.
it's pick'ems. Why am I overthinking this? Just go. Let's go.
Let's keep it moving. G2
Keep it moving.
C9 G2
G2
wins
round.
against
Yeah.
C9. It'll be a close match. It'll be a good
I mean,
match. But I
Cloud9
think
lost by like 1 round, but yeah.
If C9 actually make it here, by the way, going through the 2 teams that won towards the end of kickoff and made it to Bangkok, this would be an insanely good way to dispel the choke narrative.
I mean, that gets
Beating
them
Sentinels
to Toronto,
and G2.
no?
Yeah, exactly.
it
That's what I
would.
mean. So they would qualify by beating both of the Bangkok teams. That would be fucking awesome. Like, that would be
it
a
would be
Cloud9
their
run.
first global event since what? Besides Lock-in, obviously, where they got second rounded after
I
beating
can't remember.
PRX
I mean-
with Yay. It was
Yeah.
Champions 2022. Was
2?
or 1.
Champs 2022?
I think it was Champs
Were they at-
21.
I think it was 21 when Leaf was
21?
on the team.
No,
They
I
weren't
think
at Champs
Cloud9,
22.
because I remember
No,
thinking
C9 was
about-
on at Champs 22. They
Was it-
lost in the final of LCQ,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Ah, right. Okay. Wait. Yeah, because
Jarvis?
100 Thieves got the LCQ spot, didn't they?
Yes, they
Nah.
I think they beat Cloud9 in the finals.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah, it's been a long ass time since they
Holy
were at an international event. Jesus Christ. They
The
lost to
America-
the
NA teams were Xet and Optic for Champs 20.
Why do I
Bro,
feel
they
like
lost
they were
to
in...
Scream Nevera, Double Op Nevera, Yampi,
And
Liquid.
100
Oh my
Thieves,
god!
sorry.
Oh, it was 2021 when he played against Full Sense. That was the game I was thinking of. I thought that was in 2022. Dude, we're fucking the passage of time is like quickly slipping away
Yeah.
from all of
Yep.
us. It's
That was 4 years ago.
4
This is
years
like an
ago?
EMEA segment where we talk about 5 years ago.
Oh, fuck.
Oh my god. All right, let's pull up the Preds again. Or the pick'em session. MIBR G2, that's a banger.
It's not as much of a banger as G2C9 in... Oh, well, no. I'm wrong about that. It was a banger last time they played. And it was very close.
It was like the closest game G2 had played until... It was closer than the C9 game.
Yeah.
Closer map.
it
C9, it
was,
was stop,
I think.
stop, close game. It was close all the fucking way through for MIBR.
Yes. But MIBR didn't have... I think the reason why in my head I'm feeling like I believe in C9 a little bit more to get an upset against G2 is because they actually smoked G2 on a map. Do you know what I mean? Whereas MIBR, the only map they won was in like OT, even though everything was close. Now, I'm not saying that that makes sense. I'm just saying that that's why it's like in my head that way. But it should be a great game. But we're not predating against G2 in any of these
No, I
games,
don't
surely.
think it's
No.
fair to.
All right, let's keep
Yeah.
it moving. I gotta go in a second here, so I'll wrap up. Just C9 NRG. Surely we have faith in C9 here.
This
Or
could
is
be a
this the choke
momentous
narrative?
choke.
Is
Yeah,
this
this
the
could be a
choke
choke.
narrative? Wait a minute.
God, this would be an
I see it.
amazing
I
choke
see it.
bracket.
They lose it. They lose a close game to G2. They come down here. They get stomped by NRG. They're out of the playoffs. The choke narrative lives on. NRG make Toronto.
I think it could happen.
I'm
want
so
it to
on
happen.
just for the narrative. I mean,
For the
to be clear, I think Cloud9 are a lot better than NRG. But for the fucking
Yeah,
narrative,
for the
I
narrative,
think we
sure.
Lock it in. Run that shit up. Run that shit up.
Bruce
Are you
and
serious? All right, let's
I'm
go.
serious.
dude. Crew. It's a rematch of like week 2, week 3. I don't know why.
But I think Sentinels look better than they did back then.
They definitely
Yes,
do,
they
and
do.
they should be one of the best maps for Crew is Icebox. You don't really innovate on Icebox. They're gonna know the mistakes they made last time. One of them, the big one, was honestly not having a defensive A setup that could break the Nana Swarm to help them play aggro on A pipes.
Having said that, though, one of the reasons that Crew won is because they played them on a Lotus and Icebox, which are the weak maps for Sentinels that they
but
haven't
I'm
really
saying
been
that
tested on.
you've been given a VOD of what went wrong last time, and Crew Icebox is not a map where they're going to be innovating and
Yeah.
adding on to the
Rematch narrative. Sen wins.
I think Sen wins with a rematch.
Also,
narrative.
Sen has
All
just
right.
been Sen has just been on a heater. Back to the you guys overruled me on the Sen C9 game, but I really believe like Sen is back in form to like be
Yeah.
legit, and that 2G win was pretty convincing.
Let's do it, man.
Let's
That
do it.
2G win was pretty convincing. Me when I
Yes.
watched the FURIA tier 2 team as well.
Yeah.
That 2G is like tipped the scales for me. They're winning. They're winning this match.
Yeah.
I watched the fucking
NRG
game back.
lose
They were
here,
playing
though.
well
Like
I
for
don't think
the
I'll watch this
funniest
game
for the
back.
narrative.
the funniest bracket is Cloud9 choke after almost upsetting G2 and then NRG choke immediately afterwards, one step away from making it.
Yeah.
That is
Okay.
this is a very funny bracket.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
respect this.
Sentinels
And so-
running it all the way through the lowers as well. It's got everything. This bracket has actually got every narrative.
Send through the lowers to play G2. Come on, that's good.
Mm,
That's a good fucking narrative.
You think Sen for the lowers?
Sen has been powering up this
Dude,
whole time. They
if it's
played
if
every
we're
match in
narrative
the
pilled-
lower bracket.
If we're getting narrative pilled, yeah, that's the best narrative.
Narrative
fire.
build, yeah. But I'm also I kind of feel like MRBR are better currently than
Yeah.
Sentinels.
Yeah, I agree.
But for the narrative, I'm down. But I do want it on record that I think C9 are better than
I also
NRG and
think-
Sentinels are worse than MRBR.
And I agree on both accounts.
And we all
but
agree.
this
Okay,
we
bracket
all
is
agree, but
better.
we've all gone Sen anyway.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
Correct.
Yep.
This is a fucking awesome bracket.
Oh, this is basically just what we hope is going to happen.
Yeah.
I feel
this
like
is our
that's better
hope
than trying to predict because something stupid's gonna happen anyway. Might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
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 And then
Well-
G2 win in the finals?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't be predicting Sentinels in the finals. That's like insane fanboy cope, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, this has been
Ah.
Plat Chat's America's Stage 1
Dude,
playoff.
lock that shit
hopeums.
in.
Lock it in.
That's a good bracket right there.
That's a good
That's
bracket.
a good
That's a
fucking
good bracket.
Kurt, are we doing the community pick'ems group again for that?
Yeah,
that just
I'll
for
make
global
some
events?
groups after the show and post them on the community tab for members only.
Cool. So make sure you check that out. Do our little VLR Pick'ems group. Also vote in the community tab for the match of the week. But that wraps up our Valorant segments. Let's do our most important segment. It's Wyatt's Weekly Award.
Instead of talking about VCT Pacific, here's the trophy for Wyatt's Weekly Award.
Thank you, Wyatt, for that excellent green screen clip. There's a couple proposals that have come through. And I think the first one is friend of the show, resident cat boy, TMV. Kurt, pull up the image.
He's looking good.
He was
Dude, this
looking
is
nice.
insane work. I'm not gonna lie.
He looks cursed here.
It's insane work. The makeup is phenomenal on this. The line
Did he
work.
like, get someone to do it who's like
No, he did it.
like
He did it all himself, looking in the mirror.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's just talented.
He's not
like
serious.
What the fuck?
He's not
No,
serious.
you're joking, right? Okay.
He did not do that.
He's
He
not
did not do
serious.
that.
He got his girlfriend to do it. But honestly, it's
Well,
incredible
she popped
work.
the fuck off on that. I'm not gonna
Now,
lie.
I don't understand the bet. He never actually explained why he has to dress up like a cat for the game, for the
So
NRG
he
game.
said that Finesse would get over 9.5 kills a map, which would be a, what? I don't know how to do math. He needed 19 kills. Finesse got 18.
And so
Yeah.
And he
he
had
was
to
forced to
dress up as a
meow every
cat.
time Finesse got a kill.
He believed in finesse, and that's what happens to a motherfucker when you believe in
Damn.
finesse getting kills.
That's rough.
Don't look at our bracket, by the way.
He also didn't explain why he wasn't here today, so they might be correlated. I don't know.
Yep. That's one proposal. The next proposal is pANcada. He didn't break the official kill record. We thought he did. But he had a fucking insane series in the game that didn't matter against EG. Almost took home the win there. Just an insane performance. That's an easy proposal. Here's one that Kurt had as well. We have a lot of proposals this. I'm just going to read it verbatim. Game Changers player for DFM Game Changers, Miko, put up an insane stat line in one of their matches this week. She went 45 and 6? What the fuck?
DFM need to put her on the main team.
Bro, what?
She was plus 39.
I mean, I don't look at the opponent. No logo, no name, rabbit. But I mean, that is absurd.
And the final
okay.
proposal is Van Silly, because it was his 46th birthday this weekend. We celebrated it last night. Yeah. I lied and said it was 26 in the video, but yeah, he was 46. We celebrated his birthday. Had this happy moment with the man. So happy birthday.
It wasn't
Van
his
Silly.
actual birthday. You guys are just.
It was.
It
Wait,
was not. It wasn't.
What do you?
I don't think
What?
you're smiling. I don't think it was. He posted on Instagram that it wasn't his birthday, and you guys just dragged him into this. So you got him a
Wait,
free-
you just trolled a restaurant for free cake?
You told the restaurant that it was his birthday?
They asked if there was an occasion. They asked if there was. They asked if there was an occasion when they came by to get the bill. It was like Doug Wentz's nice restaurant. I finished one hour night. I joined them late. I didn't have a meal. I just went there, had 2 drinks on an empty stomach, and then they asked when we were checking out, like, "Oh, was there any occasion for this?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's our friend's 46th birthday today." And they fucking believed. They bit.
Of course they believed you.
No, but he was
Why
like,
would
no,
you
no,
lie?
it's not actually my birthday. And then someone just and was like, "Oh, Vance, don't be shy. Don't be shy about it." And I didn't think they believed it. And they brought out the cake with the happy birthday on it, and it was a creme brulee cheesecake, and it was fucking scrumptious. So happy,
Wow.
happy big day to Van Silly.
Just robbed an establishment of a free
Look at how
cheesecake.
uncomfortable Vance is about lying. Look at how uncomfortable he is about lying. This is insane.
He is just such a lawful good as well. You've put him in such an uncomfortable spot there.
Okay,
That's
well,
phenomenal.
we can't really
Genuinely,
give him Wyatt's
classic.
weekly
He's
award
gotta
for
win
the
it.
fake birthday.
Was
You
it
think
was
he
it
has to?
was it legitimately Ender's birthday when
Yes,
he
sir,
got
yeah.
a cake and like fisted it into his own mouth?
Yes. Yesterday
Right.
was actually Chrissy's birthday, but the
Okay.
Vance's big day was bullshit.
Right.
What do you
It's
guys
your
think?
decision.
My
You're-
decision.
Yeah, you're the host.
Yeah, but I'm looking for input. It's not a tyranny here.
I would say it's funniest to give it for pANcada because giving it to a 0 and 5 team is just so funny to me. But hey, it's your
Yeah.
decision at the end of the
You have
day.
a
You're
thought,
our
Bren?
Wyatt.
Do I have a thought?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No
All right, I'm
thoughts.
going to give it to
Head
pANcada
empty.
then. I agree. I think he deserves it. He had an insane stat line in this series. We're not going to see him play for like another 3 months. He deserves this moment. So pANcada, congratulations on the Wyatt's Weekly Award. Another big happy birthday to Van Silly and happy Catter Day to TMV for his achievements there as well. But that wraps it up for Plat Chat Valorant episode 214. Thanks guys for coming on and for all the guests that we had throughout. We'll be back next week talking EMEA's first week of playoffs, and we'll be through the first week of most of our region's playoffs as well. So stay tuned for that. Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye.